Our epic begins deep inside the Silver Dragon dungeon. Two terrifying scaled beasts guard this hellish prison. Enter Roswys, the stunning Silver Dragon Queen. She dismisses the heavy guard, demanding absolute privacy with her captive. Shackled in heavy iron sits Leon Cosmo. The legendary dragon-slaying powerhouse himself is completely locked down. Flashing a wicked smirk, Roswys ruthlessly mocks him. How does it feel becoming absolute trash before the mighty dragons? Leon stays icy cold, practically begging for death. Totally amused, she glides forward, tilting his bruised chin upward. That fierce glare and raw handsome aura completely hook her. She slowly trails a razor-sharp talon down his jawline, drawing fresh blood. Leon aggressively snaps his head away, denying her any twisted satisfaction. If she wants him dead, he coldly demands a fast, brutal end. But Roswys loves dragging things out. She seductively tastes his spilled blood, insanely offering this lethal hunter a spot in her clan. Leon brutally laughs in her face, calling her unworthy of his power. Her eyes blaze with instant fury. Bam! Her massive tail violently crushes him against the stone. Pinning him down beneath her elegant heel, she genuinely admires his insane guts. This guy is built completely different. Once worshipped as humanity's ultimate savior, Leon suffered a backstabbing betrayal, rotting in this cage. His grand mission to wipe out all dragons just went up in smoke. Roswys laughs bitterly, rubbing his pathetic downfall right in his face. No bloodline left, zero future. His legendary name is basically deleted from history. Through the savage insults, Leon drops a chilling warning about human willpower. The queen instantly chokeslams him, gripping his throat. Her claws dig deeper. She silently curses his unbreakable, rock-solid stubbornness. Shifting to her absolute boss voice, she asks if he is finally ready to cry for mercy. He grins darkly, exposing her fatal error, isolating herself with the ultimate apex predator. Mistake number 2, swallowing his tainted blood. Before panic can even register in her eyes, Leon detonates a highly illegal ancient spell. The devastating blood curse awakens magic surges violently. Roswys violently staggers backward, completely paralyzed by an overwhelming mind-bending desire. Her legs give out her own biology, turning against her. Leon stares like a villain, promising her a permanent lifetime sentence of pure agony. Suddenly, Roswys pounces on him, shifting this standoff into something wildly heated. Leon's brain straight up short circuits. Completely dominated by the hex, the royal tyrant crashes her lips onto his. The hardcore hero blushes furiously. Hours vanish. As the dark magic fades, Roswys snaps back to reality. Completely traumatized and burning with rage, she screams, "What the hell did you do?" Leon breaks down the terrifying reality of the hex, a legendary one-shot spell chaining their very souls together. Upon his death, she faces eternal torture. Roswys scoffs, demanding why it triggered such a wildly inappropriate reaction. Leon awkwardly confesses he totally miscalculated that spicy side effect, but clearly, this forbidden magic is way deeper than any textbook described. Blushing super hard, the queen finally processes her absolutely doomed reality. Dragon culture demands intense loyalty to one partner, meaning her romantic life is officially over. She can never choose another king, produce royal heirs, or ever live down this massive scandal. In a crazy twist of fate, Leon scored his ultimate payback. She mocked his dead-end bloodline. Yet now she suffers that exact same curse. Going absolutely feral, she readies a killer blow, but Leon calmly halts her attack. "Save your energy, I am already clocking out." As his vision blurs into darkness, he drops one last spiteful wish, demanding she survive in agonizing hatred, carrying his venomous legacy forever. Seconds later, the legendary hero flatlines completely. Roswys freezes like a statue, completely mind-blown by his petty, brilliant payback. This lowly mortal actually played her flawlessly, executing a revenge plot she never saw coming. Refusing to accept defeat, she forcefully brands his lifeless chest with the royal silver crest. Leon possessed an absolutely insane origin story. At age 5, he choked out a demon hound bare-handed, catching the eye of a legendary veteran, who immediately drafted him as a disciple. Hitting 10, he stormed the elite Imperial Academy, speed-running the curriculum in just 4 years, emerging as their youngest, most terrifying prodigy. By 15, he ascended to hero status, casually slaughtering massive drakes and conquering lost lands for the Empire. His aura radiated pure hope nationwide, until his shocking kidnapping 2 years prior. But suddenly, Leon violently jolts awake, screaming desperately, clutching his chest. Slowly, his frantic breathing drops back to normal. Catching his breath, his eyes scan the area, realizing he is trapped in an unfamiliar bedroom. Totally bewildered, he questions his reality. Until the wooden door creaks open, a tiny girl wanders inside, her glowing innocence completely catching him off guard. Blinking hard, he totally failed to process this madness. He absolutely thought he respawned in heaven after hard-carrying humanity, but boy was he wrong. "Who exactly are you?" Leon stammers, brain lagging. Flashing an angelic smile, the kid replies, "I am Wen." While her cute vibe warms his frozen heart, something feels completely off. Her hair, a wild split of pure black and white, looks insanely mystical. She casually drops that her mom named her after the moon, breaking his brain even more. Do celestial angels even have moms? Dropping his name, Mwen beams with pure joy. Leon translates to lion, she happily shouts. Taken aback, he questioned her source. Her innocent smile returned. My mommy told me. A suffocating dread suddenly clawed at Leon's throat. Who is your mommy? He probed carefully. Rosweiss Mwen chirped brightly. Leon's blood ran cold. That cursed name struck like lightning, shattering his reality. Wait. Am I your dad? Mwen beamed with joy. Yup. Pure panic hijacked his brain. How on earth was this real? A secret love child with the enemy, before reality fully hit. Mwen spun toward the doorway. A terrifying silhouette materialized, sending absolute terror down Leon's spine. Mommy, Daddy's finally awake. The toddler cheered, sprinting over happily. Rosweiss's lips twisted into a dark, predatory smirk, completely devoid of any maternal warmth. While the kid thought her mom was thrilled about their cute daily visits, Rosweiss flashed a downright sinister glare, gently petting the clueless girl's hair. Run along and play, sweetie, she purred dangerously. Daddy and I need a private chat. The second the door clicked, Leon glared at his nightmare. Is she actually ours? He demanded. Obviously, she smirked, slamming the room shut with her massive tail. Our very own flesh and blood. Leon's brain short-circuited. Why keep her? Why spare my life? You've been in a coma for 2 whole years, the dragoness hissed. I remember everything you did, and payback is long overdue. Furious fire ignited in Leon's gaze. I didn't ask for this. We're sworn enemies. The queen's aura darkened. Oh, so I was just torture to you. Her scaly tail whipped around his ankle, slamming him onto the mattress as she mounted him, violently ripping his shirt apart as her eyes glowed with malice. Whispering an ancient hex, she prepared to bind his soul forever. Leon desperately pleaded for mercy, but she ignored his cries. Slamming her palm against his heart, a blinding magical crest erupted, branding his flesh with the ultimate dragon sigil. You're never escaping me, the tyrant proclaimed. You belong to me now. Leon knew this demonic tattoo was a total death sentence. His guild would instantly brand him a traitor who bowed to the scaly beasts. Draconic wrath was legendary, a psychotic, relentless thirst for payback. This twisted queen didn't just want him beaten. She craved his absolute humiliation and total enslavement. As the vicious hex finished, an intoxicating, uncontrollable submission washed over Leon. For the villainess, this was ultimate victory. Humanity's most legendary dragon executioner was now reduced to her personal pet. Gossip exploded across the Silver Palace. The Supreme Sovereign's new hubby was finally awake. Even the terrified servants sensed her dangerously cheerful vibe. Crouched in the shadows, Leon eavesdropped on the horrific rumors of his new marriage and felt utterly sick. The psycho had officially crowned him her royal consort. Nobody understood the pure monster she truly was. She had relentlessly tormented him for 24 hours straight, leaving his mortal body completely wrecked. His entire spine felt pulverized, yet his warrior spirit blazed with sheer defiance. I refused to be her captive toy, our hero swore. Under midnight's cover, he ghosted out of the hellish bedchamber, creeping toward the fortress exit. 4 hulking reptilian sentinels blocked the perimeter, making a clean break look absolutely suicidal. Yet the stronghold felt suspiciously dead, way fewer patrols than his last raid. 2 years ago, something screamed, trap. While desperately scanning for blind spots, he spotted a shady tunnel hidden in the brush. A faint glimmer of freedom peeked through. Suspecting a deadly snare, Leon still dove right in. He had to break out 0 exceptions. Shimmying through the claustrophobic dirt shaft, he spat a toxic goodbye to the deranged dragon dictator. As for the ultra-cute kiddo Mwen, she was strictly staying out of this messy drama. High above on the terrace, Mwen rushed her mom, joyfully shouting, "Daddy's digging a doggy door." The scaly empress, lounging in a bikini and sipping wine, cackled at her husband's pathetic stunt. The toddler tilted her head, confused. "When are we gonna fish him back, Mommy?" The wicked queen flashed a devious smirk. "Not fish, my little monster. We're going to catch him." The kiddo nodded, slightly puzzled, but echoed, "Catch him back." As darkness swallowed the realm, Leon successfully breached the fortress walls, sprinting into the pitch-black woods. Driven by pure adrenaline, he aimed for the treacherous peaks, his only gateway back to human civilization. Hours evaporated, and our protagonist felt confident. He had officially ghosted the monster queen. But his victory was painfully brief. The heavens suddenly eclipsed as Rosweiss materialized above, in her terrifying draconic form. Spreading her massive wings, she mockingly applauded his sprint. Not bad, touching down with earth-shattering grace. Her fangs bared in a sadistic grin. "I intentionally pulled the security and dug that pathetic doggy door just for you." Leon swore internally, realizing he was completely played. Unyielding, he dashed away. Even knowing that running back to human territory, now carrying a demonic slave seal, meant absolutely nobody would believe his legendary Slayer status anymore. Roswisa, heavily entertained by his pointless struggling, dive-bombed and snatched him like a helpless ragdoll. Skyrocketing into the stratosphere, she cruised toward human lands, her razor-sharp talons locked tight. After a grueling airborne joyride, she unceremoniously dumped him outside a human border town, slamming him into the dirt. Bruised and disoriented, Leon staggered up, catching the nostalgic glow of human city lights. The tyrant queen, morphing back into humanoid shape, loomed over him and smugly declared, "Surprise, honey. We're in your territory now." For normal people, reaching home meant absolute survival. But escape remained a pure delusion. Before Leon could even blink, that cursed sigil scorched his chest, radiating raw mana. Blistering heat hijacked his veins. Rosswise flashed a wicked smirk. "Right, I forgot the lore. When one sigil bearer craves connection, the other becomes a complete puppet." That devastating truth hit Leon like a thunderbolt. The ultimate disrespect. His desperate resistance totally crumbled against her absolute command. Snatching her wrist with shaking fingers, Leon shot daggers into her soul. "I will return this disrespect double, I swear it," utterly entertained. Rosswise purred, her predatory eyes trapping him. "I will eagerly await that, dead or breathing." Hours faded. Beneath some ancient shade near the border limits, destiny forced their toxic dynamic again. The dragon monarch looked absolutely glowing, while Leon sat hollowed out, simmering with silent rage. Tracing his branded chest, Rosswise dropped a casual threat. "Honestly, dragging you here monthly sounds like an absolute vibe. Crashing your territory could be peak entertainment." Leon clenched his jaw, refusing to shatter. "I am nobody's helpless loot. I am hiking back to salvage my shattered pride." Rosswise arched a flawless brow. "Hike? That is a brutal 15-day death march." "Never count human willpower out," Leon growled. Rosswise just flashed a devious grin. Treating this like a twisted social experiment, she stalked his shadow silently, enjoying his pathetic stumbling marathon. Hours bled away before Leon spotted armored patrols. Imperial dragon slayers. Pure hope electrified him. But Rosswise's murderous aura screamed one warning. "Snitch and these guys get totally wiped." A plated soldier jogged over. "Need a map?" he asked respectfully. Leon plastered on a fake smile, capping hard. "Nope, just enjoying nature." The guy dismounted, claiming his title as captain of the 47th Unit. "This zone is basically a death trap for tourists," he warned, pointing toward the monster-infested tree line. His bodyguard offer threw Leon into a total panic attack. Cold sweat dropped as Leon's hands began violently shaking, while frantically praising the captain's vibe, swearing they were martial arts experts who could easily solo the woods. Reality check. He needed this guy gone yesterday. The captain, recognizing Leon, immediately triggered the Dragon Queen's lethal instincts. Her pupils slit like a predator. Invisible mana swirled around her fingertips, fully prepped to erase this captain from existence. Sensing the incoming bloodbath, Leon went into overdrive. He snatched the monarch's hand, yanking her flush against his racing heart. Sweating bullets, he laughed off the ID check. "I am literally an NPC, bro," he joked, adding that even his gorgeous wife, the hidden dragon, forgot his face sometimes. Closing the gap, Leon breathed frantic whispers, pleading for her to match his energy, swearing he would surrender and follow her home if she spared this squad. Highly entertained, the Supreme Predator played along. They dropped a masterclass performance. Leon faked intense devotion, holding her aggressively close, cringing hard at their massive PDA. The captain forced a stiff grin and dipped totally over their couple behavior. The literal second that armor vanished, Leon shoved the queen away. Her face instantly screamed pure annoyance. Catching his fatal error, he nervously backed up. "Keeping your mouth shut was high IQ," she iced him. "But reality check. Sharing offspring does not make us legally married." Leon, gasping for air, fired right back. "Being your husband sounds like absolute torture anyway." Smug about his defiance, she threw a wicked smirk and pivoted, mocking his brutal walking distance. But before step one could drop, an agonizing spike shattered Leon's hand, sending him straight into the blackout zone. The queen just sighed, flexing over his pathetic stats. Shifting into her colossal scaly form, she carefully gripped him in her massive jaws, casually tossing his limp body backward. Translating his knockout as a desperate white flag, she ripped open her wings, launching into the sky toward the Silver Fortress. Absolutely winning right now. The following sunrise inside the stronghold, Leon snapped awake, spotting Tiny Moon guarding his mattress. Mind completely lagging, he questioned his respawn point. Moon beamed, hyping up how Mom carried him the whole way. Digesting his total defeat, Leon stared down at his wounded hand. It was perfectly wrapped, sealed with a cute ribbon. Moon puffed out her chest, bragging about her healer skills, totally fishing for dad compliments. Leon's eyes softened, ruffling her hair. "You are top-tier, Moon," he praised, teasingly, adding, "Just promise me, you will never copy your mom." A freezing voice sliced from the doorway. "Got a problem with my stats." Leon went totally rigid, jump-scared. Sweating, he instantly dodged the question. while Moon aggressively flexed her medical work to Mom, swearing she nailed the tutorial. The monarch dropped zero validation. Doing the bare minimum is expected, she stated coldly. Moon nodded, completely immune to her hardcore parenting style. Desperate to shift vibes, Leon tapped Moon's crown. Hey, go stealth mode in the courtyard. I will count to 100, then the hunt begins. Moon's face ignited with pure hype before she dashed out. The second the coast cleared, Leon squared up. Why act so toxic toward her? He demanded from the mattress. She bluntly dropped facts. Dragons forge their bloodline through fire, crafting only unstoppable apex predators. Leon fired back. Mayun was only half dragon, plus she was undeniably adorable. The queen just scoffed. Calling our majestic bloodline cute is pure disrespect. Leon internally disagreed, but his stubbornness ignited her blazing fury. Snatching his collar, she hissed fiercely. You are merely my personal punching bag. Know your absolute place, human. Sensing her lethal aura, Leon instantly surrendered. Her icy glare softened, dumping babysitting duties squarely onto him. Leaning closer, she whispered, She totally adores you. Completely shell-shocked, Leon stumbled toward the fountain. A literal dragon slayer, reduced to a glorified nanny, the massive irony completely crushed his pride. Catching Mune peeking behind a massive pillar, he cheered. Found you, yet the tiny dragon remained frozen. Baffled, he gently apologized for lagging behind. Instantly, she bolted down the massive hallway like pure lightning. Leon sprinted after her tiny footsteps. Hey, why the sudden marathon? Mune sharply swerved a tight corner. He skidded to a halt, totally losing her trail. Decoding a toddler's chaotic brain was his ultimate boss fight. The queen's sinister plan made perfect sense now. Pawning off this hyperactive menace was an absolute power move. Panic started choking him until a tiny weight slammed into his back. Mune locked him in a surprise bear hug. Jolted, Leon swore she had just sprinted ahead. But the little girl boldly denied everything with supreme confidence. Flashing a bright grin, she declared her flawless logic. Since Daddy failed, she hunted him down herself. Shaking off his wild confusion, Leon simply accepted it. Gripping his giant hand, Mune dragged him toward a secret surprise. As they vanished, a shadowy figure stepped out. A girl looking exactly like Mune watched them in dead silence. Later, splashing water filled the courtyard. Mune violently attacked a blank canvas with bright colors radiating pure joy. Leon lounged nearby, utterly captivated. A massive wave of unexpected fatherly warmth violently melted his hardened warrior heart. Being a dad suddenly felt incredibly amazing. Her innocent laughter acted like pure healing magic on his scarred soul. While she painted, Leon fiercely ground his teeth together. He desperately needed a solid escape plan from that tyrannical queen. Before plotting further, Mune tackled his leg, shoving her masterpiece upward. Leon grabbed the messy paper, beaming incredibly proudly. He opened his mouth to cheer, but his jaw instantly dropped. The doodle clearly displayed two identical girls. Assuming it was a toddler glitch, he tapped the second stick figure. Hey Squirt, why did you draw yourself twice? Smiling sweetly, Mune dropped a massive bombshell. That is my big sis. Pure terror suddenly paralyzed Leon's entire body. That hallway ghost was totally real. Sickness twisted his gut heavily, regretting ignoring that mysterious shadowy child earlier. Did he accidentally traumatize his other kid? Mune quickly waved her tiny hands, swearing her big sister wasn't mad. She was just super anxious about meeting their daddy. Rubbing his tense jaw, Leon deeply analyzed this insane twist. An unknown second daughter, the sheer magnitude of the queen's massive hidden secrets hit him like a literal freight train. Boiling rage overtook him. Time for a dramatic confrontation. Meanwhile, inside the Grand Library, the queen casually flipped through documents. A mini Drake dropped a scroll just as heavy boots stomped closer. Boom, Leon aggressively kicked the heavy doors open. Eyes blazing with righteous dad fury, he demanded absolute truth. He exposed her massive cover-up regarding his firstborn child. Finding his wild tantrum hilarious, she smirked lazily, questioning his sudden meltdown. Leon violently slammed both palms onto her desk. He fiercely praised her hardcore solo parenting. Raising two chaotic dragon toddlers alone was an undeniably legendary feat. He aggressively promised to officially register her in his imperial bloodline. The majestic ruler just offered a very cryptic smile. She coldly brushed it off. Bringing up her firstborn simply was not worth her precious time or breath. Was this monarch actually jealous of his bond with Miyun? Shockingly, his desperate hunger to meet Noah deeply stunned her. Playing along with his dad arc, she granted an audience. But her chilling gaze carried a massive warning label. Shadows swallowed the castle as Leon stormed the royal kitchens. He was absolutely dead set on conquering his firstborn's heart. He fiercely chopped ingredients for a legendary creamy meat stew. This nostalgic adventurer recipe packed an aggressively comforting sweet punch. Sipping the heavenly broth, he pumped his fist. He pictured Noah, absolutely melting over her daddy's flawless cooking skills. She would definitely obsess over his culinary masterpiece. Outside, the frosted glass, two gossiping maids spied on his chef session. His sweaty determination totally melted their hearts. Surviving near death, his massive dad energy was incredibly wholesome to witness. He literally defined peak husband and ultimate father material. Suddenly, the kitchen doors swung open, revealing the queen and two shadows. Myun happily chirped at the staff. Gripping his wooden spoon, Leon mentally braced for the ultimate boss encounter. Wanting zero audience for this family drama, the queen dismissed the giggling staff. They bowed deeply and vanished instantly. Plating the culinary masterpiece, Leon carefully carried the bubbling cauldron forward. Myun immediately rushed his legs like a tiny missile. Surrounded by an absolutely mouth-watering fragrance, Leon flashed his ultimate charming dad smile. "So I hear my girls are hardcore carnivores. I whipped up this legendary stew and premium fillet just for you." Leon prayed this epic feast would finally win over his little girl Noah. Brutal rejection. Noah totally ignored the masterpiece, staring off into space. Leon just stood there, completely paralyzed by her icy shoulder. Watching this unfold, the Dragon Queen flashed a smug, knowing smirk. Leon's blood boiled. She totally knew this train wreck was coming. This perfectly explained her dragging feet about setting up this family reunion. Slicing through the awkward silence, the queen nudged Noah to speak up. Standing tall, Noah announced, "I am Noah, the firstborn of the Silver Dragon Queen Rosweiss." She puffed her chest out. "And I am 1 year and 2 months old. Since dragon bloodlines level up insanely fast, she wasn't your average toddler." Leon leaned in, offering a hopeful, welcoming hand. "I'm your dad," he beamed, desperately trying to max out his charisma. Surprisingly, Noah's eyes locked onto him for a split second. But her freezing glare quickly returned, sending shivers down his spine. Was she secretly hating him, or just doubting his vibe? Catching the heavy mood, Sweet Muen tugged her sister's sleeve. She whispered softly, begging her to give their dad a real chance. But Noah's next words dealt massive critical damage. "He radiates weak energy," she deadpanned. "Are we sure he's actually our father?" Emotional damage. Those words pierced Leon's heart like poisoned daggers. Fatherhood was going to be one brutal battlefield. Welcome to level 1 of the Papa Leon survival quest. Sweating bullets, he aggressively wiped his face, trying to process this ultimate boss fight. A gut feeling told him this savage little dragon was testing his limits on purpose. Swallowing his nerves, he locked in. He was ready for the absolute chaos ahead. Noah suddenly shot something down, her eyes burning with pure, unyielding fire. This tiny warrior was definitely not backing down. Back at the grand dining table, the air grew incredibly thick. You could practically slice the tension with a sword. Eyes darted nervously. Poor Muen flashed an SOS look, begging for a rescue. The twins sat shoulder to shoulder. They looked exactly alike, but their auras were complete polar opposites. While Noah demolished her food in dead silence, Muen hard carried the vibe. Leon flashed a gentle smile. "Is the food hitting the spot?" His voice dripped with pure dad energy. But out of nowhere, Noah shrieked, totally shattering the peaceful moment. Leon nearly jumped out of his skin. Meanwhile, Rosweiss just hid a massive grin, totally living for the absolute drama. Spotting her mom's sneaky giggles, Muen tilted her head in pure confusion. Catching the vibe, Leon finally let loose and burst into warm laughter too. He confessed that hanging with his new family was an absolute win. "Will Papa eat with us every single day?" Muen gasped, her big eyes literally sparkling with stars. But Noah's face darkened. She instantly vetoed the entire idea with zero hesitation. Mind blown, Muen begged to know why her twin was throwing so much shade at family bonding time. Keeping her cool, their mom smoothly pivoted the chat. "Why the mad dash to enroll in the elite Dragon Academy?" she probed. Dripping with absolute swagger, Noah vowed to crush top-tier dragon warriors. Her battle thirst was off the charts. Rubbing his temples, Leon faced a terrifying reality check. His tiny daughter was already plotting to absolutely power scale past him. He softly warned her. Clashing with elite monster-class dragons at level 1 was basically a death wish. Triggered, Noah folded her arms. "I am not a weak kid," she snapped. Leaving Leon completely defeated, Rosweiss totally backed the kid's hype. Early grinding was essential for Destiny's trials. Locking eyes with Leon, she threw down the gauntlet. "Got a valid reason to block her grind?" she challenged, testing his nerve. Leon let out a heavy sigh. Blocking this fiery dragon would only make her rebel 10 times harder. Waving the white flag, he zipped his lips. He surrendered entirely, though completely stressed out. Flashing a wicked grin, Rosweiss told him to watch his step. Here, massive life choices happened in a flash. Sweating bullets, Leon felt the crushing weight of her terrifying warning. The timer was set, the elite entrance exam was exactly 1 month away, and Leon was officially drafted as her training master. Noah's hyped-up roar of approval instantly electrified the entire room. With the feast wiped out, the squad traded goofy jokes, rubbing their stuffed bellies in total harmony. Suddenly, Rosweiss's voice dropped an octave, demanding absolute silence from everyone. Pointing at the messy table, Leon pitched a wholesome idea. A true power couple should totally tackle the dirty dishes side by side. Ice-cold Rosweiss instantly rejected it. "That's NPC work," she scoffed, utterly crushing his romantic fantasy. Leon pushed back, arguing that real family bonds required actual teamwork, not playing pretend. Stepping up, Sweet Muen instantly volunteered to join the cleanup crew. Her hyped energy was completely contagious, forcing the dragon mama to cave. As Muen's massive excitement totally floods the room, begging to pitch in, she suddenly gets yanked backward, leaving the little girl totally bewildered, while scrambling to match her parents' pace. Meanwhile, Rosewazek stepped right up to Leon, demanding to know when he would actually help. Leon just folded his arms, tossing back a dark warning he dropped 2 years prior. Rosewazek, radiating absolute boss aura, flat out refused to handle someone forged through hellish training. Leon, holding his ground with swagger, fired back for her true endgame. His razor-sharp voice proved he wasn't some pushover pawn anymore. Rosewazek unleashed a devastating blow, barking that running away was off the table. Leon blocked her lethal strike flawlessly. Pinning her down with a cocky grin, he whispered, "Whoever claimed I wanted to run?" Rosewazek let out a pained gasp, thrashing against his crazy grip, while Leon roasted her sudden power drop. With a savage smirk, he dubbed her a shattered queen, breaking down how that dragon mark completely nerfed her abilities. He then dropped heavy lore, snatched straight from her clan's ancient scrolls, totally rattling her. Catching her panic, he smirked, mocking her desperate craving for dominance. Rosewazek, panting and totally flushed, snapped back, asking if Leon was ever truly chained. With her pride totally stripped, she screams to release her tail, visibly thrashing against his intense hold. Gripping her tail without mercy, Leon drops his voice into a chilling register, calling her out for completely trashing his pride. The second he woke up, his totally cocky vibe clashes hard with her stunned, helpless panic while she shoots him absolute daggers. Rosewazek snaps back with pure venom, refusing to bow down while cursing him out, her fiery temper erupting. She completely rejects his alpha act, her eyes burning with pure rebellion. Meanwhile, two maids gossip down the hall, dying to know if the queen wrapped up her totally secret bonding session. Their hardcore snooping screams that something wild is up. Sneaking a peek into the kitchen, their jaws drop at the flawless shine, looking like someone scrubbed every single tile perfectly. The maids totally freak out, guessing the prince somehow pulled off this deep clean. One hyped, flashes a crazy shiny plate. Back inside, Leon chills in dead silence, reading the whole vibe with a cold, laser-focused energy. Keeping Rosewazek completely trapped, he clowns her massive downgrade, whispering a dark threat to stay super quiet before those snooping maids catch them. Rosewazek's eyes flare with absolute fury and sheer willpower, right as the heavy door slams shut, screaming her silent war against this humiliating trap. Leon just smirks, clamping down way harder, sarcastically dropping the wife title while telling her it is time to begin. His face instantly drops into a freezing, ruthless glare, completely dominating the room. Rosewazek's gaze screams pure burnout and total defeat, barely reacting, as she basically accepts this twisted destiny. Cut to 3 days later, panning over a ridiculously stunning sun-drenched castle chilling under crisp blue skies. Two sisters hover near their dad's bed, totally stressing since he has been out cold for days. One actually panics, he kicked the bucket, but the other sister promises to hold out. Out of nowhere, Leon flinches hard when Noah literally dropkicks his face. Groaning, he mutters, asking what kind of kid treats their dad like a punching bag. Blinking awake, Leon spots Muen practically vibrating with hype at his slightest twitch. Muen happily cheers about his awakening, while Noah just stares in total confusion. Leon quietly wonders when he even blacked out. Rosewazek coldly volunteers to jog his memory, sparking a savage flashback of her blasting him and completely neutralizing that dragon mark. Leon sweats over her insane monster-tier strength, realizing she could have easily deleted him. Bouncing back, he sits silently watching Rosewazek, who is completely icing him out. Despite her terrifying boss aura, he notices her absolutely unreal beauty, and remembers she is literally a 200-year-old dragon. Muen, catching her dad freezing up cutely, guesses. He is totally stunned by their mom's looks. Caught slipping when something randomly smacks the table, Rosewazek whips around in pure shock. Leon snatches a fallen flower clip and smoothly slides it into Rosewazek's hair, whispering, "It looks perfect." Totally shook, she questions his weird move. Leon just laughs, joking about brushing his old master's donkey as a kid, claiming he is basically a pro at this. Muen cutely asks what the heck a donkey is, totally stunning him. Smiling warmly, Leon explains, "Donkeys are way tinier and 10 times more stubborn than dragons," acting totally goofy to make her laugh. Rosewazek, watching fiercely, connects her stubbornness to those animals. Suddenly, she decks Leon, sending him crashing backward. Wincing hard, he swears to a panicked Muen he is completely fine. Rosewazek commands Leon to literally teach the girls how to write, dropping his jaw. Muen totally hypes up the announcement. While Noah flexes, she is already a pro. The sisters sprint toward the study room, completely geeking out over their pens. Meanwhile, Rosewazek drops the bomb that her sister is visiting, ordering him to stay completely hidden. Leon, totally blindsided, demands to know why he is benched. Rossweiss drops a reality check. She reminds him of his forced role within the Silver Dragon clan after losing 2 whole years to a mysterious magic-induced coma. If he ends up facing her sister, playing the devoted fake husband is absolutely mandatory. Leon absorbs the heavy demands with a deadpan stare. Bowing his head, he mockingly accepts her orders, calling her Your Majesty. But once she vanishes, a wicked spark lights up his eyes. Obey her, never. Left alone, he instantly plots to humiliate her in front of her sister. Fast forward to the Silver Dragon Castle's study room. Leon sits patiently guiding little Noah and Moon through the delicate strokes of writing their own names. He traces letters for them to copy. Moon bounces with excitement while Noah stays dead serious. Staring at the paper, Noah coldly critiques his penmanship bluntly, stating their mother's handwriting is leagues better. That jab stings his pride, but he stays quiet. Standing up, Moon curiously asks where he is going. He gently promises to check their homework later, claiming he has an urgent delivery for their mother. Noah totally rolls her eyes, but Moon giggles, teasing her sister's secret joy. Blushing furiously, Noah snaps at her to keep practicing. Boom, the scene completely shifts to the castle's massive iron gates crowded with elite nobles and heavily armed guards. Enter Isha Melkvi. The legendary queen commands the yard, rocking fiery hair and pure royal authority. Rossweiss practically sprints to embrace her sister, their unbreakable bond lighting up the area. Isha immediately praises her radiant glow. Blushing, Rossweiss humbly brushes off the compliment. But Isha leans in, practically demanding details about the newly awakened husband. Hearing he is too sick for a royal introduction, Isha smirks. She ruthlessly teases the whirlwind romance, hinting at some serious late-night passion between them. Panicking, Rossweiss violently shuts that down. She swears no sparks will ever fly between her and Leon. Isha drops a knowing smirk, totally amused by the defensive rant, and heads for the garden. While they stroll, a shadowy Leon tracks the royal duo through a telescope, instantly recognizing Isha. His eyes narrow with mischief. Time to test the absolute limits of the magical dragon pattern. Surrounded by blood-red roses, the sisters dive into dark politics, whispering about the rising threat of the ruthless Red Flame Dragon King. Isha suspects the supposedly vanished Constantine Long is actively exploiting this massive chaos to conquer new territories. Suddenly, a weird pulse jolts through Rossweiss. Her body stiffens as magical energy flares up. Isha instantly senses the spike in tension. Slapping on a fake smile, Rossweiss waves it off. But inside, she is viciously cursing that absolute menace of a dragon slayer. Oblivious Isha details a master plan to reinforce their borders, bringing up Shin Long as their elite undercover messenger. She chuckles, deeply amused by how recklessly modern dragons are abusing the sacred dragon pattern. The seal on Rossweiss's body burns hotter by the second, sending sheer panic straight through her veins. Isha finally spots the blazing redness on her sister's cheeks. Cornered, Rossweiss stammers out a flimsy excuse about a forgotten errand and sprints off. Isha offers to tag along, but a mortified Rossweiss violently rejects the backup. Watching her flee, Isha breaks into a wicked grin, imagining the newlyweds' spicy bedroom games. Cut back to the castle. Leon kicks back, grinning like an absolute villain. How much could the queen actually endure? Bam! The thick oak doors explode open. A furious Rossweiss violently grabs his collar, screaming that he weaponized the bond just to embarrass her. Leon instantly plays the victim. Gazing deeply into her eyes, he softly whispers, "Is it illegal to crave my own wife?" His voice drips with fake sorrow. Boom! Rossweiss totally short-circuits her face, turning the color of a ripe tomato. Dropping his shirt instantly, she slaps a hand over her eyes to hide the devastating blush. Hook, line, and sinker. Leon smirks in the shadows, absolutely thriving on her mental breakdown. Expecting sheer disgust, he watches as she spins around. Still practically glowing red, she viciously brands him a shameless pervert. She harshly reminds him of his place, a conquered prisoner, with zero right to spout such romantic garbage. Commanding him to delete those filthy thoughts, she glares daggers. Leon just flashes a calm smile. But internally, Rossweiss is completely spiraling. She came here to destroy him, so why did that cheesy line make her heart do backflips? Storming toward the exit, she growls a final threat. Pull a stunt like that again, and she will personally end him. Watching the door slam, Leon bursts into a dark chuckle. One sentence utterly shattered her icy defense. Leaning back, he realizes the sheer terrifying potential of this magical dragon pattern bond. But suddenly, as her blushing face replays in his mind, his own heart starts pounding like crazy. Frantically shaking his head, he mutters, "Cosmo, wake up." He scolds his foolish thoughts, remembering the waiting kids. But undeniably, this romantic tension is rapidly skyrocketing. The electric tension between him and Rossweiss is dragging this plot into uncharted, chaotic territory. Meanwhile, Noah grinds her penmanship like a total boss, but Muen zones out, whining about their MIA dad. Sunset hits the Silver Dragon Castle, and Aisha finally calls it quits, dropping her goodbye to Rossweiss. The Ice Queen actually waves back, telling her to stay safe out there. Morphing into a massive crimson dragon, Aisha smirks, demanding to meet the mysterious hubby next time. Rossweiss nods immediately, dodging the topic. Aisha and her knights rocket into the starry void, leaving Rossweiss staring upward with heavy, unreadable eyes. She mentally sighs. She expected a total boss fight today, not this weird family drama. What cursed luck is coming next? Her jaw clenches, aura flaring up. That annoying dragon slayer definitely needs another brutal reality check. Cut to Leon sneezing his absolute lungs out. Someone is definitely plotting his downfall right now. Shaking it off, he hits the study room, dropping absolute lore drops for the girl's bedtime. The twins completely knock out. Leon snaps the book, Shut pulls up the blankets, whispers stay warm, and Ninja walks out the door. Bam! Rossweiss wall pins him against the exit, sending his heart straight into his throat. Her glacial glare locks onto him. Escaping so soon, she hisses. Leon just sweats, rubbing his neck. Did your crazy sister finally leave? A wicked smirk crosses her lips. Oh, our night is just getting started. She grabs his collar, physically dragging him away like a rag doll. Inside the Queen's royal chambers, Leon practically slams a boiling basin of water onto the marble floor. Water is boiling, what is the plan here? He grumbles. Rossweiss just kicks back, radiating absolute dominant energy. My feet are killing me. Start scrubbing, she commands without hesitation. Leon completely short-circuits. His pride shatters into a million pieces as he groans aggressively, slipping off her designer heels. He screams internally. The ultimate dragon slayer reduced to a glorified royal foot spa worker. Getting to work, he side-eyes her, wondering how many legendary warriors fell for this exact same humiliating trap. Rossweiss catches him staring and glares. What is going through that empty head, she snaps, cheeks dusting with a totally suspicious red. Instead of answering, Leon flashes a devilish grin and dunks her feet straight into the boiling abyss. Sink or swim, your majesty, he trolls. Rossweiss violently flinches, shrieking that it feels like actual lava. You absolute psycho. She uppercuts him with a brutal kick, launching him backward. Leon crashes down, literally coughing up HP. Eyes glowing with sub-zero fury, she stomps heavily on his chest. You planned that sabotage, did you not? Her voice drops 10 degrees. But Leon, completely unfazed under her heel, shoots back a feral grin. Hey, you ordered the VIP spa treatment, he barks back. Rossweiss instantly turns tomato red, vibrating with pure rage. Guess you need another lesson in obedience, she purrs, sliding her foot dangerously lower. Her tone shifts into a dark whisper. Never thought you would be pinned under a dragon, huh? She grinds her heel down, flashing a supremely arrogant smirk. Let us see you break. Leon cheeks, burning locks eyes with her refusing to fold. No way I lose to this scaly tyrant, he vows, bracing his core for impact. In a flash, Leon snatches her ankle and jumps up, grinning like a maniac. I have eaten beef and pork, but dragon meat. That is a whole new menu. Rossweiss absolutely panics, her face glowing neon red. What is your malfunction? Zero hesitation, he actually bites down on her calf. Midnight snack secured. Rossweiss goes completely feral, screaming absolute murder. Morning hits. Mwen is basically a walking zombie, while Noah is already operating at 100% brain capacity. The queen limps in leg, heavily bandaged up. Mwen blinks, totally confused. Mom, did you lose a fight with the stairs? Just a scratch. Rossweiss deflects hard. Right on cue, Leon strolls in, rocking a massive band-aid across his face. Mwen immediately pivots. Okay, Dad, who gave you that massive black eye? Copying his wife perfectly, Leon crosses his arms. Just a scratch. Mwen puts her hands on her hips, her suspicious meter maxing out. A light bulb suddenly goes off in her head. You guys were throwing down in a secret game without me, she shouts, vibrating with hype. Tag me in next time. Noah just watches her sister peak cringe, dropping a massive silent sigh. Fast forward, the power couple patrols the royal gardens. They walk shoulder to shoulder, drowning in a hilariously awkward, thick silence. Hiding nearby, a maid aggressively elbows her friend. Oh my god, the royal bosses are totally on a romantic date. The blue-haired bestie giggles quietly. Total couple goals, even if they are acting like socially awkward teenagers. Leon peeks at the queen, sensing her wildly out-of-character vibe. That crazy proposition from before flashes through his mind. A casual stroll together. Completely blindsided, he questioned the sudden invite. Rosewise coldly stated it was absolutely vital for faking their perfect family dynamic to the public. Strolling side by side, Leon anxiously calculates her hidden agenda. Her sudden initiative screams suspicious completely, throwing him off guard. Meanwhile, nearby, little Moon and Noah crouch behind an oak, intensely spying. Moon practically facepalms, grumbling. Dad seriously possesses zero hand-holding game. Suddenly, pure determination sparks in her eyes. Pumping her tiny fist, she proudly declares mission accepted. Panic strikes Noah as she grabs her. Wait, Moon, she frantically hisses. But the toddler is already sprinting away. Mom, Dad, she happily squeals. Caught off guard, the awkward couple flinches. Leon barely starts questioning her ambush when Moon forcefully snatches their wrists aggressively, locking their fingers together. That is how you stroll, Moon brightly chirps. Pulling a swift 180, the little matchmaker dashes off to bother her sister. Leon blankly stares at their intertwined fingers. Utterly paralyzed, watching his daughter vanish, he questions who taught her that move. Behind the trunk, a stressed Noah squishes Moon's chubby cheeks. "You totally ignored my warning, Moon." Sniffling, the tiny culprit vows to behave, begging for mercy. Meanwhile, the stunned parents resume their agonizingly slow march. Physical contact maintained, both absolutely tomato red. Shattering the heavy, quiet, Leon aggressively avoids eye contact. Total glitch. How do I survive this? A faint crimson dusting Rosewise's cheeks, she murmurs. "Relax. Just keep holding my hand." Pacing forward, Leon blurts, "Your bizarrely chill vibe today is giving me massive anxiety," flashing a wicked smirk. The queen purrs. "Guess I completely domesticated you. Look, whose heartbeat is spiking now?" Watching from their leafy sniper nest, the tiny duo intensely monitors their parents' progress. Stealing a quick sideways glance, Leon internally marvels at her flawless royal ice queen persona. Who knew a basic handhold could severely short-circuit Her Majesty's composed facade? Breaking the tension, Leon gently probes. "Notice how our child yells 'Dad' but addresses you as mother. It screams stiffly, formal." Avoiding his gaze, Rosewise mutters, "Does the title mother versus mom genuinely matter?" Leon smiles warmly. "Huge difference. Mom radiates pure, unfiltered affection. Worth a test run." The queen hesitates before nodding slightly. Features melting softly. "Fine, I will carefully consider it." Leon softly chuckles, validating her choice. "Bet the kids will instantly attach to you." Rosewise practically combusts into crimson, thoroughly wrecked by his bright puppy dog energy. Frantically repairing her poise, she nods. "I will test it tomorrow," she declares. Leon, spotting her abrupt pace change, pops a curious eyebrow. Why the sudden speed walking? Navigating the lush gardens, Rosewise unexpectedly drops a heavy question. "Do you constantly crave your homeland?" Leon shoots her a massively suspicious side-eye. "Why dig that up? Not like you are granting me a teleport back anyway." Sighing deeply, she confesses, "Cannot free you, but I have a secret cure." Low-key fascinated yet totally muted, Leon trails behind as she marches toward the massive, imposing fortress vault doors. Halting abruptly, he scrutinizes the giant gates. "What is the grand master plan?" Flicking her wrist, she explains, "No fancy title exists. Label it a storage dump, a junk room, whatever fits your vibe." Twisting an ancient key, she escorts him into the darkness. Scanning the interior, his pupils instantly dilate. An actual dragon hoarding stash, he breathes out, inspecting a glowing bracelet. "Drop this artifact back in the Empire, and it demands literally hundreds of thousands of gold coins." Rosewise softly clarifies, "My grandmother gifted me that relic during childhood. Beyond simple battle loot, this vault protects artifacts harboring immense sentimental value to my soul." Leon gazes at her, mind racing. "You literally never drop family lore, minus your sister." Her usual sharp tone melts into melancholy. "Never encountered my parents. Grandmother practically solo raised us both." Genuinely shocked, Leon casually drops, "Honestly, same tragic backstory. I survived a gritty orphanage. Zero parental memory, until my master and his wife finally scooped me up." He locks eyes. "Why expose this vault?" Gliding toward an ornate loot crate, she pops the lid. "Figured this specific artifact might momentarily delete your chronic depression." Utterly bewildered, Leon anticipates the reveal. His jaw practically hits the floor. The legendary black gold armor, Rosewise wickedly grins. "Have you not desperately craved its return?" Leon stares, brain completely short-circuiting. "Am I hallucinating? You are legitimately returning my gear." Her devilish smirk deepens, danger flashing in her eyes. "Absolutely," she deceitfully purrs. The second, his fingertips graze the metallic chest plate, a blinding azure aura violently erupts. He paralyzes, totally shell-shocked. Cursed with a binding dragon sigil, his mind violently spirals. "Black gold armor, my legendary partner. How did you fall into this tyrant's clutches?" Flexing her villainous grin, Rosewise dangerously whispers, "You finally triggered my absolute trap." Grinding his teeth, Leon shoots daggers of pure blazing fury. "Brace yourselves, an absolutely explosive war between these two, just ignited." Leon froze in his tracks, totally blindsided. "What is your endgame here, Rosewise?" he growled, panic spiking. A radiant dragon crest blazed beneath him, an ancient trap woven into his very armor, triggering instantly upon contact. Flashing a wicked smirk, Rosewise bragged, "I simply upgraded your gear with a special dragon crest." Pure dread washed over Leon. He staggered back, gripping his chest in sheer agony while muttering bitter curses. That cunning dragon witch, he silently roasted his own carelessness as the magic sent violent tremors through his veins. Rosewise let out a sinister giggle. "This upgraded crest packs double the punch," she whispered, closing the distance. "Can you survive this, my sweet dragon slayer?" Completely paralyzed, Leon choked out her name before hitting the floor. Locked in paralysis, raging frustration consumed his mind. "Damn it, my muscles are completely useless." She strutted over a devilish grin taking over her face. Did you honestly believe I would just forgive and forget? Her voice dripped with dangerous seduction. She boldly admitted she had been plotting this exact revenge arc for ages. Her craving for payback had only intensified lately. I never expected you to fall for it so fast, she giggled. She watched his silently fuming face. Unable to resist the thrill, she leaned in dangerously close. She ruthlessly pushed his buttons. Did my little acting routine fool you, she purred, eyes sparkling with absolute mischief. Furious heat flared in his chest. Was every single thing you did just a twisted lie, he barked. Her sharp grin melted away. No, she confessed, none of it was fake. My feelings are completely genuine. She laid her heart bare, shattering their emotional walls before giggling softly. I guess being dominated by you feels right, she claimed, boldly crowning him as her husband forever. Leon sprawled out, completely drained, feeling like absolute garbage. Yet through this chaotic mess, true romance finally blossomed. The raw tension melted into pure soulmate energy. Hours later, Leon exhaled heavily. Sweet relief flooded his system. Glancing up, he caught her staring right at him, with a thoroughly satisfied glow. What are you looking at? He grumbled, visibly flustered. She leaned down, whispering softly, your battle scars look lighter, but you definitely give off that rugged, mature veteran vibe now. Unfazed, Leon shot back. You are playing me again. I am absolutely not buying it, she giggled softly. You are catching on, Leon. Highly paranoid, he braced himself. A faint blush hit her cheeks before she cracked up. Your stamina is totally dropping off, she roasted him. That savage comment dealt emotional damage, sending his thoughts spiraling. Am I actually losing my edge and getting weaker? His paranoid brain overthought everything until he unleashed an agonizing scream. Morning hit Silver Dragon Castle as a thoroughly drained Leon dragged himself inside, rocking heavy bags under his eyes. Folding her arms, she flashed a smug grin. Morning, babe. Did you struggle to sleep? Clenching his jaw, he shot her a lethal glare. Only because of your trash talk, she giggled, playing completely innocent. Chilling nearby, Noah watched this chaotic couple bicker and shook her head. Here we go again. Pivoting hard, she brought up the brutal St. Heath Academy exams. You need to start tutoring Noah on dragon lore immediately. Leaning dangerously close, she whispered, prove your actual worth in other departments for now. Sparked by absolute rage, he snapped. I was just having an off day yesterday. Pointing fiercely, he vowed, I will guarantee Noah destroys that entrance exam. But I demand a seriously massive reward in return. She flashed a knowing smirk. Deal, just keep your expectations realistic. You better honor that deal, he stated, with total conviction. Chuckling gracefully, she strolled off. Better hit the books then. She left his competitive spirit completely ignited. Dripping with sarcasm, she called him honey and warned him against trying too hard. Burning with pure spite, he roared down the hallway. That dragon lady is absolutely cooked. She just casually waved him off. Watching this entire circus, Noah innocently asked why he constantly fought with her mom. Crossing his arms securely, he instantly deflected. He brushed it off as their normal couple dynamic. Suddenly buffering, he asked the kid what she just called his wife. Mom, the girl answered, looking slightly confused. He leaned in eagerly, questioning if someone forced her to use that title. He gently asked if she actually preferred saying mom instead of her formal name. Blushing shyly, she admitted the new title felt right. A proud dad smile completely lit up his face. He confidently stated they would grow to love this new family dynamic. Stunned by his golden retriever energy, the girl just watched him silently. Spinning around to leave, she demanded to know when their study grind would begin. Totally startled, he yelled out her name. He desperately begged her to hold on. Deep inside Silver Dragon Castle, the dark night dragged forward in chilling silence. Inside the nursery study, a solitary magical lamp glowed. Leon slouched over his desk, laser-focused on ancient Dragon Clan scrolls, completely lost in his own mind. The entire fortress had already faded into total darkness, the kids totally knocked out. Suddenly, Rosvisa glided into the silent chamber. Catching Leon still drowning in paperwork, she arched a single brow, still grinding. She questioned, radiating a blend of shock and pure flex. Leon completely ignored her gaze, drumming a quill against his forehead like cracking an impossible code. Noah absorbs knowledge way too fast, he mumbled under his breath toward his wife. Basic academy tactics are utterly useless on her. I gotta craft a totally custom syllabus, core theories, nightmare exams. Guess I'm pulling a massive all-nighter. A smug smirk painted Roswice's face as she peeked at their dreaming kid. Tilting her chin up with absolute queen energy, she boasted. Obviously, she totally inherited my flawless genes. Leon flashed a grin, finally locking eyes. Are you absolutely sure? He fired back, playful rebellion sparking in his pupils. Pushing up, Leon hit a massive stretch, folding his arms with main character energy. I literally ranked first in dragon slaying every single season. Valedictorian, totally flawless in combat sims, swept every single scholarship. The academy literally ran out of medals for me. He bragged, throwing her a cocky grin to invite a counterattack. Leaning in to deal emotional damage, he pushed further. So Queen, what exactly are your academic flexes? For a split second, Rosweiss glitched. Her combat stats and battlefield kill counts were legendary, but hitting the books, she froze, realizing she totally slept on his massive brain. Flashing a wicked grin, she clapped back. All that brain power, yet you are still my hostage, right? Leon's expression completely shattered. Crap, I only choked once, he snapped, his massive ego taking critical damage. A top-tier slayer like him utterly crushed by the legendary Silver Dragon Queen. Now he remained chained down a fierce beast totally dominated by her whims, collapsing into his seat. Leon grumbled sourly, one tiny slip and boom, forever caged, an apex predator terrorized by a reptile. Rosweiss, absolutely beaming, invaded his personal space, her tone overflowing with spicy mockery. Scared of getting dominated by a dragon, huh boy? Her icy pupils drifted, locking onto a stash of neon yellow chilies. Popping a brow, she interrogated. Why hoard this fiery stash? Leon blinked hard, acting like they just spawned in. Oh, these. Snatched them from the pantry for a massive energy boost. Roseweiss's smugness instantly melted into pure panic. Bro, those are authentic dragon fire peppers. A fragile human cannot handle that, but the timer already hit 0. Leon casually tossed one back. Chomping like a boss for exactly 2 seconds, his skin violently flared. Red veins popped, screaming, "Holy fire." He sprinted across the chamber, slapping his cheeks while desperately hunting for a drink. Rosweiss, battling between worrying and cracking up, sighed. Closing the gap, she trapped his burning cheeks inside her frosty palms. Their gazes collided instantly, paralyzing them. Leon's face absolutely radiated heat, definitely not just from the spicy snack. Rosweiss swiftly looked away, coughing awkwardly. My skin is naturally freezing, she stated smoothly, even though her shaky tone totally exposed her. This should chill the burn, her slender fingers tracing his feverish jawline. Leon's frantic chaos suddenly evaporated into zen. Her frosty grip felt dangerously addictive, extinguishing the brutal spice with a crazy, gentle, comforting vibe. Leon shut his eyelids, allowing her icy fingertips to neutralize the blazing agony, slowly dialing down the pain. Against his own pride, he caught catching major feelings from this tiny, intimate heel. Thanks, he whispered, deeply forcing himself to step back while a massive, embarrassing blush permanently tattooed his face. Rosweiss lowered her arms and retreated, hiding her flustered aura as she spun around. Go sleep and never touch that lava again, she commanded, her spicy attitude, returning while gliding toward the exit. Leon just bobbed his head, grumbling out a weak, "Sure." Yeah, loud and clear. Yet his eyes stayed glued to her gorgeous silhouette. The second she vanished, he completely collapsed, vigorously fanning his overheated skin. The ghost of her icy grip actually burned way harder than that stupid chili. But brutal reality instantly crashed down, remembering her intense nighttime routines. Folding his arms, he complained, drains my entire soul, then roasts my trash stamina, while my legs are literally shaking. Frowning hard, he snapped out of it. Cannot catch feelings or she will literally break my pelvis. Locked in, Leon snatched an alchemy manual and aggressively skimmed the chapters. His irises glowing upon discovering an ultra-rare recipe. Obsidian wyvern capsule, he voiced out loud, pure hype, overflowing his tone. A god-tier vitality potion that massively buffs physical endurance and mana reserves. Absolute jackpot. A chaotic smirk stretched across his jawline, like holding a legendary loot drop. Fueled by desperation, he immediately started plotting his ultimate stamina power-up. Fast forward to dawn, golden rays flooded the glass panes while outside a tiny golden finch aggressively squawked at a bigger one. A white bird watched from outside. Inside, total silence. Leon stared down, his daughter Noah. Fighting a massive smirk, he tapped her exam paper. I just graded this, he announced. Out of 100 points, care to guess your score? Noah hit him with an icy glare. Her face remained perfectly blank. 50. Leon actually snorted, whipping the paper out like magic. Try a solid 62. You totally lowballed your own genius. Noah's sharp eyes instantly zeroed in. Her tiny fists crinkled the edges. That slight frown screamed pure disappointment. Leon's gaze softened. Seeing her intense focus, she acted way too grown-up, channeling Ross's stoic energy instead of Moon's, who was probably outside hunting bugs right now. Smiling, Leon gently messed up Noah's neat hair. Hitting 62 on your first run, that is legendary, kid. Noah peeked up, a tiny blush showing. Thanks, she whispered, letting a sliver of pride crack her icy shell. Before Leon could hype her up, a brutal coughing fit hijacked his lungs. He turned, massaging his burning windpipe. My bad, he wheezed, sounding like crushed gravel. His throat felt like literal fire, punishing him for those yellow Dragon Clan peppers he inhaled last night. Why did I ever trust the wake-up spice, he mentally groaned, wincing. Noah's eyes sparked with sudden realization. Digging into her pocket, she whipped out a tiny metal box, shoving it toward him. Dragon throat lozenges, the fancy label read. Leon blinked, caught off guard. For me? Her expression stayed frozen, but a shy gleam betrayed her. Mom told me to hand this over, she muttered instantly, playing it cool to hide her care. Smirking, Leon tossed a drop into his mouth. An icy wave of mint instantly killed the burning sensation. Well, pass my thanks to the boss. He winked, shooting Noah a knowing smirk. Like mother, like daughter, he realized. Absolute ice queens. But secretly, huge softies behind closed doors. As the mint dissolved, Leon's core energy completely refreshed. Locking eyes with Noah, he asked, "All right, where did we leave off?" Noah's aura instantly shifted. "We are dissecting my incorrect answers." Leon laughed out loud, his chest swelling at her fierce drive. "Spot on, kiddo." Meanwhile, deep inside the Silver Dragon Castle kitchen, Leon kicked off a classified mission. The serving staff moved like clockwork, executing his exact orders flawlessly. One maid bowed, greeting him as Lord Prince, confirming the mystical herb drop-off. Nodding smoothly, Leon pointed to the exact coordinates on his prep station. They obeyed instantly, stacking the rare materials perfectly before vanishing like shadows. Leon, flashing a sly, calculated grin, praised his own genius for ordering decoy plants to hide his true master plan. His eyes scanned the loot, verifying the crucial catalysts required to brew the legendary dragon. Great force. It looked basic on paper, but creating it was pure hell. The dusty ancient grimoire blatantly warned that even master-tier Dragon Clan alchemists fail this exact brew constantly. Completely fearless, Leon dove in. Chanting the formula by heart, he aggressively crushed and fused the botanicals, tossing them into the cauldron with absolute precision. Hours vanished in intense focus until total disaster struck again. Another devastating flop. Leon let out a soul-crushing yell, mourning his trashed ingredients. Glaring at the smoking ashes, he cursed the impossible final purification phase even though he followed the sacred text perfectly. Down to the letter, he analyzed the insane precision needed for the extreme heat separation technique. From the scroll, too much fire nukes the elixir, but weak heat leaves the toxins behind. Boiling with rage, he rattled the charred jar, cursing his lack of top-tier alchemical gear. But suddenly, his mentor's ancient wisdom echoed. Find another path. He began plotting a totally radical technique to extract the pure essence. Boom thunder shattered the silence. Leon watched the violent sky, feeling the storm, the chaotic weather perfectly matching his explosive inner drive. As he stood up to shut the glass, that roaring thunderclap paralyzed him, unlocking a forgotten memory deep within his brain. The fierce echoing sparked a massive epiphany about lightning dynamics. A legendary lesson from his alchemy master flooded back. Using electrical currents to purge toxins absolutely destroys traditional fire. A spark of absolute genius struck Leon's eyes, blazed with intense resolve, pondering. Could lightning magic force a separation? The ancient texts missed this entirely. His brain vibrated with insane potential. His signature lightning attribute might just unlock the ultimate dragon great force. Sure, his mana core was still fractured from that taboo spell he cast on Rosweiss, but his current mana reserves should totally handle this insanely delicate fusion. Ditching those dusty old-school alchemy rules, Leon pumped pure crackling electricity straight into the bubbling concoction. Violet arcs of energy crackled wildly as he controlled the fusion flawlessly. 30 agonizing minutes of hardcore concentration later, Leon stepped back, totally breathless. A wicked, victorious grin stretched across his face. He actually pulled it off. The legendary dragon great force was complete. While violent thunder roared outside, our boy bathed in this epic silent win. Tossing the legendary pill into a sleek case, he chuckled at how ridiculously basic this overpowered dragon alchemy actually was. Suddenly, his hyper-energetic daughter Miwon completely crashed the kitchen party. Her radar instantly locked onto the chocolate-looking treasure in his palm. Tilting her head like a confused puppy, she chirped, "Dad, what is cooking?" Leon flinched, totally caught off guard. Playing it cool, he smoothly dropped, "Just some good stuff." But hearing her innocent tone, he froze, his mind spinning with secret plans. Unfazed by his super suspicious answer, Miwon stared with giant sparkling eyes. Snapping back to reality like a glitching system, Leon blurted out, "Miwon." Slamming the stash shut in a panic, he slapped on a wholesome dad smile and ruffled her hair. "It is literally nothing," he lied smoothly. But her radar was activated. "Is that candy?" she pressed, practically vibrating as she stared at the glowing loot box. Leon let out a soft laugh, completely defeated by her cuteness. Waving the hidden ultimate pill, he flashed a gentle grin. "Nope, not sweets. It is a health booster. A special brew for your mother." Instantly, her sunshine vibe vanished into absolute panic mode. "Wait, medicine. Is mommy hurt?" Her tiny voice trembled with massive anxiety. Dropping to one knee, Leon gave her a comforting head pat. "Not at all," he cooed softly to calm her nerves. "The boss lady has been grinding way too hard, so I whipped up a mega energy buff for her. Zero reasons to stress, okay." As her crisis averted, Leon mentally high-fived himself for that flawless lie. Plot twist, this overpowered buff is literally all for me. I desperately need these stats back. Meanwhile, his precious daughter stared deep into his soul, dropping pure guilt. "Dad, protect. Mom, promise." His eyes melted with genuine warmth. Duh, that is literally my main quest. But behind that picture-perfect family man mask, a villainous aura flickered. Hiding his true boss-level intentions, he plotted, the second my mana core hits maximum level, I will absolutely dominate our next clash. A wicked smirk escaped his lips. Fast forward to a stormy midnight, rain violently lashing the glass while thunder roared. Leon chilled on his bed, casually flipping the game-changing loot box. Even after crafting the legendary pill, massive red flags popped up in his head. Would a monstrously strong dragon tier buff actually explode a fragile human vessel? Snatching the pillbox from the air, his brow furrowed. Better bench this extremely dangerous upgrade, until I am totally certain. Boom, Ross Weiss materialized, looking utterly mind-blown and highly suspicious. She literally could not believe he forged high-tier alchemy in a trash-tier kitchen. Dripping with her signature Ice Queen arrogance, she snapped her fingers open. Hand over whatever you just crafted. Right now, Leon froze, clutching the ultimate power-up protectively. Staring into her terrifying icy eyes, he mentally surrendered and tossed it over. You would literally just beat me up for it anyway. He grumbled totally over her tyrant behavior. The Ice Queen snatched the case, analyzing the legendary drop closely. A rare, dangerously beautiful smirk crept onto her face. Not complete garbage at all, she praised softly. Crafting a flawless dragon great force in this dump, you are actually insane, Leon. How does the old proverb go? Brains and brawn, combined into one lethal package. Leon practically dropped his jaw, short-circuiting at the rare compliment. Wait, she actually did not roast me alive, snap. The boss lady sealed the case casually, tossing the jackpot back. Hold on to this loot, she ordered, with zero room for debate, but do not dare consume it. Leon fumbled the catch, thoroughly baffled. Bro, why? He challenged, totally lost. Ross Weiss pierced his soul with an intense, dead-serious glare that demanded absolute obedience. She dropped the harsh truth, swallowing pure dragon-tier mana would literally vaporize a weak human vessel into absolute bloody confetti. His face darkened with massive annoyance and sheer disbelief. Is it seriously that ridiculously overpowered? He challenged, sounding super skeptical. But the Ice Queen did not flinch for a microsecond. 100%, she declared. Your human stats will shatter under that supreme energy. Surprisingly, her icy tone softened. The warning only fuels Leon's massive ego. Flashing a cocky grin, he snatches the Dragon Great Force pill right out of its case. I've crushed endless dragon monarchs, using only my bare hands, he flexes with sheer arrogance. Why should one tiny capsule terrify me? Panic shatters Rossweiss's calm, as the madman gulps down the elixir instantly. Leon, she screams pure terror, lacing her trembling voice. He merely smirks back. Bravery is humanity's greatest anthem, he proclaims fiercely. Then the medicine hits like a freight train. An oceanic wave of pure mana obliterates his senses. His screaming nerves completely shatter under the catastrophic overload. Devastating agony forces him straight to the floor. He desperately grips his heart, his features twisting into pure torment. You absolute idiot, Ross Weiss scolds, her furious panic completely spilling over. Do you realize how precious my restoration spells are? Diving toward him instantly, she immediately channels her aura to save his life. Let me purge this toxic energy right now, she begs frantically. Yet the stubborn warrior violently rejects her help. His shadowy, intense eyes lock onto hers as he physically crushes her spellcasting hand. Leon, stay perfectly still, she begs, her dread skyrocketing. But a deafening roar completely swallows her desperate warning. An apocalyptic hurricane detonates from his very soul, unleashing chaotic thunderclaps and savage, blinding electricity. Pure feral mana completely swallows his form, blasting the chamber with blinding flashes. Though hellish pain shreds his veins, his absolute alpha voice slices right through the raging tempest. Ross Weiss, he roars, his irises blazing with unbreakable willpower. Watch this. He stares deep into her soul, radiating absolute certainty. Witness the ultimate grit and terrifying sheer will of humanity. She desperately objects, but destiny is sealed. The madman tanks, the soul-crushing backlash of the legendary dragon pill, entirely solo. Vicious arcs of lightning whip across his flesh, while the tempest violently escalates. His blood-curdling roars shatter the claustrophobic room, proving his absolute blinding agony. Blown backward by the shockwave, the helplessly frozen girl watches as pure terror battles overwhelming respect inside her. Suddenly, the shocking truth clicks. He isn't merely surviving. He is actively electrocuting his own core with magic. Her jaw completely drops at this insanely suicidal, yet genius leveling method. The agonizing seconds slowly warp into an absolute suffocating eternity. At long last, the ruthless electrical discharge halts. The catastrophic cyclone finally collapses, burying the destroyed room in heavy, haunting silence. Electric embers continue popping across his bruised skin, his exhausted silhouette glowing under the fading magical sparks. She remains completely paralyzed, staring in absolute shock. The crazy bastard actually lived his monstrous willpower, vibrating through every single gasping breath. Then his mortal limits violently shatter, and he instantly crumbles face first onto the cold stone floor. Leon, she shrieks desperately, diving to break his brutal fall. Raw, unfiltered panic bleeds into her tone as she softly cradles his battered body down. With trembling, incredibly gentle fingers, she wipes the sweaty bangs from his forehead, her gorgeous face caught between intense frustration and deep care. Staring intensely at his perfectly still sleeping face, she whispers breathlessly, "You are an absolute psychopath." Even through the harsh insult, serious heart-fluttering affection completely saturates her voice. Getting up, she throws one lingering worried look backward before pivoting fiercely. "Stay put," she orders strictly. "I am grabbing the royal healer immediately." Yet before her foot even hits the ground, a desperately raspy whisper paralyzes her entirely. Rosweiss, the fallen hero, croaks out incredibly softly. Hearing that microscopic sound, she whips around absolute disbelief, painting her expression. His heavy eyelids slowly part, revealing feverish, unfocused pupils, totally lost in a weirdly intoxicating delirium. Before she can question his critical condition, his trembling fingers stretch toward her silhouette. Completely spooked, she instantly freezes solid. Suddenly, he snatches her sensitive tail. "Excuse me," she chokes out, eyes wide in pure shock. Her brain totally short-circuits as the fearsome warrior flashes a ridiculously cute, puppy-like smile, trapping her appendage in an iron grip. "How in hell did you regain consciousness?" She interrogates him, her tone vibrating with intense, totally flustered embarrassment. Completely filtering out her yelling, he drunkenly forces himself upright, wobbling but wildly stubborn. A massive, feverish crimson takes over his cheeks as he shamelessly nuzzles her fluffy weakness. An adorable chuckle leaves his mouth. "My beautiful wife," he coos lovingly, his brain totally melted by delirium. "Going where exactly?" Her face literally combusts into tomato red. "Who are you claiming as your bride right now?" She stutters, her cool facade totally shattering. She violently yanks her trapped limb backward, desperately fighting for freedom. "Release me this instant, you massive dumbass," she orders, fiercely, vocal cords shaking with ultra-embarrassed rage. Yet the menace only clutches harder, flat out denying her escape. His grin stretches a mile wide, aggressively cuddling her fur and exhaling absolute blissful satisfaction. "No way," he whispers incredibly sweetly. "Never letting go. I will absolutely never release my beloved wife." Even with her blood boiling, she quickly accepts that escaping his monstrous grip is currently impossible. He latches onto her like a giant toddler, literally singing a ridiculously catchy wife-wife melody, while relentlessly burying his face into her fluff. Pure, unfiltered defeat washes over her features as she aggressively exhales, totally surrendering the unwinnable tug-of-war against this delirious monster. Sanity evaporating, she quietly accepts her fate. Looking away to hide her blushing, her genius brain immediately starts calculating logic to survive this epic embarrassment. That legendary pill massively boosts raw durability and power. She analyzes silently, desperately trying to scientifically explain his unhinged glitch. Meanwhile, Leon keeps up his wild antics, totally blind to the absolute mess he is causing. He flashes a massive grin. Rosweiss watches him, totally baffled by the potion's effects. "It absolutely shouldn't trigger blackouts or this crazy behavior," she concludes, her thoughts flashing back to Leon using that intense lightning magic earlier. Did his insane lightning manipulation somehow crash with the potion supercharging its effects? These wild theories sprint through her racing brain, until her eyes snap back to Leon. The absolute fool is still happily humming, burying his face deep into her tail. A furious blush explodes across her cheeks at the ridiculous scene. "Absolute idiot," she whispers under her breath, completely flustered. Despite his unhinged clowning, Rosweiss sighs, convincing herself he is not in actual danger. Blind to her panic, Leon just keeps happily chanting his little wife-wife melody. She releases a heavy sigh. Trying to reason with this mess is pointless. Giving up, she glares down and snaps. "Fine, I am here. What is your deal? Spit it out." Leon instantly freezes, stopping his humming, and stares up at her. His face burns red, eyes sparkling with childish hype. With zero shame, he shouts "wife" again, flashing a wicked smirk. Dropping an absolute bombshell, he proudly declares, "I want baby number 2. Rosweiss turns to stone, her face igniting like a tomato. That sudden strike completely nukes her brain, sending a wild shiver shooting down her spine, while desperately fighting for control. Her deadly glare levels up as her blush burns hotter. "You barely even help with the 2 terrors from round 1, she barks out aggressively, crossing her arms. "And now you demand another?" "Absolutely not," but Leon refuses to back down. Gripping her fluffy tail, he rolls around the bed dramatically, whining. "I need a second kid," he begs, turning on the puppy eyes. "Come on, Rosweiss, would it really be that terrible?" Boiling with absolute frustration, Rosweiss aggressively pinches her nose. "Seriously, what did I do to deserve this nightmare?" She screams internally, weighing her terrible options. Knowing logic will fail, she blows out a heavy breath. "Fine. Forget baby number 2, we will pop out a 3rd and a 4th if it finally makes you zip it." Leon's eyes shoot fireworks like a kid scoring ultimate candy. Flashing a victorious smirk, he yells, "Seriously, then you gotta visit my hometown." "Yeah, whatever," Rosweiss groans, dismissing him with an exhausted wave. "We will head back once this current mess is resolved." Finally dropping her tail, Leon blasts to his feet, cheering wildly. "Heck yes, you are the absolute best." Watching this dork, Rosweiss shakes her head, trapped between exhaustion and secret amusement. This idiot is way more annoying than usual today, she thinks, though a soft, hidden smile fights onto her lips. Out of nowhere, Leon leans in, dangerously close, smirk expanding. "My wifey is the absolute best," he announces. Before she can blink, he lunges, aiming a massive sneak attack kiss right at her cheek. Totally ambushed, Rosweiss's eyes snap wide open in pure panic. Instincts kicking in, she slams her palm flat against his face, shoving him back with brutal force. "Stop taking advantage of this." She scolds internally, fighting to keep control. Underneath the comedy, Rosweiss's brain works in overdrive to decode his unhinged madness. Her mind sprinting as she frantically calculates just how long this cursed Dragon Force hangover will last. But as Leon stubbornly keeps clowning around, her final nerve shatters. Launching a blindingly fast hook, she screams, "You absolute moron." Taking the critical hit, Leon yelps, stumbling from the heavy impact. Rosweiss crosses her arms, shooting daggers at him. Her fiery rage barely hides her internal guilt for actually striking him. Gripping his chest like an actor, Leon groans in fake agony. Instantly, Rosweiss's blazing annoyance morphs into ice-cold panic. She drops beside him, kneeling down with raw worry. "Are you all right, you absolute dummy?" Her eyes frantically scanning his body for actual damage. Suddenly, Leon's breathing turns ragged. He grinds his teeth, crushing his chest. "Wifey," he gasps out weakly. Something feels terribly wrong. Out of nowhere, a blinding aura erupts directly from Rosweiss's dragon crest. The flash catches her totally off guard. Her pupils shrink in pure terror. "This is incredibly bad," she stammers, heart violently hammering. With zero hesitation, she rips open Leon's shirt to inspect him. The millisecond, the fabric parts. The ancient dragon seal burned into his chest ignites with a blinding, terrifying energy. Rosweiss's eyebrows crash together in total dread. Why in the world is the dragon crest awakening right now? She panics, her brain hunting for any logical answer. Before she can connect the dots, Leon's hands shoot up. He crushes her shoulders with a terrifying grip, startling her. In one brutal, lightning-fast motion, he slams her down against the mattress, completely pinning her. Leon Rosweissa screams out, her voice trembling with explosive rage and raw panic. "You absolute psycho, what are you doing?" Leon's breathing is horribly ragged. His burning, sweat-drenched face looks consumed by a hellish fever. Those desperate, glowing eyes fiercely lock onto hers. "Wifey," he growls. His voice cracks into a gritty whisper. "I am burning up. My chest. It is driving me crazy." Rosweiss's face flushes a deep, fiery red as he closes the gap. Her pulse skyrockets while she glares, jaw locked tight, her thoughts spinning out of control. The dragon crest mixed with the lightning aura. It has completely unleashed his primal instincts, she realizes with absolute terror. It is pushing his deepest, wildest urges into overdrive. Before she even blinks, Leon's predatory gaze locks directly onto her tail. Out of nowhere, he snatches it up, reeling her in. Rosweissa turns to stone, totally paralyzed, while Leon leans closer, inhaling deeply. His face looks totally intoxicated and hypnotized. "Leon," she barks, her voice shaking with blazing fury and intense fluster. "Drop my tail this instant." But Leon just squeezes harder, a goofy, euphoric smile spreading across his face as he mumbles, "It smells absolutely divine. So fluffy, wifey." Rosweiss's cool facade completely shatters, her face caught in a tug-of-war between rage and absolute shock. "If he keeps pushing it, I am seriously going to snap." She panics inwardly, absolutely desperate to shut down his crazy behavior. She smashes her palm against his cheek once more, shoving with all her might, desperately trying to create some distance. "Leon, knock it off," she orders, her voice cutting like ice. Her patience is evaporating, yet her sheer willpower to handle this mess stays rock solid. Her tail has been dragging through the dirt all day. She brings this up, snapping a harsh question right at him. "Does that not totally gross you out?" But Leon stands his ground, his relentless stubbornness, refusing to back down even a little. No matter how hard she tries, shoving him off his hands remains superglued to her waist. While she keeps lecturing him, Leon suddenly presses a soft finger against her lips, silencing her mid-rant. Caught completely off guard, Rosweiss turns into a statue. The oxygen gets trapped in her lungs, her pupils blowing wide as she stares back, totally unsure and weirdly out of words. Leon's eyes darken drastically, radiating a magnetic intensity she has never witnessed before. "Melkvi," he murmurs gently, dropping her actual first name. "An insanely rare and shocking move. You look absolutely breathtaking tonight." That out-of-nowhere praise blasts a tidal wave of heat straight into her cheeks. Blushing furiously, she whips her head sideways to dodge those soul-piercing eyes. Her voice cracks completely as she stutters. "Sweet talk will not work. I am still furious." Her brain goes into overdrive. What is happening? She panics, her chest thumping like crazy. This guy, his whole vibe completely shifted. He is giving off this feral, heavy aura right now. An energy I literally cannot push away. Even with her brain screaming no Rosswise, feels her iron defenses melting into a puddle. She steals a split-second peek only to catch his burning eyes, still laser-focused on her face. A tiny, uncontrollable spark of excitement suddenly ignites deep inside her. Catching onto her wavering guard, Leon closes the gap, his tone dropping into a husky, dangerously smooth whisper, "Wifey, will you please help me out?" Rossweisse chews on her bottom lip, ripping herself apart between sheer annoyance and a massive emotional hurricane. Eventually, with her face glowing like a tomato, she grumbles, "All right, but strictly for tonight." Pure victory sparks in Leon's eyes before he scoops her into his embrace. The dark hours drag out packed with an explosive magnetic tension that hangs heavy in the air right until the morning sun finally peaks. Deep inside, the massive luxurious bedroom of the Silver Dragon Fortress, Leon finally blinks awake, the wild dragon aura completely draining from his system. As his blurry eyesight sharpens, he catches Rossweiss lounging right next to him, rocking a supremely smug and playful smirk. "Finally up, huh?" She purrs in a teasing rhythm, her sharp eagle-like eyes completely locked onto his face, catching her voice at zero distance. Leon rockets straight up, pure terror exploding in his pupils. "Rossweiss," he shouts in panic, "why on earth are you sleeping in my bed?" That sudden jerk triggers a massive shockwave of pain across his entire body, making him flinch while grabbing his sore muscles. "I am literally wrecked," he whines, massaging his forehead. "My memory is completely scrambled what actually happened last night." Rossweiss stretches lazily before gracefully sliding off the mattress. Her smug grin stretching even further, she spins around to face him, radiating totally fake angelic innocence. "You seriously forgot everything," she questions breezily, even though the mischievous sparkle in her eyes totally exposes her massive entertainment. Tapping the faded love bites and bruises scattered across her collarbone and arms, she angles her head playfully. "Mighty dragon hunter," she mocks, her voice heavily soaked in thick sarcasm. "Do not tell me you blacked out." Leon's eyeballs practically bulge out of his skull as he catches sight of those red marks. His absolute horror multiplies, leaving his brain short-circuiting, trying to puzzle together the wild, blurry snapshots of yesterday. Leon's sanity takes a nosedive when he discovers the endless stamps covering his own chest. His internal monologue flatlines as icy sweat drips down his brow. Love bites, literally everywhere. The brutal truth smacks him like a freight train. Was I actually responsible for that? Out of nowhere, broken flashbacks from the wild night start bubbling up, each memory hitting harder than before. Gripping his hair, he watches helplessly as the crazy puzzle finally connects. The entire spicy truth clicks, forcing a blood-curdling shriek straight out of his lungs. Rossweisse, chilling effortlessly against the wooden headboard, crosses her arms and smirks. "Guess the memory works after all," she taunts, her voice dripping with pure entertainment. "You totally begged last night, Leon, whining stuff like, 'Honey, just one more round, and please, wifey, save me just this once,' you pleaded." Leon's entire face violently erupts in scorching red. She perfectly mimics his pathetic whining. "Cut it out," he screams aggressively, shielding his ears, desperately trying to block her teasing out. "I remember every detail, drop it." Meanwhile, Rossweiss's wicked smirk just drastically deepens, absolutely devouring his panicked embarrassment with pure delight. Frantically, Leon scrambles to throw his wrinkled shirt back on. Shooting her a terrified side-eye, crushing regret consumes his mind. I literally just needed to absorb that dragon aura to heal, and maybe humble her a bit. How did I become the victim? As Rossweiss smoothly buttons up, Leon releases an exhausted breath, briefly catching her intense gaze. "Okay, maybe I pushed things way beyond the limit yesterday." Whispering nervously, he swallows his pride. "Did I actually hurt you?" The silver dragon simply shakes her head, remaining totally unbothered. "I survived," she answers smoothly, brushing off his awkward concern. Crossing his arms to fake some serious swagger, Leon flashes a cocky grin. "Well, now you've personally witnessed my peak physical condition. Never question my stamina again." Instantly, Rossweiss's silver eyes slice through his fake confidence like razor blades. That deadly serious aura makes Leon instantly sweat. "Why are you glaring at me?" he stutters nervously, retreating a step. Boom, Rossweisse completely invades his personal space, her icy expression unyielding. Before his brain processes anything, her fingers snatch his jaw. Invading his breathing space, her dominant boss energy radiates zero regrets. "Mr. Dragonslayer, I gotta admit, last night's performance was absolutely stellar. I expect you to maintain that exact explosive energy forever." Leon instantly paralyzes his cheeks, violently combusting. His brain practically short-circuits. What the heck? Did I just officially downgrade into her personal nighttime toy? Releasing him, Rossweiss flashes her signature wicked smirk, like nothing happened. Then, she effortlessly pivots the entire conversation. "Anyway, regarding our little wager," she hums cheerfully. That terrifying word instantly snaps Leon right out of his panicked trance. Squinting suspiciously, he analyzes her every micro-expression. Wait, what wager? He parrots dumbly, desperately masking his spiking anxiety. Surprisingly, a soft pink hue dusts Ross Weiss's cheeks as she breaks eye contact. That rare, adorable glitch in her confident armor totally stuns Leon. She brings up how he aggressively demanded the kids call her mom, arguing it would massively boost their family bonding. Giggling softly, she freely admits he totally crushed her in that debate. Leon dramatically arches one brow, a spark of pure ego, illuminating his features, though he purposely stays completely silent. Her usually sharp voice melts into something incredibly tender. So did you finally decide on your winner's wish? She probes, eyes sparkling with curiosity. Leon completely freezes, awkwardly rubbing his neck before dropping his usual goofy shield. Yeah, I did. Please dispatch your shadow guards to the Empire. I desperately need a status update on my master and his wife. Her teasing energy instantly vanishes, processing his heavy request. Silver dragons really suck at secret undercover missions, honestly. But dropping by for a casual visit, totally doable, she states smoothly. Leon's expression immediately detonates into pure sunshine. Wait, seriously. He gasps, his hyped-up golden retriever energy shattering his cool facade. Snapping back to reality, he forcefully clears his throat, instantly switching back to maximum respect mode. I genuinely appreciate your support, he bows. Cut to the breathtaking Silver Dragon courtyard. Leon slumps onto a stone bench, his ghost-white complexion screaming absolute exhaustion. Suddenly, tiny little Miwen waddles over. Giant puppy dog eyes intensely lock onto his soul. Daddy, did you catch a bad bug? She chips, vibrating with pure worry. Leon nearly jumps out of his skin. Panicking, he aggressively waves his hands like a madman. Heck no, what? I am absolutely peak health. Who fed you? Lies, he babbles defensively. Miwen just giggles, her adorable chimes echoing everywhere. Mommy spilled the tea, she beams proudly. She claimed you swallowed weird pills yesterday, and boys are just too stubborn to admit weakness. Hearing that slander, Leon's aura turns pitch black. Grinding his molars, he inwardly screams. That devious, oversized lizard. Brainwashing an innocent toddler. Is my pride officially buried 6 feet under? Meanwhile, Miwen adorably tilts her little head, her tiny face crumbling into actual panic. But you literally look like a zombie, Dad. Did those magic pills completely fail? Or did you skip your dosage? Leon exhaustedly facepalms, crouching down to her eye level and softly gripping her tiny shoulders. Listen, kiddo, grilling adults like this is slightly illegal, he lectures gently. But before he can dodge the topic, Miwen violently gasps, staring in pure, unadulterated horror. Daddy, your lips are literally leaking blood, she shrieks, tackling him into a desperate hug. Massive crocodile tears stream down her cheeks. I'll literally perish without you. Don't cross the river. Sticks. Leon's hardened heart completely melts. Flashing a warm dad smile, he tenderly ruffles her hair. Your old man is completely indestructible, sweetie. I swear I'm surviving. He purrs comfortingly, magically dissolving her tiny panic attack. Staring deeply into Miwen's sparkling, totally uncorrupted eyes, Leon suddenly catches something bizarre. She was the spitting image of Rossweisse. That relentless sass, razor-sharp intellect, and vibrant energy mirrored her mother flawlessly. But today, Leon was determined to outsmart his little genius. No holding back. Dropping to one knee, he teased with a wicked grin. How about Daddy crafts you an exclusive toy today? The mere word toy sent Miwen into absolute overdrive. Her eyes practically shot stars as she bounced off the walls. Clapping fiercely, she squealed, heck yes, I love toys the absolute most, Daddy. Her vibe was totally infectious. Leon melted at her hype, promising smoothly, bet, I will forge you something totally legendary. Brainstorming hard, he locked onto a classic from his past, the Rubik Cube. Eyes focused, he immediately went into creation mode, blending high-tier alchemy with raw mechanical genius to construct the puzzle. He coated every single face in insanely vibrant hues. The second it dried, he hoisted his masterpiece high. Handing it to Miwen, he announced, meet the ultimate brainbuster, the Rubik Cube. You can spin this bad boy any way you want, ready to test it. Miwen was instantly captivated, her jaw practically dropping. Snatching it up, she inspected the puzzle like a pro before rapidly spinning the colored blocks. Cracking its secret mechanics, her glowing smile completely melted his heart. Observing his daughter, Leon chuckled internally. Who knew hardcore alchemy lectures would unlock god-tier parenting? Maybe my true calling was being the ultimate stay-at-home dad. But that wholesome vibe shattered in a heartbeat. A chilling wave washed over him, completely wiping the grin off his face. Whipping around, his hunter instincts flared as he scanned the room. Spotting his intense shift, Miwen tilted her head in pure confusion. Daddy, did something happen? She mumbled, gripping her new puzzle tight. Leon paused, swallowing the tension before flashing a comforting smile. All good, Munchkin, just thought a shadow moved, he lied effortlessly. But internally, alarms were blaring. Seconds prior, an icy phantom sensation brushed against him, the undeniable bone-chilling weight of a dragon gaze. His radar pinpointed that massive aura, straight from the training grounds of Noah. He could not help but wonder if his fierce, aggressively independent oldest daughter would ever actually drop her guard and hang out with them. Riding that emotional wave, he made a bold move, forging a second Rubik Cube to bridge the gap between them. Fast forward to midnight. With the Silver Dragon Castle dead silent, and when knocked out cold, Noah slipped back into her room. Radiating her usual Ice Queen energy, her piercing eyes instantly locked onto the strange puzzle chilling on her desk. Right beside it sat a letter. Curiosity sparking, Noah snagged the paper instantly, recognizing the messy but warm handwriting of her dad. A gift for you, Noah. Your mission is to crack this code. Consider it a mini-boss battle from me to you. Clearing her throat awkwardly, she scoffed out loud. What a total dork. As if I have time for dumb kid stuff. But actions speak louder than trash talk. Her fingers automatically began rotating the blocks, executing flawless, calculated spins. With every twist, a massive crimson blush painted her face. Gripping the cube against her chest, she murmured softly, "Thanks, Dad." This was way more than colored plastic. It was a super rare physical piece of affection from the old man, and she cherished it. Treating it like fragile glass, Noah safely tucked the puzzle into a rustic wooden box. Her ultimate secret stash shoved deep under her mattress, proudly dubbed her legendary treasure chest. The loot inside shards of the pitch black and gold armor of her dad, a custom nameplate carved by Leon himself, and now the cube. But plot twist, her little sister Mwen had been lurking in the shadows, watching this entire wholesome scene unfold. Brain gears turning, Mwen plotted silently. Big sis has been super sus lately, hoarding stuff in that secret box. What is her deal? The second Noah left the room, Mwen saw her golden window of opportunity. Slithering beneath the bed frame with a devilish smirk, she giggled. Detective Mwen is officially on the clock. Adrenaline pumping, she yanked the chest open. Her jaw literally dropped as she scanned the epic loot, the shattered armor, the colorful cube, and that customized tag. Wait, this is all dad merch, she gasped, a massive light bulb going off in her head. Boom busted. Out of nowhere, Noah restrained her, gagged her, and snatched back the sacred loot. Towering over the squirming little spy, Noah flashed a wicked villain smirk. No peeking, understood. Cut to somewhere entirely different. At St. Heath Academy, the insanely prestigious school for dragons, the entrance exams were brutally cutthroat. They did not just test raw magical power, they strictly judged your family dynamic and absolute loyalty to ancient dragon laws. Their core philosophy, only a flawless, loving household could forge a true dragon of honor. St. Heath ruthlessly gatekept anyone else desperate to flex the illusion of the perfect, unbreakable dragon bloodline. Knowing this, the Silver Dragon Queen Ross Weiss hatched a master plan. Destination, Sky City. Mission: secure the ultimate picture-perfect family portrait. Sky City pulses with magic. Here in the bustling heart of the dragon realm, colossal parents playfully nudge their tiny hatchlings. Suddenly, a shadow blankets the plaza. Ross Weiss descends in her breathtaking dragon form, leaving her awestruck family trailing behind her regal aura. Hitting the ground with absolute grace, she pauses. Instantly, her playful youngest daughter Mi Wen surfs down her mother's massive, scaled back. Waiting below, Leon spreads his arms wide. "Whoa there, Mi Wen, I have got you," he shouts upward. Snatching her midair, he locks her in a tight embrace. "Caught you," he laughs, tossing the little girl up like a feather. Off to the side, Noah silently monitors the chaos. Arms folded and completely stoic, she watches their usual daily antics. Never losing her cool, the colossal beast shimmers flawlessly, morphing back into her stunning human vessel. Every single step radiates pure royalty. Suddenly, Mi Wen tilts her head at her father. "Hey Dad, how come you did not turn into a giant dragon too? I want to see your cool dragon form." That absolute curveball shatters Leon's tough guy act. His cocky grin instantly cracks. Chuckling awkwardly while rubbing his neck, sheer panic floods his veins. "Sweetie, your dad is an absolute legend at butchering dragons. But actually turning into one, not a chance," he screams internally. Before he can even fake an answer, Noah's piercing stare locks onto his soul. Slicing through the tension with icy precision, she presses. "So can you not transform? Or do you simply refuse?" That brutal call-out lands perfectly. Visibly sweating now, Leon shoots desperate, pleading glances between Noah and his wife for a lifeline. But he gets absolutely nothing. Catching the heavy tension, Ross Weiss flashes a diffusing smile. "Your dad's physical core is still healing up, so shifting forms is totally off the table right now," she smoothly covers for him. She vows that once his strength returns, he will definitely show off his epic form. Mi Wen's adorable face suddenly hardens. Staring up with giant worried eyes, she begs, "Daddy, please heal up super fast." Melting at her words, Leon gently strokes her hair. Flashing a gentle grin, he whispers, "I will try my hardest." Deep down, his internal thoughts remain painfully bleak. Ross Weiss perfectly shifts the vibe. "Okay, squad, let us move. We have major business to handle today." Exploding with pure hype, Mi Wen sprints forward, eyes starry with absolute awe. "Noah, look, the place is literally crawling with dragons." She squeals in total delight. Never breaking her cool aesthetic, Noah trails behind with slow, calculated steps. Hit the brakes, Miwen. Do not wander off, she coldly warns. As the dynamic duo navigates the chaotic market avenues, their sheer aura instantly hooks the local crowds. Massive dragons freeze in their tracks, staring with raw fascination and total respect. The citizens absolutely marvel at these unique outsiders glowing amidst the bustling mob. Ross Weiss and Leon shadow their kids closely. While the legendary city roars with energy, a dark shadow crosses Leon's face. His entire frame begins to subtly quake. Keeping it quiet, his rising dread cannot hide from his wife's elite instincts. Spotting the shivers, she wonders, is he actually trembling? The puzzle pieces instantly click. This is his first time surrounded by giant beasts since snapping out of that massive coma. Leaning close with a devilish smirk, she breathes into his ear. Getting cold feet, Leon? Initially paralyzed and looking totally grim, a sudden switch flips inside him. His pupils ignite with sheer cockiness as he snaps back. Who is scared? You have got to be kidding. Puffing his chest out, he gestures wildly at the monstrous crowd. I am completely hyped, babe, cannot you tell, he boasts. Do you even realize what I am looking at? Tier 1 merits, Tier 2 merits, Tier 3 merits, infinite merits everywhere. These streets are dripping with gold. I am about to be filthy rich. Ignoring how completely insane he sounds, he drops a casual whistle and struts forward, grinning like an absolute maniac. Ross Weiss violently pinches her nose, sighing in pure defeat. I actually wasted my pity on this clown, she grumbles mentally. Moments later, the squad pulls up to an exclusive storefront downtown. Pushing past the heavy doors, the scaled merchants instantly drop into desperate bows, their tones dripping with absolute worship. All hail the Silver Dragon Queen and her royal bloodline. Serving you today is our absolute greatest privilege. Floating inside with flawless elegance, she leads Leon and the kids. Instantly, Miwen treats the pristine shop like a literal playground. Buzzing with infinite energy, she yanks her older sister toward the gallery walls, screaming, Noah, check it out, the dragon art is insane. She squeals, stars shining in her eyes. The ultimate Ice Queen Noah stays dead silent, unbothered by her siblings' massive hype. While the kids go wild, Leon casually slides up next to his wife. Dropping his voice to a stealthy whisper, he probes, Are you not the legendary Silver Queen? Why do your own photo errands? Should you not have mindless servants for this grunt work? Shooting him a lethal, unamused side-eye, she drops some lore. A dragon sovereign can only boss around their specific bloodline, she states. The beasts roaming Sky City refuse to bow to any single clan. They operate as completely independent free agents. Leon flashes a toxic smirk, loving this reality check. So your shiny crown means absolutely nothing here, right? He joked, mischief dancing in his eyes. But before he could even enjoy his little victory, Roswies ruthlessly crushed his foot with her killer stiletto heels. A brutal jolt of agony electrified Leon's body. Yet Roswisa stayed completely unbothered, effortlessly brushing off his dramatic reaction like an absolute queen. Leon shrieked in pure agony, desperately hopping around while clutching his completely crushed toes. Flashing a sickeningly sweet yet dangerously savage smirk, Roswisa mocked, Well, whatever, I am officially taller than you now. That spicy flex pulled a highly nervous giggle from the head shopkeeper, who instantly bowed deeply. It is an absolute honor hosting the legendary Silver Dragon Queen and her family, the manager stated respectfully. Capturing your royal family portrait is an unmatched blessing. Rosweiss immediately straightened up dramatically, flipping her gorgeous hair with main character energy. Everyone knows my photography skills are absolutely god tier across the entire dragon realm, she bragged. You guys seriously lucked out booking this exclusive session. Mid-conversation, the head tailor nervously side-eyed Leon, asking tentatively, What about the royal husband's majestic tail? Should we frame that in the shot? Roswisa completely dismissed the vibe with a totally careless wave. He absolutely hates flexing his tail, she shrugged nonchalantly. Let us just grab him a basic tailless fit instead. Suddenly, a hilarious flashback hit her, bringing a super devious smirk, remembering that utterly chaotic showdown back at the Silver Dragon Castle, right before their Sky City trip. Rosweiss had forcefully gifted Leon an insanely detailed custom silver dragon tail prop, demanding he equip it. Leon reacted with absolute dramatic terror. Hell no, he had aggressively screamed, desperately backing away. Like that fake tail held a lethal curse. I would rather die than equip that garbage. My male ego depends on it. Back to reality. Rosweiss shook her head silently, laughing at her husband's intense stubbornness. Meanwhile, the clueless head shopkeeper bowed respectfully, gently, guiding the stunning queen toward the VIP fitting room. Meanwhile, across the bustling boutique, Miwen happily bounced around with overflowing chaotic energy, completely brightening the whole vibe. I want a gorgeous princess dress, she squealed with absolute joy. A few moments later, both Miwen and Noah stepped out of the VIP fitting area, rocking brand new, flawless dresses, looking absolutely radiant for this legendary family shoot. Their sheer elegance instantly mesmerized every single customer and staff member around. Seconds later, Leon finally emerged, wearing a wildly crisp white tuxedo. This unbelievably sharp drip completely destroyed his usual lazy aesthetic, violently shocking everyone in the entire room. Miwen completely lost her mind, eyes sparkling at her dad's massive glow-up. "Oh my gosh, Dad, you look insanely handsome." She hyped him up, pure admiration dripping from her voice. The shop manager nodded with total approval, flashing a super genuine smile. "This tailored masterpiece fits our prince flawlessly," she praised. He was definitely a massive heartthrob back in his academy days. Leon immediately arched an eyebrow, absolutely loving the ego boost. A highly arrogant smirk painted his face. "Oh, you seriously think so?" He fired back with peak playful confidence, totally soaking up that sweet validation. Bro literally had not rocked a fit this formal since his legendary academy graduation. He zoned out, adjusting his expensive collar, before locking eyes with Noah. "So what is the verdict, Noah?" He casually dropped, completely catching her lacking. Noah violently blinked, totally stunned, before shyly looking away with furiously burning cheeks. "You look seriously handsome," she whispered shyly. Leon flashed a megawatt smile at that, reaching out to warmly pat both Miwen and Noah on their heads. "Plus your little dresses are absolutely top tier," he complimented smoothly, making both girls beam brightly. Suddenly, Rossweiss majestically exited the fitting room instantly, paralyzing the entire boutique with her godlike visual aura. Wrapped in a breathtakingly elegant gown that perfectly highlighted her royal curves, she looked like an absolute goddess. Dead silence fell, while Leon literally dropped his jaw in pure shock. She was completely mesmerizing. Catching him looking totally brain-dead, Rossweiss smirked playfully, tilting her head. "What is wrong, Leon?" she playfully teased, instantly snapping out of his embarrassing simp trance. Leon frantically dodged eye contact aggressively, scratching his neck in sheer awkward panic. "Nothing, that dress just looks ridiculously good on you," he muttered super quietly. Rossweiss faintly blushed at that totally unexpected praise, but instantly covered it up with confident sass. "Well," she countered smoothly, "your fit would hit way harder if you actually equipped a tail." Leon instantly glared, mentally screaming, "I am never wearing a stupid fake tail. Literally not in a million years." Before things got toxic, the shopkeeper loudly clapped with bright energy. "All right, VIPs. Let us set up for this epic family portrait," she announced, hyping the camera angle. Miwen, practically vibrating, aggressively waved her tiny hands. "Mom, Dad, hurry up," she cheered, dragging a shy Noah into frame. Rossweiss and Leon awkwardly shuffled into position, both stubbornly refusing to make eye contact. "Your Majesty, Prince Leon." "Squeeze in closer," the photographer hyped them up. "Let's immortalize this flawless family aesthetic forever." "Say cheese," the photographer declared, kicking off the timer. Wen flashed a blinding $1 million grin. Her golden retriever energy absolutely carried the shot. Noah kept her signature Ice Queen vibe, while Leon and Rossweiss looked completely dead inside. For the grand finale, the photographer pitched a wildly chaotic idea, a classic couple's heart pose. Without missing a single beat, Rossweiss flawlessly curved her tail into half a heart, while a cringing Leon desperately slapped his hand up to finish it. The masterpiece, pure chaotic energy. Rossweiss rocked a devious smirk, perfectly contrasting Leon's soul-crushed hostage-like glare. Despite his internal screaming, Leon secretly admitted the aesthetic was fire. Still, he swore a silent blood oath to take that heart pose to his grave. Another snapshot captured them locked in an absolute fiery death glare. Sure, their blushing cheeks totally exposed them, but that undeniable rivals-to-lovers tension was screaming right off the paper. Catching the vibe, the photographer laughed. "You guys are absolute relationship goals. This shot is going straight in the Hall of Fame. A legendary exclusive." This chaotic romance instantly triggered a massive flashback to Leon's wildly iconic graduation day. An absolute mob of underclassmen fangirls had swarmed him, practically starting a turf war just to breathe his air. "Senior Leon selfie please," one stammered. "Wait, let's grab dinner tonight," another desperately shot her absolute best shot. A third thrust, a premium gift box forward begging, "Please accept my feelings, Senior Leon." Ambushed by this absolute simp army, Leon's brain totally blue-screened. His face morphed into a masterpiece of pure, unadulterated panic. Desperately dodging the drama, he forcibly slapped on his coldest lone wolf persona and formally announced, "I am terribly sorry, but I absolutely must go give my master's donkey a pedicure. Catch you later." The fangirls' souls instantly left their bodies. Their romantic delusions instantly shattered into a million pieces. Completely defeated, the massive crowd of girls slowly scattered, nursing their emotionally devastated hearts. Leon exhaled a massive sigh of relief, happily waving them away, completely ignoring the absolute graveyard of shattered dreams he just created. Watching this total train wreck unfold from afar, his master simply facepalmed into another dimension. Did a literal donkey kick this idiot's brain straight out of his skull? What is his major malfunction? He relentlessly grumbled to the wind. Fast forward to Sky City. The studio manager warned them the epic prince needed 6 whole hours to fully process. She smoothly pitched the idea of Her Highness going on a VIP city-crawling date just to kill some time. Stepping outside, Moon excitedly threw up a peace sign to the staff. Meanwhile, Noah and Leon immediately locked eyes. A heavy telepathic stare. Both of their danger senses were intensely tingling right now. Boom Wen snatched Noah's wrist, dragging her straight into the chaotic crowd. Look at that, she squealed, vibrating with massive hype. The parent duo strolled behind them, utterly exhausted by their kid's infinite stamina glitch, strolling perfectly side by side. Leon peeked at the Ice Queen, a soft smirk breaking his stoic face. Never imagined I'd be casually running errands with my ultimate rival. His guard completely dropped, soaking in the surreal domestic vibe. Ross Weiss, keeping her flawless poker face, coolly shot him down, strictly claiming this was purely a PR stunt for their fake family aesthetic. But her icy glare actually melted slightly. Plus, Noah has been grinding like absolutely crazy for her academy trials. A month of pure sweat and tears. She absolutely deserves a cheat day. Mid-chat, the kids slammed the brakes hard, dead in front of a chaotic carnival sniper booth. Their absolute laser focus locked entirely onto a legendary teddy bear prize, sitting proudly on the top shelf. Muen was literally vibrating with anime starry eyes, while even Noah was intensely hypnotized by the absolute fluff. The adults finally caught up, absolutely stunned to see their highly lethal daughters acting like totally normal kids. Radiating pure main character energy, Noah snatched up the plastic rifle. She activated her sniper mode, dead-eyed the target, but horribly flopped. Her plastic bullets either whiffed into another dimension or bounced completely uselessly off the invincible rubber armor. Absolute crickets chirped. Noah's icy facade instantly shattered into the most violently adorable rage-filled pout ever witnessed in history. Muen's hype train completely derailed, totally matching her sister's massive depression. Catching their devastating sad puppy eyes, the vendor chuckled softly. "Swipe the card again, kiddos. You'll definitely hit it." Leon stepped right up, smirking like a boss. So carnival scams exist in this universe too. Muen's eyes basically shot lasers of pure joy. "Dad?" Noah just darkly sulked aggressively, grumbling about her ruined hit ratio. Leon's sweat dropped instantly, deducing the vendor was running a rigged scam operation. Before he could expose the fraud, Noah violently shoved the weapon into his chest, her cute pout, basically becoming a lethal threat. Gripping the plastic rifle, Leon activated his veteran instincts, flashing back to every Earthrealm carnival hustle. Rossweiss narrows her eyes. "Those toy bullets run on pure mana," she analyzes. Handling that aura takes insane precision. Makes sense why Noah is struggling. Catching the scent of easy cash, the vendor flashes a greasy grin. "Care to test your luck, Mom and Dad? Burst 10 targets with 10 shots, and those plushies your girls are eyeing go straight home with you." The scammer secretly praises his own wicked genius. Baiting the kids to fail was the perfect trap to empty their parents' wallets. Leon turns to his girls, voice softening. "You want those bears?" Noah instantly pouts, stubbornly averting her gaze. "I do not care about toys," she lies, voice trembling. Meanwhile, Wen slumps her shoulders, whispering a quiet sigh. Wen claims she is fine too. Yet the desperate sparkle in their eyes completely shatters their tough facades. But Leon sees right through them. Despite their stubborn denials, he feels their intense craving for those plushies. Their tsundere energy is simply too strong. Flashing a wicked smirk, he pivots toward Rossweisse. He points straight at his wife. "Set up 10 rounds, the lady is paying." Rossweiss actually chokes on air, completely blindsided by his audacity. Loving the drama, the greedy vendor chuckles and rubs his palms. "Now that is the energy we need." Leon grabs the rifle, his playful aura vanishing instantly. Flashbacks of grueling Dragon Slayer Academy drills flood his vision. Gripping a weapon after so long feels electric, sparking a heavy wave of battle nostalgia. Beside him, Rossweiss bitterly slaps down her gold coins. The vendor pockets the cash with wicked glee. Leon squares up and pulls the trigger. Total miss. He fires again. Nothing. Bullet after bullet flies wide. Not a single target bursts. The vendor flashes a nasty smirk, bathing in Leon's pathetic display. He totally rigged the rifle sights to guarantee absolute failure. Certain nobody could beat his scam. But Leon simply refuses to lose. Gently tapping the barrel, he narrows his eyes. Something is off. Scanning the rigged hardware, he smoothly slides one hand away, exhales deeply, and locks onto his target. Suddenly, his stance turns frighteningly flawless and utterly lethal. Bang bang, every single balloon shatters flawlessly. The scammer's arrogant grin dissolves into pure unfiltered panic. Leon twirls the rifle effortlessly and smirks. Just needed to calibrate the garbage sights. Did not expect a perfect clear. He casually flexes. The vendor freezes like a statue, his brain totally short-circuiting from the insane play. Beside him, Rossweiss cracks a tiny impressed smile. Not terrible. Muen practically vibrates with absolute awe, gripping her fists as she cheers. Papa is incredible. Noah, completely stunned and hiding a fierce blush, stammers out, "Papa is kind of cool." Utterly crushed, the vendor forces a painful grin, surrendering the loot. Incredible skill, he chokes out through gritted teeth. Deep down, he is screaming in agony. Grab your prizes and get out. Leon snatches the victory, plushies his radiant dad energy, totally blinding the miserable vendor. Appreciate the business, he cheerfully calls out, pivoting toward his squad. Seeing his girls practically glowing, Leon drops to one knee, offering up the fluffy trophies, with a ridiculously warm smile. Delivery for my princesses, he whispers. Muen absolutely beams, crushing her prize in a massive hug. Her eyes sparkle like actual stars. Thanks, Papa, she squeals happily. Meanwhile, Noah gently cradles her plushie, guarding it like a sacred artifact. She averts her eyes, mumbling softly, Thanks, Papa. Roswisa watches from the sidelines, entirely captivated by the wholesome scene. A wave of genuine shock hits her, witnessing this beautifully chaotic family dynamic. Observing Leon's gentle side, a dangerous thought invades her mind. He usually acts like a total goofball, but his serious mode is undeniably magnetic. Sensing her intense staring, Leon locks eyes with his wife, catching that mysterious spark in her expression. Her subtle gaze triggers a brilliant idea inside him. Caught staring, Roswisa blinks in confusion at his unyielding focus. Leon simply flashes a devilish smirk, leaving her totally breathless. He casually teases, I have some plans for you too, Roswise. Let us see what happens tonight. The overpowered family resumes their patrol through the lively festival, blending into the crowd. A random dragon toddler points aggressively at Roswise, yanking her mom's shirt. I want one of those. The brat whines. Panic strikes the mother as she awkwardly avoids Roswise's terrifyingly elegant presence, remaining completely mute. Little did they know, Leon's master plan was already in motion. His gorgeous, deadly wife absolutely needed her own giant plushie. Sticking to his master plan, he successfully snagged that massive fluffy beast and presented it to her. Roswise claimed the prize, hugging it tight while strolling beside their chaotic crew. Her face stayed perfectly unbothered. She barely even flinched at the tiny dragon girl's spicy shade. Besides, that jab was aimed straight at the kid's mom anyway. Leon swaggered forward, hands lazily resting behind his head, shattering the quiet tension with a cocky laugh. Did you catch the absolute panic on that vendor's face? He smirked. Dude looked so incredibly relieved to finally kick us out and dodge a total mental meltdown. The memory played crystal clear, watching that poor merchant turn absolutely ghost white when Leon ruthlessly demanded round two. The guy completely short-circuited seeing Leon's absolute dominance. Roswise, however, simply clapped back in her signature icy tone. Honestly, if I were running things, she stated with freezing calm, I would have told you to completely ditch that totally immature scam. Leon just flashed a charming smirk. Hey now, he countered, we are exploring this town together, living a little never hurt absolutely anyone. Leaning in with a cocky smirk, he teased, unless you secretly hated it. Keeping her Ice Queen aura perfectly intact, Roswise fired back. I never claimed that. Pointing straight at her, Leon boldly announced, since you tagged along, there is zero chance I am letting you leave empty-handed. Gripping that gigantic plushie tight, a betraying red flush violently conquered Roswise's cheeks. A randomly savage thought suddenly crossed her mind. To her dragon instincts, actual bears were just incredibly tasteless garbage-tier prey. They definitely could never satisfy a real hunger, but transformed into fluffy plushies, they radiated this weirdly irresistible cute aesthetic. Totally ignoring Leon's next words, she suddenly sped up, storming ahead, while that stubborn pink hue still fiercely painted her face. Glancing back with serious main character energy, she dropped a bomb. Come find me tonight after dinner, her tone dripping with absolute danger. Leon instantly malfunctioned mid-stride, those spicy words bouncing loudly inside his brain. He literally stood completely paralyzed, eyes totally blown wide with pure shock. Seconds violently ticked by, yet he stayed totally frozen. A massive, screaming question mark practically materialized in the heavy air right above his head. Later that dark night, deep inside the massive Silver Dragon castle, Leon's frantic brain just kept looping Roswise's crazy, mysterious invite on endless repeat. Pacing nervously through a super moody, shadow-filled hallway post-dinner, her dangerous trap, come find me after dinner, echoed like a cursed spell. His racing heart nearly exploded from pure hype and terrifying dread. It is super late, and I am visiting her bedroom solo, he frantically whispered. That wild realization completely scrambled his sanity. Showing up guarantees pure awkwardness tonight. Bailing means my racing brain will torture me for a solid week. Dropping a heavy sigh, Leon forcefully clenched his fists, locking in. Fine, I am seeing her. Whatever goes down tonight goes down. Radiating resolve, he marched ahead. Hitting Roswise's door, Leon slammed the brakes, dragging in heavy air. Gearing up to confidently knock his knuckles, barely grazed the frame when he realized the heavy door was creepily cracked open. Fatal curiosity completely hijacked his brain, forcing him to slowly push it wide. Slipping inside her private domain, his desperate gaze scanned the dark room, hunting for her. The unmistakable splashing of running water hit his ears, and panic instantly struck. She was literally still showering right now. Leon's traitorous eyes magnetically locked onto the bathroom, catching Rosswise's totally distracting shadowy silhouette through that dangerously foggy shower glass. Scowling hard, he glared at the ridiculously clear barrier. Who even installs this garbage tier glass? He internally screamed violently, jerking his blazing red face away. His overheated brain, totally short-circuited, fighting the spicy context. As agonizing seconds passed, his inner chaos just violently leveled up. Snapping back to earth, Leon vigorously shook his head, desperately trying to lock in. Completely ignoring his remaining survival instincts, his traitorous eyes dangerously flicked back toward that steamy shower. Did he actually sneak a peek? Total mystery. Whatever he caught was completely blurred and basically unconfirmable. Seconds later, the bathroom door opened, revealing Rosswise totally rocking her cute sleepwear. Wet silver locks stuck perfectly to her glowing skin, while thick, magical steam heavily rolled off her shoulders. Leon's lungs literally stopped functioning at that jaw-dropping visual. Locking eyes with zero hesitation, Rosswise shattered the suffocating tension with absolute Ice Queen energy. "You actually showed up. Let us begin immediately." Her voice stayed perfectly flat, but this setup felt incredibly dangerous. Leon's heart violently glitched, his cool guy persona completely crumbling into dust. The vibe felt completely dreamlike, like a natural progression, yet hitting like a massive, unpredictable plot twist. Rosswise's lethal beauty was undeniable, easily capable of completely hypnotizing any poor soul looking her way. Leon, however, was desperately fighting off massive panic as one terrifying thought invaded his overwhelmed brain. Am I actually getting my energy completely drained tonight? That heavy electric tension paused, the romantic vibes aggressively, teasing an epic late-night showdown. Fast forward several hours, and a hidden plot twist suddenly dropped. 6 agonizingly long hours later, the legendary shots finally dropped. Muen and Noah furiously swiped through the epic photo dump of their parents, Leon and Rosswise. Muen's eyes flashed with pure sparkling hype as she squealed. Mom and Dad are totally serving ultimate endgame couple energy. Noah, meanwhile, stayed totally deadpan, her intense stare locked onto the glossy prints with zero readable emotion. While Leon casually scanned through the memory pile, a strange detail sniped his focus. "Yo, there is a hidden card attached here," he stated, lifting it high. Curiosity burning in her eyes, Rosswise leaned in tight. "Let me see," that she demanded. Together, they flipped the snapshot, exposing a scribbled message from the shop owner. Their voices perfectly synced as they read aloud. "May silver starlight forever bless the gaze of your true love." Instantly, both their faces ignited into burning tomatoes. Pure panic set in as they yelled simultaneously. "Who loves who?" Leon choked out. "Who would ever love her?" Rosswise fired back. "Who would fall for him?" Completely rattled, she buried her crimson face in her hands, grumbling. "This is a massive error. Correct this picture immediately." Leon nodded furiously, desperate to agree. "Exactly. The shopkeeper definitely messed up." Fast forward. Rosswise emerged from the bathroom, her wet, silver locks cascading down her collarbones. Without missing a beat, she dropped a bombshell. "Where should we do it? The lounge or the terrace?" Leon practically blue-screened. Absolutely blindsided, his brain short-circuited while his cheeks burned with utter panic. Stumbling over his words, he squeaked, "The terrace. That is a terrible idea. What if the neighbors watch? That is way too exposing." Meanwhile, Rosswise just coolly fluffed her damp hair in the vanity mirror. "Then the living room works," she shrugged casually. "I really do not care." Leon let out a massive breath, feeling completely cornered by this wild misunderstanding. Finally groaning dramatically, he balled his fists and hollered, "Whatever, just bring it on." He aggressively face-planted onto the couch, clenching his jaw and squeezing his eyes shut. Bracing himself for the absolute worst, Rosswise stared at his ridiculous display, popping an amused eyebrow. "What in the world are you doing?" she smirked, dripping with playful sarcasm. Leon carefully peeked one eye open, his skin radiating pure awkward heat. "Wait, are we not about to, do it?" he blabbered, completely losing his cool. Rosswise, now resting like royalty on the opposite cushion with crossed legs, flashed a wickedly smug grin. Her icy confidence completely amplified the awkward romantic tension suffocating the space, leaving Leon terrified of what he just agreed to. Rosswise leaned into the joke, mocking him with a sharp smirk. "Our little Casanova looks awfully desperate." Shifting her vibe back to business, she hummed, "But tonight is off the table, maybe next time." Leon turned to stone, absolutely shattered by the whiplash. Shattering the weird vibe, Rosswise slapped down a document. Scrambling to save face, Leon bolted upright, clearing his throat awkwardly before questioning, "What is that?" Ross Weiss straightened her spine, explaining, "St. Heath Academy entrance exams. Back in the day, they used these to judge elite bloodlines. It covers a partner's daily routines, hidden quirks, and core memories." Sliding a massive stack across the glass, she declared, "We must memorize our answers immediately. Failing this interview will completely tank Noah's Academy enrollment chances." Leon snatched up the form, scanning the text with total disbelief. He scoffed. "This literally reads like a super cringe viral TikTok couples quiz." Ross Weiss arched an eyebrow, shooting back. Cringe or not, our future depends on it. Leon simply shrugged, reading ahead. They want to know. A lover's top color choice, their catchphrases, the exact location of a first date, or their favorite novels. Seriously, glancing up from the sheet, he challenged. Okay, fine. Ross Weiss, name your ultimate color. Obsidian black, she answered flawlessly, firing right back. And yours, shining silver, Leon shot back instantly. Their gazes clashed. A massive romantic realization hanging in the air. The electric tension skyrocketed until both suddenly panicked. Blushing furiously, they immediately snapped their heads away aggressively, dodging the vibes. A total random coincidence, Ross Weiss mumbled, staring at the wall. Exactly. Literally just random chance. Leon agreed, rubbing his neck while refusing to make eye contact. Coughing sharply, Ross Weiss dragged their attention back to reality. Regardless of that, we have to evaluate our compatibility right now. Bring it on, Leon challenged, clicking his pen. The duo dove straight into the paperwork, locking into absolute focus mode. Minutes later, Leon stretched his arms, smirking. Finished. Ross Weiss dropped her pen right after giving a firm nod. Time to grade. They traded the exams to judge their mutual knowledge. The final tally was shocking. Ross Weiss hit 45 points while Leon secured 58. Leon kicked his feet up, grinning like a massive winner. Looks like I crushed you. Guess I understand Her Highness better than she gets me. Staring at her failing grade, she felt totally flustered and shocked. Wild thoughts flooded her brain. I never imagined he paid attention to my tiny quirks, she internally panicked. My resting posture, or exactly how I curl my tail for maximum comfort. He pays way more attention than I realized. Her eyes suddenly locked onto one highly specific test question. Has your partner ever felt someone's gaze crush you with absolute disappointment? Leon confidently checked yes, while Ross Weiss decisively marked no. Catching his answer, she let out a silent breath. Honestly, his only real blind spot is reading my mind, she mused, folding her arms and shutting her eyes. I mean, I totally lock my emotions in a vault, never letting anyone peek inside. Obviously, he totally misread me. Shifting her gaze back, she caught Leon utterly swallowed by the test, his forehead completely scrunched in pure focus. Staring at his focused face, a fragile hope blossomed. If it is really him, maybe I could finally drop my walls. Leon suddenly caught her staring. Her gaze burned with a fierce, unwavering, and surprisingly captivating intensity. Is she actually fuming over our test results? He wondered. A hidden smirk crossed his face as he gently tapped her shoulder. Hey, do not stress it, he joked smoothly. We honestly have not been hanging out for that long. Tanking this score makes total sense right now. Ross Weiss jolted her eyes, snapping wide as if waking from a spell. Her gaze locked onto his hand, then immediately shot back to his eyes. Flashing a gentle grin, Leon whispered, just give it time, you will read me perfectly. His playful tone dripped with unexpected honesty that completely rattled her. Her chest hitched. Suddenly, her pulse started hammering so violently she swore the entire room was echoing with it. Gripping the test paper like a lifeline, she fought to breathe while a strange, fiery blush flooded her chest. Seriously, what is my deal? She panicked internally. Her cheeks burned crimson instantly, dodging his stare to hide her meltdown. She aggressively smacked the test paper directly into his face. Face glowing red, she snapped. Quit spitting garbage and just write the right answers. Totally unfazed, Leon leaned back with a cocky grin. Wait, did you actually bomb this one? Tapping her page, he provoked. You swore you had never been let down by me. Visibly spiraling, Ross Weiss fiercely shook her head frantically, trying to deny the whole thing. But after a heartbeat of silence, she mumbled, if I absolutely have to complain, it is your total lack of Dragon Great Force earlier. Leon flashed a devilish smirk. Bet. I will eat Dragon Great Force pills for breakfast. Do not come crying later. Smirking right back, Ross Weiss challenged, oh, I am so ready. Flash forward to the tense night right before the academy trials. Leon was hyper-focused on dissecting the exam prep. He gave a confident nod, declaring, after a brutal week of grinding, our practice average easily smashed past 80. Assuming we do not totally choke, crushing this family evaluation is practically guaranteed. Completely drained of life, Ross Weiss just face-planted onto the mattress. Catching her dead-to-the-world vibe, Leon stood up. Guess I will bounce if we are done here. He pivoted toward the exit, but her fingers suddenly clamped onto his sleeve. Hold up, she whispered, her unusually soft tone completely paralyzing him. Leon spun around his eyebrows, raised in pure confusion, while Ross Weiss weakly pointed at her ensuite. My bathroom has a giant tub. Go soak in there, then come right back out. Leon blinked twice, utterly, short-circuited by the wild request. Wait, why am I suddenly washing up in your personal space? He stammered, entirely lost. Zero hesitation. Ross Weiss started physically shoving him straight toward the bathroom tiles. Just shut up and wash when I say so. Get moving, she demanded fiercely. Ross Weiss, seriously, Leon barked back in protest. She fully tuned him out, bulldozing his heavy frame straight into the steamy room before instantly slamming the door shut. Trapped behind the door, Leon started peeling off his shirt, completely bewildered. Why on earth is she forcing me to bathe in her room out of nowhere? He muttered aloud. Was she plotting some twisted trap? Letting out a heavy sigh, he blamed her weird vibe on raw pre-test exam anxiety. Shrugging off the massive red flags, Leon surrendered and embraced the luxury soak. Sinking deep into the boiling water, he tilted his head back. This is absolute heaven, he groaned happily. Just as Leon dissolved into relaxation, the door slowly creaked open. Rosweiss stood there, clutching a single towel, launching a massive jump scare on him. Spotting her half-dressed form, he practically screamed her name in absolute terror. Rosweiss flashed a wicked grin, casually tucking her hair back, while the ancient dragon crest on her chest started pulsing with a dangerous light. The stress has been literally suffocating me lately, so we are doing this right now. Leon felt his entire soul leave his pale body. My ultimate nightmare is actually happening, his brain screamed. Suddenly, the glowing crest on her skin fiercely resonated with his own, forging an undeniable bond. Panic exploding, Leon abruptly stood up, yelling, "Are you crazy? Why are you dumping your mental breakdowns onto me?" Flashing a wildly mischievous wink, Rosweiss purred, "Because pushing my heavy burdens onto your shoulders brings me salvation. Am I wrong?" Without another word, she let the towel drop, standing gloriously exposed before a frozen Leon. Locking her unblinking eyes on his, she ruthlessly demanded if this was not his exact twisted goal days ago. Cornered by the brutal truth, Leon was left utterly speechless. Breaking eye contact, he swallowed hard, totally trapped by her logic, with zero escape routes left. Rosweiss slipped right into the steaming water. Soft curves met his chiseled chest as her intense gaze pinned him down. Closing the gap, she whispered his running days were over, demanding his absolute total submission. Leon finally caved to her desires. Instantly, their intertwined dragon crests flared to life, radiating a blinding, undeniable magic. Morning hit. The ultimate power couple rolled up to the elite St. Heath entrance exams, little Noah in tow. Taking in the jaw-dropping architecture, Leon let out a low whistle. Damn, so this is the legendary St. Heath Academy. He glanced sideways instantly, catching Rosweiss's totally uncharacteristic silence and heavy stone-cold facial expression. Leaning in, he playfully nudged her. "What's eating you? I literally drained all your tension last night, but guess that buff expired way too fast." Crimson rushed to her cheeks. She delivered a swift, flustered smack to his shoulders, grumbling for him to drop dead. Chuckling at her spicy comeback, he gently nudged her forward, and the legendary trio stepped onto the academy grounds. Handing over the paperwork at front desk, the clerk squinted at the glowing parchment. Noah K. Melkvi, she read aloud. Silver Dragon Faction. A massive red flag of doubt crossed her face, prompting Leon to instantly demand if they had beef. Sweating bullets, the clerk swore everything was chill, but confessed her absolute shock. She clarified that although baby hatchlings could legally join at age 1, the absolute meta for rookies was hitting level 4 to 6 first. Flashing a slightly condescending smile, she poked fun, wondering if little Noah was some sheltered clan royalty, punching way above her weight class. Radiating pure boss energy, Rosweiss shut that down cold, declaring her daughter a literal prodigy where age meant absolutely nothing. Crushed by her alpha aura, the clerk gulped, nodded, and instantly rubber-stamped their progression. She outlined the quest. Special ops staff would escort the kiddo to the theory exams while mom and dad needed to conquer the 4th floor. Parent evaluation stage. Up on level 4, the power couple posted up in the interrogation room, staring down the faculty brass. Flashing a sweet, deceptive smile, Rosweiss intertwined her fingers with Leon's, leaning in to drop a mischievous whisper. She cheekily asked if his combat radar classified these 3 suits sitting across from them as low-level mob drops. Leon scanned the targets with dead, shark-like eyes. "They look like a total one-shot," he rumbled in a pitch-black tone. His mind flashed back. The savage lone wolf he was before getting totally whipped by his wife would have wiped this entire squad in under 50 strikes. Shadows crawled across his face. Muscles locked as a suffocating, blood-chilling, murderous aura leaked from his pores. Crushing his knuckles together, he muttered that if these NPCs dared gatekeep their daughter's future, his blade would definitely do the talking. The faculty trio kept their poker faces locked down, but internally, they were suffocating under Leon's apocalyptic boss-level pressure. Deep down, they mentally flagged him as an absolute nightmare-tier monster guardian. A gray-haired veteran broke the ice. He dropped his name card, Walter Wilson, the top dog vice principal. Projecting total calm, he announced he'd be the dungeon master, running their parental vibe check. Acting smooth, he told them to drop their guards and treat this like a casual trivia night. Slapping on a fake customer service smile, Rosweiss gave a stiff nod, while Leon flashed a dangerous grin, his predator instincts scanning the boomer. His gut screamed that this seemingly harmless academic was secretly packing some serious hidden stats. Sensing a massive plot twist creeping around the corner, suddenly the old man fired off his opening shot. "When is your exact wedding anniversary?" Bam! Eye contact locked between the power couple. They had literally grinded for this specific boss mechanic. Flashback to their cozy Silver Dragon estate bedroom. The wifey had strictly drilled it into his skull to stay battle-ready for this exact lore question. Since their relationship skipped the wedding tutorial and went straight to a surprise pregnancy DLC, they needed a bulletproof cover story. Remembering her strict midnight lectures, Leon took a cinematic pause before dropping the smoothest line about choosing the one unforgettable date that literally burned into his soul forever. Catching his rhythm perfectly, Rossweiss tagged in claiming the magical milestone dropped in year 1733 of the Genesis era. Back in reality, the duo synced up flawlessly, confidently declaring May 25th. Yet inside, Leon was fighting a massive mental sweat drop, knowing damn well that specific spring day was actually when they shared their intensely steamy first hookup deep inside that labyrinth. The headmaster's eyes drilled into their application files. A heavy shadow of skepticism crossed his face as he pushed back. He pointed out the math wasn't mathing a toddler over 1-year-old, yet a marriage barely hitting the 2-year mark. That speed run totally broke the standard family pacing meta. Sweating slightly, Leon awkwardly chuckled, spinning a massive fairy tale about experiencing pure love at first sight. Their blazing chemistry simply fast-tracked everything, triggering the marriage rings and baby buff in absolute record time. The vice principal locked eyes with them, dropping a massive curveball. He demanded to know if after 2 years of marriage they had uncovered any toxic traits or hidden red flags. Leon instantly nodded while Rossweissa shook her head. Behind their calm faces, their gears were spinning. The ultimate strategy. Blend stone-cold facts with absolute fiction. They needed the perfect illusion. Pushed for details, Leon flipped his internal switch to actor mode. His eyes dropped, painting a masterpiece of pure heartbreak. Delivering a flawless performance, he tragically sighed, confessing that sometimes he felt completely invisible, like a ghost fading into the background. Forcing a fake blush, he pressed a hand over his heart. He hyped up his wife as an absolute boss, flawlessly dominating every single household duty. Her absolute perfection made him feel totally worthless. While Leon cooked up this epic sob story, Rossweiss just deadpanned at him, absolutely unbothered. Panicking internally, Leon quickly pivoted, softly grabbing her hands in a desperate save, his cheeks still burning red. Catching the vibe, Rossweissa instantly mirrored his fake blush, locking her deep gaze onto his. Dropping his voice to a tender whisper, Leon played the worried husband. He claimed she carried way too much stress, seizing the perfect moment to drop a massive truth bomb. He begged to carry more of their family burden, passionately pleading for her to lean on his shoulders. But in his mind, he was screaming a totally different tune. He mentally prayed she would stop bullying him whenever he was stressed out. Boom, an older female judge totally bought it, completely melting. She loudly praised Leon for being the ultimate green flag husband. Pivoting straight to Rossweiss, the judge fired off another shot. She demanded to know what specific trait made her husband so incredibly irresistible. Caught completely off guard, Rossweiss froze. Quickly recovering with crimson cheeks, she started listing his stats, calling him ridiculously good-looking, totally shredded, hyper-focused, brilliant, and incredibly responsible. She hyped up his soft spot for kids and his unbreakable chill temper. The absolute best part, he was not a creep, which instantly leveled up his charm. Rossweissa also casually dropped that her physical health had taken a massive dive since tying the knot. But honestly, it was barely a bump in the road, because Leon was basically a master alchemist brewing epic potions to heal her. Catching these highly suspicious compliments, Leon plastered on a plastic smile and nervously chuckled. Inside his head, alarm bells were ringing. Was this a flex or a massive roast? Keeping the drama alive, Rossweiss refused to let go of his hands. She pierced his soul with an intensely worried stare, utterly panicked. Leon completely short-circuited, desperately dodging her gaze. Without missing a beat, Rossweiss claimed it was her turn to drop some deep emotional truths, begging her husband to stop overworking his body. But right as she spoke, her fingers locked around his hand like a vice grip, crushing his bones while he screamed internally from the sheer agony. The three judges, absolutely blinded by the romance, just swooned, completely convinced they were looking at true soulmates. As the brutal interrogation dragged on, the panel fired question after question. But this power duo dodged every bullet, flawlessly radiating absolute main character energy. As the high-stakes meeting finally reached its endgame, the senior judge flipped the script. He demanded to know if they had any final questions for each other. The ultimate rule, the target, was absolutely forced to speak nothing but facts. Flashing a subtle smirk, Rossweiss gently shook her head. She confidently declared she had already downloaded his entire personality. The judge then locked onto Leon, daring him to challenge his wife. Leon froze, faking a heavy, dramatic silence. Watching his brain buffer, Rossweiss held back a wicked grin. She internally mocked him, knowing full well that flapping his mouth would only trigger a disaster. They just needed to escape this trap. But out of nowhere, Leon completely shattered the tension. He asked if she genuinely loved the plushie he gifted her. Rossweiss's brain instantly flatlined, as a massive blush exploded across her face. Her mind went completely blank. Why on earth would he drop such a soft question? Zero politics, zero status, and zero hidden daggers. She was completely shook by how effortlessly this absolute wildcard bypassed all her mental defenses. Nervously tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, her cheeks still glowing, she softly confessed that the teddy bear actually meant the world to her. A smug, triumphant grin spread across Leon's face. He calmly replied that her answer was perfectly loud and clear. Stepping up, the vice principal firmly shook Leon's hand, officially declaring this brutal trial an absolute wrap. He promised the final verdict would be airdropped straight to Silver Dragon Castle via magical beast mail, within a few days, giving them one last respectful nod. Surviving Noah's insane gauntlet, the exhausted squad finally packed up and teleported back to their fortress. Fast forward a few sunrises, and a tiny crimson beast crash-landed with the ultimate payload, moon spotting. The scaly messenger squawking for Noah absolutely lost her mind, screaming about the mail. Leon snatched the magical envelope, hyping everyone up. Time for the truth. The scroll unrolled. Dear Noah Kane Melkway, massive respect for crushing the trial. Get your gear ready and head straight to campus in 3 days for the epic welcoming ceremony. The entire squad stared at the glowing text, absolutely exploding with pure, unfiltered hype. Moon tackled Noah into a massive bear hug, aggressively nuzzling her face. She screamed, "You are an absolute legend, and your folks are top-tier icons." Staring down at her golden ticket, Noah's cold exterior finally cracked into a genuine, heartwarming smile. Rossweiss, shooting a quick look over at Leon, whispered a sincere thanks. Leon simply beamed, radiating absolute pride. Why is she thanking me? He wondered. Noah earned this victory entirely on her own. She truly is my remarkable daughter. Tossing a playful wink over her shoulder, Rossweiss announced a massive celebration feast. She smirked, demanding Leon hit the kitchen to help. Gotta prove you actually exist in this family, right? Catching her drift, Leon just flashed a knowing grin. You seriously hold the wildest grudges, he teased. Hey guys, if this family dynamic is giving you life, smash that like button. It boosts the channel massively. Craving more epic manhwa recaps? Hit subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a single upload. Drop a comment down below if you need part 2 as soon as possible. I am always reading your incredible theories and thoughts. Catch you in the next one. Peace out. Meanwhile, the legendary St. Heath Academy entrance ceremony had officially kicked off. The vice principal commanded the grand stage, hyping up the absolute elite who actually survived the brutal entrance exams. His booming voice echoed, praising not just the prodigies but the powerhouse bloodlines that raised these elite-tier scholars. He hyped up the sheer number of absolute geniuses in this freshman batch, claiming their god-tier academic stats. All stemmed from flawless, loving family dynamics. Riding that hype train, he suddenly called a few top-tier families to drop their parenting secrets on the crowd. Up first, Noah Kane Melkev, the undisputed absolute genius of the entire freshman class. Naturally, her family was summoned too. Hearing their names echo, Myun instantly snapped to attention, realizing her parents were being called up. Anna, the stoic silver dragon maid, confirmed it with a sharp nod. Walking into the blinding stage lights, Leon Rossweiss and Noah were instantly slammed with a massive wave of applause. The academy staff bowed in deep respect, sweating bullets behind a stiff smile. Leon panicked internally, wondering how he got dragged into this spotlight. The answer: a total curveball thrown exactly 1 hour ago. Right before the massive event, the principal dropped a bombshell. Noah literally shattered the entrance exam scoring records. On top of that, their squad flawlessly dominated the family assessment. Because of this absolute sweep, the vice principal practically begged them to represent the entire freshman class with a live speech. So now trapped on stage with a fake smile, Leon had to brace himself. Stepping up to the mic like a total boss, Noah was hyped as the youngest prodigy to ever crush the exams. The vice principal handed her the floor to drop some wisdom. Thousands of eyes locked onto her in dead silence. Unfazed and completely composed, she kicked off by praising her mother, flexing her mom's status as a supreme dragon and her ultimate idol. She took the crowd back to the exact moment she first asked to join the academy, highlighting her mother's rock-solid support. Listening to her daughter's confident voice, Rossweissa beamed with pure, undeniable motherly pride. Pivoting smoothly, Noah directed her attention to her sister Myun. She called Myun her ultimate hype woman and endless source of love. Down in the VIP seats, Myun watched with huge, sparkling eyes, totally melting over her sister's heartfelt shout-out. Taking a breath, a tiny nervous sigh escaped Noah's lips. Leon mentally braced himself. Would she even mention him? Suddenly, her tone shifted, growing incredibly soft as she addressed her absolute biggest supporter, her dad. She revealed how he mercilessly drilled study materials with her, grinding through the darkest hours of the night just to prep her study guides. It was his raw dedication and massive backing that forged her into the genius standing there today. Those words hit Leon straight in the soul. Hot tears blurred his vision as he choked out her name. Delivering the final emotional blow, Noah smoothly wrapped up her speech. bowing gracefully to the massive crowd before stepping back. The vice principal, holding back actual tears, praised this flawless father-daughter bond. Then he threw a wild curveball, urging Leon to show some fatherly love. With a sweet kiss, Leon totally froze. His brain absolutely short-circuited at the insane request. He nervously glanced between the ecstatic crowd and Noah. Literally, 30 days ago, she treated his touch like literal poison. Doing this in front of thousands, absolute suicide mission. Leaning in close, he desperately whispered a counteroffer, begging to just do a safe, normal hug. But Noah snapped her eyes away, a massive red blush exploding across her face. Through gritted teeth, she aggressively whispered at him to just kiss her and end this supreme public embarrassment. Leon stood paralyzed, utterly shocked by her tsundere permission. Taking a deep breath, he locked in, leaned down and planted a tender, deeply protective kiss right on her forehead. That one tiny gesture radiated pure dad energy and overwhelming pride, sealing the legendary moment. Down in the stands, Mune totally lost her mind with jealousy, screaming that she wanted to kiss her sister too, before she could launch herself. Anna expertly snatched her back, coldly reminding the royal that crashing the stage was a massive protocol violation. Pouting hard, Mune dramatically flopped back into her chair, staring intensely at Noah. Up on stage, Rosweiss finally breathed a massive sigh of relief. Noah's cheeks flared a deep crimson low-key, thanking the heavens she wasn't the main focus of this crazy public PDA. Catching her flustered panic, Leon just flashed a soft, melt-your-heart kind of smile. The vice principal literally teared up completely, totally moved by their top-tier family dynamics. Preaching that elite dragons always show love to their tribe, he hyped up the Melqui clan as the absolute gold standard for families. But his next bombshell left the whole auditorium dead silent, radiating absolute clueless boomer energy. The dude casually flexed about sharing these exact same core memories with his own kid back in the day. Totally hyping himself up, he pivoted straight to Leon. Since they were basically couple goals, he hinted. He totally needed to show his wifey some love. Leon and Rosweiss instantly short-circuited their faces, completely paralyzed. Leon's jaw locked hard, knuckles turning white as he fought back a major groan. Rosweiss lost all her color, shrinking back while her brain completely blue-screened. Annoyance flared in Leon's mind. This boomer dragon was doing way too much. Massive regret hit him, wishing he had totally handled the assessment phase differently. But the second his eyes locked onto Noah, the rage completely melted away. This was her spotlight, her epic academy debut. No matter how insanely cringe this was, he wasn't about to ruin her massive dub. Flipping the switch, he turned to Rosweiss with crazy, over-the-top hype, making sure the whole room heard him. That sudden vibe check left Rosweiss spiraling, her icy facade shattering into a massive blush. The crowd ate it up, watching the awkward stage tension morph into a super wholesome domestic flex. She threw Leon a panicked side-eye, whispering through her embarrassment to ask if he was actually going to kiss her. In front of an entire dragon army. Cool as ice, Leon instantly shut that down, swearing it wasn't happening, especially with Noah and Juan right there. Instead, he basically told her to just vibe and follow his script. Face practically on fire, Rosweiss grumbled about this total nightmare, locking in on the mission. Leon smoothly closed the gap, moving with cinematic slowness. He gently wrapped his arms around her, leaning in close, while his mind took a quick detour. Sure, they had shared a bed and held hands a million times, but kissing was literally uncharted territory, except for one crazy split-second mistake 2 whole years ago. Heart doing literal backflips, Rosweiss couldn't fathom how Leon was staying so chill, acting like this wasn't a huge deal. Forcing her panic down, she totally surrendered to her fate, squeezing her eyes shut tightly. Bracing for that ultimate lip lock she was dead sure was coming, but the epic kiss totally ghosted her. Instead, Leon's lips softly grazed her cheek. Her eyes snapped open, looking completely baffled as her fingertips traced the lingering heat on her skin. That slick curveball left her trapped between massive shock and burning curiosity. Ever the stoic king, Leon faced the crowd with a polite bow, totally cementing that this cheek peck was their absolute limit. Instantly, some random student yelled out, demanding to know why he dodged the real kiss. Those whispers instantly evolved into a chaotic chant, begging for a redo. Over the wild crowd noise, Leon leaned right into Rosweiss's space. Flashing a legendary smirk, he whispered, his voice dripping with pure amusement. His cheeky teasing basically dumped gasoline on her annoyance. Her jaw locked, fists balling up as absolute irritation spiked. The idea that she was just his personal stress relief toy made her mentally rage. If thousands of eyes weren't glued to them, she totally would have body-slammed him right there to get her payback. But for now, she forcefully choked down her pride. This day wasn't over yet, and playing the long game meant sweet revenge later. Probably the second they stepped foot inside the Silver Dragon Castle. The vice principal, absolutely eating up the wholesome vibes the Melqui served, gave them a massive shout-out, before finally letting them escape the stage to chill. With that cue, Rosweiss, Leon, and Noah dipped from the spotlight, their powerhouse aura still echoing. while the rest of the event dragged on. The academy kickoff finally wrapped up. Strolling out of the gates, Rosweiss locked eyes with Noah, dropping into strict but soft mom mode. She gently broke the news that they had to bounce, but promised to swoop back next weekend, demanding she stay out of trouble until then. Noah just gave a soft, brave nod, promising she would be totally fine. Muon, literally wearing her heart on her sleeve, latch-hugged Noah desperately, whispering how badly she wanted to stick together. Flashing a megawatt smile, Noah patted her head, swearing she would miss her like crazy too. Leon, playing the ultimate logical dad, dropped some final rules, harping on sticking to a strict feeding schedule, absolutely no skipping meals, and grinding hard on her magic studies. He made sure she knew that if any weirdness went down, she decided to just interrogate him about it during her holiday break. More importantly, he drilled it into her head to see the campus doctor if she felt sick. Don't play the tough guy, he warned. Noah rolled her eyes with a fond smirk. She promised Leon she had it covered, not being a helpless kid anymore. Flashing a cheeky grin, Leon threw Rosweiss under the bus. He joked, those were her words, blurted out while totally wasted. He teased that she was way too shy to say it directly, so he was just playing the messenger. Arms crossed and glaring daggers, Rosweiss immediately shut down his trash talk as pure fiction. Dropping the jokes, Leon's vibe instantly turned dead serious. He warned Noah to steer clear of toxic classmates looking for trouble, but made one thing crystal clear. If anyone dared to cross her, she had his absolute blessing to wreck them entirely. Raising a skeptical brow, Noah asked if he actually practiced what he preached back in his own academy days. With a nostalgic wink, Leon confessed the truth. Whenever he threw hands, his instructor, who just happened to be her grandpa, would literally drag him back and dish out some brutal discipline. Still, he promised her not to sweat it, vowing he would never punish her for defending herself. Clinging to his leg, little Muen soaked up every word of their intense banter. After a beat, Noah offered a soft, genuine smile. Meanwhile, deep inside the Silver Dragon Castle study, Rosweiss was lost in heavy thought. Her piercing gaze locked onto a crumbling ancient grimoire. Its pages whispered of a forbidden hex called the Blood Curse, a truly terrifying dark art, usable only once per lifetime. It demanded fresh blood to activate, consuming the caster's very soul as the ultimate devastating price tag. Tracing the wicked runes, a smirk tugged at her lips. The dark mechanics utterly fascinated her, and she calculated that with a little tweaking, this lethal trick could become the perfect weapon for her master plan. The dead silence shattered as a sleek shadow melted into the room. Without even lifting her eyes from the pages, Rosweiss sensed the intruder coolly asking about their mission. Shirley, her elite maid and fierce Silver Dragon enforcer, stepped up, bowing deeply to confirm her return. Skipping the small talk, Rosweiss immediately demanded the fresh intel on their top-secret investigation. Biting her lip, Shirley confessed they hit a massive dead end. Tiger Lawrence and his wife had basically evaporated from the Empire. Their entire existence was scrubbed with surgical precision. Her best shadow agents could not dig up a single pathetic breadcrumb. That bombshell finally made Rosweiss look up. She aggressively demanded more details, and Shirley broke it down. Every digital and physical footprint was wiped perfectly clean, screaming the work of a total mastermind. Rosweiss flashed back to Leon's words. He had completely downplayed his master as just some regular dirt-poor farmer, but the red flags were glaring. It was painfully obvious this mysterious old man was hiding an insanely dark, massive secret. Before waving her assassin off, she laid down a strict order. Shirley needed to stay frosty while hunting for clues, and report back the second anything popped up. Shirley bowed out with absolute loyalty. Out in the lush Silver Dragon courtyard, Leon was viciously slashing the air with a massive tree branch, channeling monstrous aura into every single strike. After showing off the form, he locked eyes with Muen, hyping her up to smash the stick down with pure brutal force just like him. Muen, vibrating with excitement, totally went for it. She snatched the wood, hacking away like a maniac. Zero technique, just chaotic goblin energy. Leon just stared, completely sweat-dropping at her wild flailing. Realizing she needed major help, he stepped right in and started breaking down the real swordsmanship. He fixed her clumsy grip, showed her the optimal arc, and corrected her sloppy stance. Right in the middle of training, Rosweiss glided into the courtyard. Muen's face instantly lit up like a Christmas tree, squealing as she greeted her mom. Leon caught her gaze too casually, mentioning she was finally back from patrol. Rosweiss just flashed a killer smirk. Her eyes locked onto Leon's with hidden amusement as Muen bolted straight toward her, crashing into her mom for a massive bear hug. Rosweiss softly ruffled the kid's hair, asking if she actually behaved for her dad today. Muen nodded furiously, proudly flexing that her dad had just taught her the ultimate sword grip. Melting into a rare warm smile, Rosweiss praised her hard work. She then dropped the ultimate news. Dinner was almost served, and the royal chef was grilling up some premium steaks. Hearing that, Muen's eyes practically turned into shooting stars. She screamed her love for meat at the top of her lungs, skipping off while belting out a steak anthem. Right on cue, Anna. shadowed the little princess, ensuring she did not trip on her way inside. Left completely alone, the two stood there, watching their kid vanish down the hall. The wholesome vibe shifted as Rossweiss turned to speak. But before a single word dropped, Leon instantly whipped the wooden blade right at her face with terrifying speed. The lethal strike caught Rossweissa totally lacking. The deadly branch halted millimeters from her throat. Her icy gaze never wavered, but a wicked smirk danced across her lips. As she dared him to strike, mocking his sudden urge to finally assassinate her, she warned him that inside the Silver Dragon Castle, drawing a weapon against the queen meant instant execution for absolute treason. Totally unfazed, Leon casually gestured to the twig. He fired back, asking if the mighty queen seriously saw a literal stick as a deadly threat. Unshaken, Rossweiss reminded him of his legendary past as the ultimate dragon slayer. She stressed that his hands could turn any random twig into a weapon of mass destruction, locking eyes with him as she boldly challenged his bluff. Dodging the question, he exhaled heavily and pulled the makeshift blade away. Leaning in close, he smirked, telling her that if she wanted to compliment him, she should just say it without hiding behind so much sarcasm. Crossing her arms defensively, Rossweiss snapped back that she absolutely wasn't praising him. Leon strolled over to a nearby bench, chilling with his hands behind his head. He confessed that he just wanted to give her a good jump scare, but admitted it was totally pointless since she didn't flinch. Watching him with a stone-cold glare, Rossweiss instantly fired back, boldly claiming that in his current weakened state, a pathetic little twig couldn't even leave a scratch on her. Flipping the script, she brought up yesterday's letter from Noah, where the girl promised she was doing great and begged them not to stress over her. Settling onto the bench together, Leon shot her a surprised look, questioning if that was seriously everything their daughter had bothered to write. Rossweissa shook her head, pointing out how incredibly rare it was for Noah to actually reach out first. But she only wrote to prove she was safe and sound. Leon nodded in agreement, chuckling that when it came to stuff like this, Noah totally took after Rossweiss. Staring up at the clouds, he thought about Noah's hardcore personality, admitting she always kept her guard up, making her incredibly hard to read. Still, he smiled, adding that once you actually break through her ice, she's actually super sweet. Following his gaze, Rossweiss softly confessed that Noah secretly idolized him. She explained that Noah had a true dragon's mindset. She worshipped raw power, and naturally gravitated toward anyone strong enough to wield it. Turning to Leon with a soft, rare smile, she revealed that Noah honestly saw him as an absolute top-tier prodigy, a true legend worth idolizing. Noah even swore she was going to dominate the academy and crush the rankings, absolutely refusing to ever lose to him. Feeling his face heat up, Leon rubbed his neck with a goofy grin, confessing he always thought Noah just saw him as some pathetic, weak-kneed scholar. Kicking off her heels, Rossweiss smoothly changed the subject, throwing it back to when Leon first woke up from his coma, reminding him how Noah actively dodged him. She asked if he remembered that cold shoulder. Then, without skipping a beat, she exposed the truth, despite Noah acting totally aloof. She secretly watched over him daily while he was unconscious. Whenever she got caught red-handed, she would frantically make up lame excuses, stubbornly insisting she was only there to check on Muen. Leon's eyes melted with warmth, laughing that Noah's tough girl act was exactly like Rossweiss's. Staring off into the horizon, Rossweiss drifted into their childhood memories. She remembered how baby Noah and Muen would scream their lungs out but instantly go dead silent the second they were set beside Leon. She softly realized that even before anyone knew the truth, their absolute bond of blood had already locked their fates together. Leon dropped his gaze, a wave of deep sorrow washing over his face as he stared at his own hands, silently pondering the wild mystery of bloodlines. His mind violently flashed back to his tragic days as an orphan, a dark era where the warm, protecting love of real parents was a total myth. True family affection was just some alien concept, a distant fantasy he could never reach. Everything changed at age 5 when his master and his wife took him in, raising him fiercely as their own flesh and blood. They finally showed him what a real home felt like. Yet even wrapped in their endless warmth, a haunting emptiness still chewed at his soul. Even surrounded by their crazy kindness, a massive void stayed inside him, desperately craving a connection he couldn't even understand. Sitting in dead silence, he remembered those crushing moments of grief when his adoptive mother would stroke his hair and promise him, swearing that one day he'd become an amazing father himself. Completely full of doubt, he used to question if a broken kid like him could ever achieve that. In response, she'd flash a glowing smile, promising that his future kids would share his blood, a family he would fiercely love, defend, and sacrifice absolutely everything for. Ripped back to reality, Leon tightened his fists as her legendary words echoed like thunder in his brain. With blazing new resolve, he swore to himself that protecting his current family was his ultimate mission. While he was zoning out, Rossweissa stared intensely, demanding to know what distracted him so much before suggesting they finally head back home. Snapping out of his trance, Leon jumped to his feet quickly, brushing it off as absolutely nothing. He thanked her for the heart-to-heart, playfully telling her to leave her heels off as they walked back side by side. Ross Weiss smoothly slides right into his personal space. Catching this shady move, Leon gives her major side-eye, totally baffled by her sudden approach. Flashing a wicked smirk, she drops a wild demand. If he really wants to show gratitude, he needs to slip her shoes on. Leon just stares deadpan, caught somewhere between pure annoyance and utter disbelief at her sheer audacity. Sure, their chemistry is leveling up daily, but her outrageous demands are seriously pushing his sanity to the absolute limit. Not backing down, the smirking queen doubles down on her ridiculous request, demanding his total service as proof of thanks. Flabbergasted, Leon echoes her crazy words, wondering if she has actually lost her mind, expecting him to play literal servant. He instantly rejects the ridiculous idea, jabbing an accusatory finger right in her face and shouting a hard no. He furiously vents that washing her feet before was already maximum humiliation, and now she actually has the nerve to want more. Does he even have any pride left? But before he can keep ranting, bam, she mercilessly kicks him straight in the face. That brutal strike instantly shuts him up. Gazing down coldly, she reminds him that he still owes her big time for that unexpected kiss. Back at the entrance ceremony, yet he actually dares to refuse a simple shoe fitting. Acting totally high and mighty, she orders him to quit yapping and just do it so they can bounce. Muttering salty complaints, Leon finally gives in, squatting down to slide the footwear on. The second he finishes, her signature smirk returns. Teasing him for being so fast despite throwing a massive tantrum earlier, Leon aggressively claps back that it was super easy. Honestly, way easier than shoeing a stubborn donkey. Instant mistake. Her aura immediately turns pitch black, grinding her teeth with pure murderous rage. She shoots him a death glare, launching another lethal kick at his skull. But this time, Leon is totally ready. Flashing a cocky grin, he bends backwards, flawlessly dodging as her vicious strike slices through empty air. Not wasting a single second, he bounces back and sprints away, loudly trolling her. Glancing back, he confidently flexes that. With his god-tier speed, she could never dream of catching him. Ross Weiss just freezes her fists, trembling with absolute fury, burning holes into his fleeing back. He might have dodged this bullet, but she secretly swears that his speed will not save him from the absolute nightmare coming tonight. What exactly went down in the dark remains a total mystery, but we can totally guess the brutal aftermath. Fast forward a few days, the trio is chilling outside, waiting for someone special. While the parents scan the clouds, little Miwon practically vibrates with hype, frantically pointing up at the heavens, begging them to look. An absolutely colossal dragon tears through the sky. Its mind-blowing scale leaves Leon completely stunned, easily dwarfing even Ross Weiss in her true form. This legendary incoming beast is a mighty leviathan, an ancient titan famous for its insane stamina and majestic build. Squinting at the giant, Ross Weiss casually drops that despite looking terrifying. Its combat power is surprisingly mid, but its infinite energy and chill vibes make it the ultimate Uber for the dragon race. Hooked by that weird phrasing, Leon questions what emotionally stable even means here. She breaks down how these gentle giants stay totally zen for thousands of years, literally never raging once. That is exactly why the Academy trusts these flying tanks to deliver precious baby dragons safely. Right on cue, the Titan touches down safely, dropping Noah. She nails a perfectly flawless superhero landing, before facing her mom and proudly declaring she is back. The Ice Queen instantly melts, giving her beloved daughter the warmest, softest look. Miwon completely loses it, sprinting over to tackle Noah in a massive bear hug, while crying about how much she missed her. Blushing super hard, Noah nervously turns to Leon, her voice totally glitching out as she struggles to find the right words. Catching on to her shy panic, Leon instantly understands that she is still super awkward about calling him her actual dad. Moving past it, the parents gently grab her hands, leading their little girl inside. Walking back, Leon beams with joy about having her home, hyping up the absolute feast of her favorite meals they cooked up, just to celebrate her return. Back inside their epic silver dragon crib, Noah nervously hands over her academy report cards, proudly flexing her crazy stats. This genius kid literally dominated the rankings, scoring perfect marks in hardcore classes, like Alchemy Machinery Basics, the Young Dragon, Magic Intro, and even the intense Dragon Clan History course. Ross Weiss beams with hardcore mom pride, reviewing the grades, while little Miwon stares with massive starstruck eyes at her sister's legendary flex. But suddenly, Noah freezes on the final subject, her voice dropping to a whisper. For overall physical fitness, she only bagged 95 points, completely missing the #1 spot. Looking down, she sadly apologizes for the minor flaw, looking completely heartbroken. But Ross Weiss, overflowing with absolute maternal pride, gently comforts her sweet daughter. She warmly insists there is zero need for apologies, because her scores are literally out of this world. Siding with their mom, Muin squeezed Noah's hand tightly, silently projecting her absolute loyalty. To her, Noah was already #1. Meanwhile, Leon scanned the exam sheets, a bittersweet smirk playing on his lips. Watching his girls, he realized how hard Noah fought to show her emotions, while Muen radiated pure sunshine. As their dad, Leon knew he had to bridge that gap. Glancing at the fitness scores, Leon broke down the stats. He pointed out that sprints, bench presses, and pull-ups were just foundational conditioning. Since Noah was facing off against raw-powered dragon hatchlings, trailing slightly in physical strength was completely normal. Tapping the paper, he hyped Noah up. She had crushed 9 out of 10 live spars, securing the absolute highest win rate. He stressed that her arena domination proved her elite tactics and flawless mechanics totally outclassing pure brute force. Leon gently reminded her that placing third wasn't a loss. She had endless time to completely shatter her limits. Noah's eyes brightened as she nodded. She recalled her mom bragging about Leon being the absolute prodigy. Across the board back in the academy, Leon chuckled, confessing that during his rookie year, he wasn't the ace. Only through brutal grinding and relentless grit did he claim the throne. He hyped her up to stay fierce, knowing her true awakening was just beginning. Fire ignited in Noah's eyes as she clenched her tiny fists, nodding firmly. Bursting with curiosity, Muen suddenly dropped a bombshell. Who would win in a pure one-on-one clash? Leon and Roswisa instantly tapped their chests, dripping with absolute confidence. Leon immediately claimed the crown, while Roswisa fiercely defended her title. The playful tension instantly skyrocketed. Sparks literally flew between their eyes. Leon laughed unapologetically, flexing his supreme combat mastery, swearing nobody could touch his flawless brawling weapon arts or spell casting. Crossing her arms with a deadly smirk, Roswisa countered. Sure, he had trophies, but she always secured the critical victories. Their electric banter continued, laced with spicy double meanings that totally flew over the kids' heads. Leon flashed a rogue grin, bringing up their dungeon days. He teased that her past defeats resulted in 2 daughters. Boom! Out of nowhere, the powerhouse couple vanished from the room, craving a real showdown. The girls blinked in stunned silence before scrambling after them. Noah snatched Muen's hand, dragging her along. Outside, as their legendary parents stretched out the kids' claimed front-row seats, Muen bubbled with excitement, demanding to know who Noah thought held the supreme title. Channeling her instructor's wisdom, Noah whispered that witnessing masterclass duels was the ultimate cheat code for growth. Shooting him a wicked glare, Rosweiss mocked that his rusty body couldn't possibly handle her right now. Shrugging off her spicy trash talk, Leon fired back with a devastatingly cocky smirk. He claimed he would never pass up a chance to clash with the mighty Silver Dragon Queen. Her smile turning lethal. Rosweiss raised the stakes. If Leon won a whole month of peaceful solitude, but if she crushed him, he owed her one absolute favor. Leon's playful vibe instantly evaporated, sweating over what she might demand. Yet the gamble was just too juicy to ignore. A whole month of epic relaxation, that was a legendary reward he normally couldn't even dream of. Eyes locked, he accepted the bet. Rosweiss's aura flared, totally primed for battle. Leon flashed a fearless grin. The atmosphere turned heavy as both monsters analyzed each other's stances, tracking every single micro-movement. Suffocating tension filled the air, waiting for the perfect trigger. On the sidelines, the girls casually munched popcorn, totally hyped for this clash of titans. Savoring the buttery sweetness, Muen happily kicked her little legs in the air. Suddenly, her heel clipped a rogue bottle of pineapple juice. She lunged to save it in slow motion, but physics showed no mercy. Splash. As the golden liquid hit the concrete, the hyper-focused parents instantly mistook the sharp sound for the starting gun. The second that plastic hit the dirt, both powerhouses exploded forward. Leon blitzed in first, his deadly gaze honoring the ultimate showdown. Shattering the earth, he blasted skyward. Explosive aura surged into his right fist as he dropped a catastrophic nuke of a punch straight toward Rosweiss. Reading his attack, she threw up an ironclad guard. The apocalyptic strike slammed against her defense, sending massive shockwaves that pulverized the arena floor. Eating the brutal damage, she immediately flipped the script, whipping her tail in a lethal counter. Uppercut. Leon's instinct screamed, teeth gritted as he instantly snapped his body backward to dodge. Rosweiss went completely relentless, unleashing a deadly hurricane of tail sweeps. He desperately weaved through, slamming both hands down to execute a flawless tactical backflip. The microsecond her combo slowed, he instantly shifted gears, freezing his momentum into a sick, one-handed handstand. Shifting his center of gravity, he pumped pure mana downwards and unleashed an absolute cannon of a kick. Rosweiss guarded, but this blow hit completely different. The massive kinetic shockwave sent her violently sliding back, carving deep twin trenches through the dirt, barely stabilizing. She slammed one palm down. Analyzing the insane clash, a hard tactical truth hit her. Close quarters combat was a losing game. It was time to switch the meta. Pooling raw mana, she charged up her legendary Dragonfire. Scorching energy spiraled, whipping the arena sand into a frenzy. Leon's eyes locked on instantly, reading her sudden phase shift. Zero hesitation. She fragmented that inferno into blazing meteors, firing a relentless carpet bombing right at him. He instantly dashed laterally, barely dodging the heat. The fireballs nuked the battlefield, detonating loudly and carving massive apocalyptic craters. She turned the terrain into a literal minefield, perfectly zoning his movement options. Above, Noah and Miwin were glued to the chaos. The hype totally vanished as momentum flipped against their dad. Miwin's breathless cheering instantly morphed into pure stress, terrified he was actually losing. Meanwhile, Noah stayed cold as ice, clinically breaking down the mechanics. She completely read their build paths. Leon played a pure, close-quarters, evasive speedster. Rossweiss played the ultimate zoner, spamming ranged magic to kite. This whole sequence proved she hated trading blows directly, strictly playing for openings via insane damage overtime pressure. Hearing this breakdown, Miwin's panic evolved, becoming total awe from Noah's big brain analysis. The match was completely wild, proving it wasn't a basic stat check. It was a brutal chess match of insane adaptability, mechanical skill, and perfectly balanced strategic mind games. Her face absolutely glowed with hype as she leaned in, looking at her sister like a legend. Noah blushed super hard, breaking eye contact, to casually shrug off the genius breakdown as just basic homework. Back in the meat grinder, Rossweiss suffocated Leon with pure aggression, micromanaging her lethal dragonfire perfectly. Her combat IQ realized the truth. He could never charge his ultimate while dodging her inferno. A cocky smirk flashed across her face. She dialed the heat up, locking him in a brutal retreat. Blazing shrapnel detonated inches from him, some barely missing, while the impact turned the shattered arena into flying debris. But Leon's focus was absolute zero. He shadow-stepped through the explosions, completely unfazed by the chaos. Rossweiss was absolutely sick of his dodging. Instantly shifting gears, she compressed terrifying aura into her palms, forging the catastrophic fire into twin suns. These apocalyptic homing missiles locked onto him, converging on Leon from a perfect blind spot, deleting every single escape route. His eyes snapped wide frantically, scanning for a pixel-perfect dodge, but he was trapped. The hype hit critical mass. Right at the climax, Leon caught a microsecond flaw in her armor. Zero hesitation. He charged his ultimate finisher to claim victory. The towering wall of fire swallowed his vision. He desperately scanned the grid, but the trap was flawless. Boom! The dragonfire went nuclear, unleashing a blinding purple shockwave that instantly vaporized the earth into a crater. A suffocating blackout of smoke hijacked the arena, completely burying the aftermath. But suddenly, an epic surge of blue lightning literally sliced the darkness. The very next frame, Leon exploded out, rocketing into the sky above the ruins. He was overflowing with raw blue aura, terrifying electrical currents swirling. Flashing a downright lethal smirk, Leon taunted her with absolute certainty as he blitzed forward. His raw acceleration literally ripped the atmosphere apart. She visibly gasped, pupils shaking as she analyzed the monstrous electrical aura hardwired around him. Her combat brain instantly decoded the hack. He was overclocking his biological limits using raw thunder magic. Eyes burning with pure resolve, Leon completely cratered the ground to shift his launch, before turning into a human railgun blitzing her with absolute terrifying momentum. Raw azure lightning violently surged around him, proving he was absolutely redlining his magical limits. Just to protect his hard-earned vacation, this dude was ready to go beyond plus ultra without hesitating. Leon exploded forward, throwing a relentless barrage of fists at Rossweiss. His attacks moved so insanely fast, they practically vanished, looking like literal lightning bolts tearing through the battlefield. Rossweiss clenched her jaw, maintaining zero-point focus while parrying his heavy strikes with bare hands. But his overwhelming velocity pinned her back, making it crazy hard to track his next move. Her brow furrowed as she swatted away his fists, but a deep anxiety began creeping into her thoughts. Leon was still healing, yet here he was, recklessly treating his body like a punching bag. Amping his stats with raw thunder magic was literally destroying him from inside. Knowing time was running out, Rossweiss realized she had to end this clash fast. Instantly, Leon caught that split-second tension on her face, a dead giveaway that her iron defense was cracking. He spotted her mental guard dropping for 1 microsecond, and he capitalized, faking out his punches. He instantly launched a flawlessly timed low sweep at her legs. Rossweiss twitched to dodge, but that wild mix-up completely shattered her battle rhythm. Bam! Leon's strike landed before she could step back, breaking her stance. She leaned backward, desperately trying to stabilize, but the stagger left her wide open with zero counter options. Channeling every last drop of lightning into his right hand, Leon dashed in for the kill. His piercing eyes locked onto hers, radiating pure main character confidence. The win was basically secured. Rossweiss frantically tried to plant her feet and pop a shield, but his insane aggro switch completely exposed her. She grasped at empty air, tipping backward into a total freefall. Right before dropping the hammer, Leon saw her helpless angle and realized she was about to take massive damage. Instinct kicked in. He instantly canceled his ultimate, scattering the deadly sparks from his knuckles. Lunging forward, he snatched her midair before impact, yanking her safely into his solid embrace. That sudden jerk spun them around, and as Ross Weiss blinked, she was literally pinned against his chest. His arm wrapped tightly around her waist, keeping her anchored. Suddenly, an intense, crazy warmth flared up between them. With their hearts beating against each other, the battleground vibe totally shifted into straight-up shoujo romance territory. A deep crimson blush painted both their cheeks as they locked eyes. Time froze completely, trapping them in that intimate tension. Leon leaned in closer, his dark eyes unreadable in the heavy silence. Ross Weiss kept her face stone cold, as she calmly summoned fierce dragonfire, pressing her blazing palm directly against his chest, totally shook. Leon instantly sensed danger. Snapping his head down, he watched mystical flames eating right through his shirt. But plot twist, it was not burning him. Instead of roasting his flesh, the fiery aura just faded away, leaving nothing but a ruined top. Ross Weiss glared at him, super annoyed that he let his guard down mid-combat. The duel was not finished, but he completely lost the plot. Suddenly, a massive boom from the leftover magic grabbed Noah and Muin's attention. Dropping their snacks, the kids ran over just as the thick smoke finally cleared. Their eyes sparkled with hype, begging to know who won. Swallowing his pride, Leon had literally no choice but to tap out. The facts were the facts. Pouting like a sore loser, he admitted defeat, whispering angry curses about his own sloppy mistake. Ross Weiss shut her eyes internally, respecting his insane power level. Fighting with zero legendary gear or magic blades, he clashed using pure brute force, a god-tier feat nobody else had ever pulled off. Still, Leon squeezed his hands, his ego screaming in protest. He honestly believed that if he had gone 100% all out, the dub would have been his, but taking the loss meant he had to pay up on their crazy wager. Ross Weiss flashed a wicked smirk, bringing up their binding contract. That brutal reminder pierced his soul like a sniper shot. Pure dread hit him as he remembered what he actually agreed to. He was so blinded by the fight that he forgot the stakes, and now it was time to face the music. Utterly defeated, he slumped to the dirt, his soul literally leaving his body. Noah and Miwin squatted next to him, poking his lifeless body like a glitching character. Little Miwin, sounding super innocent, asked Ross Weiss if her dad was okay. Ice-cold Ross Weiss promised his stamina bar was just empty, and he would respawn quickly. Later that night, inside the Silver Dragon Temple, Leon sat with his girls, sounding incredibly soft, but dead serious. He tasked Noah with protecting Miwin while he was away. Highlighting her big sister duties, he reminded Noah that young, clueless Muen needed her guidance. Facing Muen, he begged her to obey Noah and dodge trouble. Both girls nodded, completely locked in, faces totally chill. Leon let out a heavy sigh, heart aching. The impending trip wasn't the real nightmare here, but ditching his precious daughters even temporarily crushed his soul. They were tiny and his brain short-circuited, trying to grasp how their mom could brutally rip them apart so casually. Noah just scoffed, crossing her arms, deadpan roasting him for surviving just one single night at their own mother's place. To her, his whole vibe screamed pure drama queen. Leon violently shivered, dropping his voice, whispering that surviving a night at Ross Weiss's absolute mercy was pure, unadulterated nightmare fuel. Muen's eyes sparkled with chaotic energy. She cheerfully announced their mom was absolutely going to devour him, citing a wild book about female mantises eating their mates. Leon barked a nervous laugh, ruffling her hair. While totally unhinged, he silently realized he was absolutely getting devoured tonight anyway. From the shadows, Ross Weiss watched him, eyes dancing with wicked amusement while he playfully side-eyed Muen. The room practically radiated wholesome family vibes, until the queen herself glided through the doorway, shooting Leon a dangerously sharp glare. Her voice melted into sweet velvet, tucking the girls into bed before snapping back to lock onto her actual prey, Leon. He visibly gulped, cold sweat dropping as his brain desperately decoded her lethal hidden meanings. Zero hesitation, she instantly dragged him away, completely ignoring his pathetic, desperate murmurs for mercy. Vanishing into the hallway, Leon threw one last tragic, loving glance at his girls, whispering his farewells. The heavy door slammed shut. Muen aggressively whispered wild theories to Noah, who just shrugged it off, refusing to waste brain cells on weird adult drama. Inside the Silver Dragon Temple's master bedroom, Ross Weiss sipped rich wine, smirking like a predator watching Leon vibrate with anxiety. Dropping a flirty taunt, she invited him over, but he instantly rejected her, standing his ground. Instantly, her playful vibe vanished, weaponizing his promise to grant one ultimate wish after losing their epic duel. She ruthlessly mocked his hypocritical, cowardly hesitation. Leon fought to keep his cool, dodging her lethal flirtations, but her next sentence hit like an absolute truck. She purred that she actually wanted his victory, teasing a mind-blowing spicy reward if he had crushed her. Furious, he snapped, demanding why she didn't just throw the fight. Her lips curled into a devilish, knowing smirk. She craved a way more intoxicating, dangerous game for tonight. Holding his gaze, she tipped the dream wine over her bare skin, letting crimson ribbons trace her curves. Leon froze instantly, breath catching as his brain completely short-circuited. Moving with lethal grace, she closed the distance, voice dropping low. Her intoxicating scent and the magic wine immediately hijacked his senses, shattering his willpower. Fighting a losing battle, he moved on instinct, crashing his lips against her skin, devouring the glowing ruby drops. Rossweiss softly gasped, her icy mask melting into pure heat. But the second he pulled back, she coldly mocked his weak, pathetic effort. Eyes flashing wickedly, she bit her own finger, summoning a glowing bead of blood, and let it drip directly onto his tongue. Electric shockwaves blasted through his core. Every survival instinct screamed at him to run, but the trap had already slammed shut. Rossweiss locked onto him like a predator face, totally blank, slowly licking the crimson stains off her own plush lips. Zero remorse. She confidently confessed her crime, dropping the name of the forbidden art she just unleashed. A demonic blood curse detonated inside Leon, injecting a scorching, unnatural fever straight into his veins. His pupils blew wide. Breath ragged, he violently fought the mind-melting euphoria. As the fiery curse leveled up, Rossweiss crept closer, dripping with dark nostalgia as she dragged his memories back to their ancient history. The exact spell that once chained her was now destroying him. She bragged about hacking it, deleting the lethal damage, while maxing out its intoxicating effects. Leon ground his teeth, his body collapsing under the spell's crushing weight. Every single flex of willpower just poured more gasoline on the raging inferno inside him. Rossweiss soaked in his torment with absolute smugness, her sharp nails trailing down his chest while whispering dark, amused taunts. She roasted his endless stubbornness, mocking how he always played the tragic hero, pretending fate forced him to reject her. But right now, as she leaned in, dripping venomous temptation into his ear, his traitorous body totally surrendered. His remaining resistance shatters entirely. Legs buckling beneath him, Leon crashes hard against the mattress. A wicked spark dances in Roseweiss's gaze. Let the games begin, she purrs, absolutely living for the way Leon shivers under the crushing pressure of her hex. She ruthlessly mocks him with twisted affection, eating up his agonizing struggle to keep his sanity. He desperately swears the spell has not broken him, but she just laughs. With a flick of her wrist, she summons that enchanted Sky City mirror, an artifact reflecting way more than his sweating face. This magical device captures every sight and sound, perfectly immortalizing his unfiltered, raw vulnerability. Shoving the glass in his face, she dares him to talk. He chokes back the words, yet his traitorous mouth moves anyway, spilling his absolute internal chaos. His own voice echoes out, finally confessing the dark cravings he desperately wants buried. Pure terror strikes his gaze, his brain violently protesting. Yet Rose easily pierces his pathetic bluff. Flashing a devilish smirk, she dials up the pressure, daring him to repeat it. This time, his defenses totally shatter. The confession drops louder and sharper, dripping with pure agony. The second those words escape, scorching shame absolutely consumes his flushed face. His pride. He grips his trembling fists, knuckles turning bone white, but the fatal line is crossed. Rosewise practically devours his broken expression. A wicked smirk creeps up as she mocks his crumbling pride. She teases his utter desperation for the very thing he swore off. He instantly bites back, voice dripping with stubborn venom. But his traitorous body has other plans. Pure feral instinct takes over, launching him right at her. Rosewise intercepts him like it is nothing, giggling softly as his tough guy facade totally shatters. She senses his frantic rush, his agonizing fight against the hex, and that magnetic, undeniable spark. As magical fog scrambles his brain, his defenses crumble. Reckless words spill out way too fast, exposing the forbidden cravings he desperately denies. Rosewise observes closely, pinpointing his exact breaking point. That haunting vibe of total surrender crashes down. Rosewise feels the ancient blood hex fully, locking in. A sly smirk graces her lips, knowing Leon crossed the ultimate point of no return. Totally unfazed, she welcomes the chaotic climax, absolutely hyped to watch this mighty hero completely cave in. As the fiery night spirals into a blur of reckless passion, all toxic ego just vanishes, leaving just the curse's heavy chains anchoring them. Come dawn, Leon twitches awake, muscles screaming. Brain totally scrambled by spicy midnight flashbacks. When reality finally hits, pure, unadulterated rage boils over. He violently grips the sheets, grinding his teeth. Played by the hex again, his slayer pride is absolute toast. Tangled in Rosewise's web, his humiliating defeat hits 10 times harder, choking him like a relentless vice. Beside him, Rosewise is completely knocked out, breathing flawlessly, looking totally angelic, blind to the massive chaos she just sparked. In this raw state, she looks utterly fragile. On pure autopilot, Leon's hand slowly reaches out. His fingers lightly brush her skin. That tiny spark violently snaps him awake. He recoils, his heart hammering. Over his own crazy reflex, he desperately gaslights himself, swearing he only tried to shake her awake. But that annoying inner voice screams otherwise. His annoyance skyrockets, watching her sleep like a rock. He jabs her forehead. Zero response. Even shaking her shoulders and yelling her name yields absolutely nothing. His annoyance melts into creeping panic. This blood hex acts unpredictably, depending entirely on the target's base endurance. Flashbacks of his own brutal near-death encounter hit hard. It almost deleted him entirely, locking him in a 2-year coma. He barely survived. But Rosewise is built differently. As the Dragon Monarch, her power is god tier, her stamina off the charts. Still, he calculates she is out cold for a week. A devious smirk flashes. This is his golden escape ticket. 7 days is a joke for mere mortals to run, but Leon is a totally different breed. Rocking black gold gear and chugging energy pots, he is totally sure he can hit the mortal realm before she reboots. Fired up, he packs his loot, mentally mapping his escape. But reality suddenly hits like a freight train. 2 whole years have passed since he ditched the Empire, leaving him zero clues about its current vibe. His kidnapping left massive plot holes, making a blind return purely suicidal. Dropping the potion, he glares intensely, weighing the risks. Rosewise already promised to track down his missing mentor. Waiting for her intel is the smart play. More importantly, his girls remain stuck inside Silver Dragon Castle. Peeking through the window, he watches them play, his hardened eyes instantly melting. Ditching them is off the table. A defeated grin sneaks out as the truth hits. He is officially staying put. His payback arc is far from over. By sunset, Noah and Miwen enter instantly, panicking over their mom's lifeless state. Finding her totally frozen, they shatter the dead quiet, yelling for her with skyrocketing anxiety. She has been knocked out since yesterday, and their gut screams that something is incredibly sus. Noah hits Leon with a hardcore bombastic side-eye, grilling him like a detective about last night's secret agenda. Sweating bullets under her laser focus, he awkwardly dodges the heat, dropping a lame excuse about catching a late-night breeze. He fast talks, blaming the chill wind for knocking out a literal dragon desperate to kill their suspicion. Seeking backup, he pivots to Anna, who stays completely chill, telling the kids to simply breathe. She explains the head cleric already scanned the monarch, confirming her health is stable despite a major stamina drop. She confidently announces she will carry the clan's duties while the boss is away. With their nod, she dashes off to grind paperwork. The second Anna leaves, Muen steps closer. She gently touches Rosewise, her voice totally breaking, as she begs her mom to wake up. Total guilt flashes in her eyes. She practically kicks herself for ever causing her mom stress. Meanwhile, Leon just stands there like a statue. Spotting the heavy sweat on Roswise's skin, he mentally preps himself for nursing duty. Noah suddenly shatters his focus. Her laser-focused glare locks onto him, totally sensing his weird vibe. Brows furrowed, she instantly grills him. Her voice drips with major suspicion as she straight up confronts him. Playing it cool, Leon fires back, a chill response, even though internal panic totally sweats him out. The air stays thick until Noah finally sighs, dropping the interrogation. She faces Muen, her voice turning super gentle as she nudges her out. Tossing one last heartbroken look at her mom, Muen whispers a comeback promise, trailing right behind Noah. Left totally alone, Leon stays planted, his eyes glued to her peaceful sleeping face. He blows out a heavy breath. Thinking about that medicine, he scrambles to grab a water basin and a clean towel. Terrified she might catch a chill, he gently wrings the rag and carefully scrubs the feverish sweat away. He prays she will not totally misread this later. Suddenly, his eyes lock onto her lifeless tail. Seeing it so limp instead of her usual proud sway makes him sigh heavily, continuing his nurse routine. Job done, he awkwardly freezes. Should he seriously swap out her damp clothes too? He debates it briefly before logic kicks in. Sweeping the room, his radar locks onto a massive closet. Pure curiosity drags him over. Yanking it open, his jaw literally drops at the insane wardrobe overload. Figuring he has zero shortage of options, he starts digging wildly, tossing clothes while hunting for something decent. He finally yanks out fancy gowns and off-shoulder dresses. But suddenly, a massive problem hits him. What about her ears? A genius idea sparks. He twists her hair perfectly, to fake those iconic ears. Mission accomplished. A super weird wave of embarrassment smacks him as he steps back to judge his masterpiece. Rocking a spicy bunny girl suit, Rosweiss actually looks stunningly perfect. That realization sends his temperature straight through the roof. Suddenly, the dragon mark on his skin blazes alive, zapping him with a shock that totally ruins his focus. Freaking out over the glowing tattoo, her past warning echoes in his mind. If either dragon seal owner felt spicy urges for the other, that magic mark would instantly trigger. The truth smacks him hard. His face burns beet red while he desperately fights down his racing heartbeat. Panicking, he aggressively blames the scandalous outfit, trying to lock his brain back into disciplined warrior mode. He desperately starts chanting the 3 honors and 3 shames of a legendary dragon slayer. Spamming that mantra finally cools his brain, but a weird tension sticks around. Even chilled out, he totally freezes. Looking back at her epic bunny look, an absolute goldmine opportunity drops. Missing this shot would be a total crime. A super evil smirk spreads as he remembers her camera. Hyped up, he totally trashes her stuff until he spots the gadget. He rapidly snaps pics from every single angle. Finding it hilarious, he actually pokes her lips into a cute little smile. He perfectly immortalizes the spicy moment. Checking the screen, he nods at the absolute legendary tier of this loot. Swearing to guard these files forever, a tiny groan suddenly slips from Roswisa, nearly giving him a heart attack. He freezes like ice. Pure panic hits, terrified she is waking up. Barely breathing, he watches for one tiny twitch. But seconds drag on, and she stays dead silent. A massive wave of relief hits as he exhales total false alarm. Refusing to push his dumb luck, he speedruns, swapping her back into her boring safe pajamas. He resets the entire room perfectly. Mission totally cleared, he instantly shifts gears toward his real endgame strategy. He locks in his goals for tomorrow. Meanwhile, back at the majestic dragon temple, Muen violently sprints toward Noah. Pure panic paints her face. Gasping heavily, she screams out in absolute distress, making Noah whip around in totally shocked worry. Catching her sister's chaotic vibe, Noah speaks softly, begging her to breathe and explain everything. Finally catching her breath, Muen cries that her Rubik's Cube snapped, and she totally needed their dad to fix it. But the dude has straight up vanished. A dark shadow instantly falls over Noah's face as massive suspicion kicks in. Him ghosting them while their mom is knocked out seriously creeps her out. Ready to hunt for truth, she comforts Muen, grabbing her hand. Swearing to track him down, the duo starts screaming for their dad. Their desperate voices bounce through every single empty hallway. Every blank room skyrockets their anxiety. Pure frustration bubbles over until Muen literally starts checking inside the trash cans. Noah scoffed, totally dumbfounded. What kind of twisted logic was that? But Muen panicked. Her frantic search yielded nothing, making the horrifying reality sink in. He was gone. Scouring the area, a chilling realization hit Noah. Their family had always felt weirdly shattered. A picture-perfect illusion masking deep, undeniable fractures waiting to completely shatter their reality. The guy Mom called Dad had been locked away in that dark room forever. His first awakening sparked pure survival instinct. He bolted. But Mom instantly crushed his escape attempt, dead silent. He never tried running again. Still, Noah saw through the act. He wasn't staying by choice. Gradually, the mask slipped. He started stepping up, actually mentoring her, playing the perfect, loving dad. But deep down, her gut screamed it was just a flawless performance. A masterclass in deception. Thinking about it made her stomach tie into absolute knots. The nice ones always bail eventually. Were his sweet gestures actually real love? Or just a cold, calculated survival tactic to break free the second they blinked? Fake love wrapped in hidden agendas meant absolutely nothing to her. She refused to be his stepping stone. In her eyes, he was an outsider bound to vanish. His betrayal was inevitable. Beside her, her little sister wailed, completely shattered over their comatose mom and missing dad. Panic choked the air. Desperate for hope, she clung to Noah, who swore absolute protection. Holding her crying sister tight, Noah's eyes hardened. It was time for a proper farewell ritual. A goodbye to the traitor who ditched them. Meanwhile, deep behind the Silver Dragon, Temple's plum blossoms, Leon casually strolled a hidden trail, replaying a maid's hushed words in his head. She had whispered secrets about the Queen's favorite hideout, offering a personal guide to lead the way. He brushed her off, grabbing a map instead. Breathing in the quiet forest, he knew his freedom was super restricted. This tiny window of escape only existed because the mother dragon was knocked out cold. He seized the chance to scout, playing the innocent tourist to hide his dark burning desire. He was out for pure revenge. That public humiliation back home still burned like hellfire. Payback was coming the second she woke up. Spotting a towering ancient tree, he smirked. It was the perfect stage for his grand scheme. Kicking the dirt, he pictured a carpet of crushed petals to set the morbid mood. Glancing back at the fortress, he locked onto the epic vantage point overlooking the entire Silver Dragon Temple, every target mapped out. The Northern Cliff, Golden Plains, Silent Creek, and Cherry Blossoms. He mentally pinned this location too. Another mark on his hit list. The trap was set. All he needed was for her eyes to open. He was itching for the chaos to start. Fast forward to midnight in the temple courtyard. Leon wandered the shadowy grounds, suddenly stumbling upon a blazing bonfire, surrounded by crying maids. The tragic sobbing caught his ear. Stepping closer, he asked what had triggered this midnight mourning. Through tears, the maids revealed the princesses ordered a full-blown funeral pyre to be lit. In the center, the little sister offered a sacred meal, praying their missing dad would miraculously return. But Noah coldly cut her off. He was history, and they had to face the brutal reality. Watching the drama, Leon chuckled, thinking it was just a bizarre roleplay game he could crash. Striding confidently forward, he waved the maids aside. They froze in pure terror for a second, then scrambled away when they realized who he was. Smirking, he asked whose memorial this was, joking about busting out a sad tune for the dead guy. But as he squinted at the altar, his grin vanished. His blood ran absolutely cold. Staring back at him from the funeral shrine, It was his own face. He initially joked about how handsome he looked. Then the twisted reality hit him like a truck. His face dropped completely. A massive shockwave hit his brain as he fiercely demanded answers. Freaking out over why they were holding his funeral, hearing his voice, the sisters snapped around, eyes bulging in absolute horror. There stood Leon, perfectly alive, trapping everyone in dead silence. Muan broke the freeze, pointing a trembling finger at him like she had just seen a freaking ghost. Leon glanced between the two, a playful spark dancing in his eyes as he sized up the bizarre scene. Moon stared hard, terrified he was just a mirage. When the truth finally clicked, heavy tears flooded her vision, and she threw herself into his embrace, gripping him like a lifeline. Pure relief washed over her, unleashing heavy sobs against his chest, her tiny body shaking violently. This explosive burst of raw emotion completely blindsided Leon, leaving him utterly clueless about the chaos that unfolded while he was gone. She choked out her darkest fear, that he had abandoned her forever, her fragile voice shattering with pure heartbreak. Leon's tough exterior instantly melted, and he gently stroked her hair, silently anchoring her. His soothing voice melted away her lingering panic. Off to the side, reality suddenly slapped Noah right in the face. She totally misread the entire situation, assuming he had ditched them, and now crushing guilt locked her in place. Dodging his eyes, she awkwardly confessed how they had desperately hunted for him everywhere, finding absolutely nothing, which convinced her he was gone. Flashing a totally unfazed smile, Leon casually dropped the truth that he had literally just been strolling around the back mountain. He effortlessly wiped out the dramatic misunderstanding, proving he was right there. Meanwhile, Noah clutched a tiny box from the table, staring blindly as a massive storm of feelings hit her. She quietly swallowed her own massive blunder. Nearby, the stunned dragon maids traded totally bewildered looks over Leon's sudden comeback. Half of them stood paralyzed, while the rest quickly connected the dots, figuring out this whole dramatic mess was just a massive fluke. Waving them off without a fuss, Leon cleared the courtyard, letting the flustered maids completely vanish. Gazing up with absolute pure innocence, Moon practically begged him to devour the special steak they had crafted just for him. For one solid second, Leon's brain totally short-circuited. He had literally never even left the premises, yet she was treating him like he just returned from the dead. Breathing a defeated sigh, he gave in instantly, deleting her sadness. Exploding with hype, she sprinted toward the table, snatched the massive meat, and devoured it like a beast. Observing this, Leon laughed, silently judging her absolute gluttony, while totally refusing to admit she took after him. Breaking her heavy silence, Noah finally snapped into action. Keeping her voice ice-cold but shaky, she demanded a heads-up the next time he dared to wander off. Leon just blinked like a confused owl, still processing the sheer scale of this emotional roller coaster. Refusing to make eye contact, Noah stared at the floor, a soft pink hue betraying her tough act. She tried pinning all the panic on Moon, but Leon saw right through her desperate worry. He watched her brutally wrestle with her emotions, knowing her massive ego gagged her true feelings. With a gentle shift, he silently validated her hidden anxiety. Sinking into deep contemplation, she finally broke the tension with a dead serious vibe. Dropping her guard, she owned up to her massive blunder, and dropped a completely shocking apology. That raw, unfiltered honesty literally left Leon speechless for a second. He naturally flinched back, totally blindsided by her intense formality. She froze in place, her eyes glued strictly to the floorboards, basically refusing to look up until he accepted her peace offering. His sharp gaze locked onto the tiny box, crushing in her grip, as he quietly analyzed the totally chaotic misunderstanding that sparked this entire emotional showdown. He knew Noah's true nature was way too mature for her actual age, constantly carrying massive burdens that were never hers to hold. But he instantly realized this specific meltdown was born from something way darker, his total failure to give her a concrete safety net. Beneath that icy exterior, she was desperately starving for permanent love and stability, yet utterly terrified to make the first move. Cheap words would never shatter her walls, making up his mind right there. Leon vowed that raw, undeniable actions were the only key to forging real trust. Dropping down to her eye level without hesitation, he rested a heavy, comforting hand atop her hair. Radiating pure warmth, he smoothly coaxed her into grabbing dinner together and gearing up for tomorrow's grind. Fighting her stubbornness, she finally offered a tiny nod, her knuckles turning white around that little box, terrified of losing the raw feelings trapped inside it. Fast forward to the next afternoon, brilliant golden rays flooded directly through the glass of Ross Weiss's silent chamber, bathing everything in a heavenly glow. Moon camped right at the bedside, her tiny fingers gripping the sheets, while guarding her slumbering mother. Ross Weiss lay totally paralyzed, a dark shadow gripping her pale face, showing zero hints of waking up anytime soon. Pure anxiety drowned Moon's eyes as she squished her own cheeks in absolute desperation, practically using telepathy to command her mom awake. Suddenly, a micro-flinch in Ross Weiss's fingers shattered the dead silence. Inch by inch, her heavy eyelids peeled back, fighting the blinding glare. Scanning the hazy room, her fractured memory finally snapped into focus. Once her personal bed registered, the exact second Moon spotted those open eyes. Her hype instantly exploded off the charts. Crushing herself against the mattress, pure euphoric joy erupted from her throat as she screamed for her mom. Ross Weiss weakly shifted her neck, locking tired eyes with her frantic daughter. Witnessing her mom finally escape that endless coma, absolute emotional devastation hit Moon, flooding her vision instantly. Her daughter's hands shook with raw anxiety, prompting Ross Weiss to softly brush those heavy tears away. Whispering sweet apologies, she comforted her little girl. Instantly, pure joy washed over Miyun's tear-stained face. Her mom was finally awake, but beneath that tender reunion, a crushing weight anchored Ross Weiss's body down. She tried shifting only to find her legendary strength completely drained. Her right arm hung there, totally useless. Panic sparked in her dragon eyes. Staring at her own shaking fingers, her mind desperately chased an explanation. Soul-crushing fatigue paralyzed her. Clutching her chest, a terrifying truth slammed into her mind like a freight train. Her internal core was shattered. That absolute devastating magic she once wielded, it was dead silent. Ross Weiss sat paralyzed in silence, trying to process this humiliating lack of power. Normally, her mighty dragon physique easily tanked blood curse backlashes, but pushing her absolute limits left her dangerously exposed. Glancing at little Miyun, the only soul guarding her bedside, a fragile smile broke through. She was endlessly thankful. Still, dark paranoia crept in. Had Leon seized this perfect golden window to run away while she slept? Knowing his tricky personality, it totally made sense. He was probably miles away by now. After missing 2 whole days, her tactical mind calculated the odds of his escape. If that guy actually ditched them, she still had enough time to deploy hunting squads. But right before giving the order, a familiar voice echoed outside. Boom! Leon casually strolled in, hyping up a massive fish he just caught with a wildly arrogant grin. Miyun instantly lit up, rushing over to shower him with pure starstruck admiration. Ross Weiss just stared, absolutely stunned. Seeing him acting like a total wholesome dad completely shattered her dark runaway theories. Catching her intense stare, Leon finally turned around. The second their eyes locked, genuine relief flashed across his face. He had totally been waiting for this. His laid-back vibe and cocky smile spiked her anxiety, especially when he greeted her so smoothly. Breaking eye contact, she grumbled under her breath. But her defensive attitude did not bother him one single bit. Brushing it off completely, Leon faced little Miyun and handed over his gigantic prize catch. He hyped her up, giving her the crucial mission of delivering it straight to the kitchen. Miyun was absolutely thrilled. She dragged that monster fish down the hall like an absolute boss. Leon proudly watched his kid waddle away, before smoothly declaring that mom and dad needed a private chat. Once the little girl was out of sight, Leon locked his radar back onto Ross Weiss, stepping dangerously close. Her entire body stiffened, dodging his intense eyes. Those heavy betrayal theories were still haunting her mind. Yet her quiet voice dripped with unbreakable willpower. When she accused him of ditching their family during her coma, Leon just stared back, deeply entertained by her audacity. A wicked smirk crept up as he remembered her previous ruthless actions. Running away, that was never on his agenda. They had major unfinished business to settle. Slowly peeling off his gloves like a boss, his voice oozed supreme confidence. A dangerous, sharp undertone laced his every word. Ross Weiss visibly flinched, raw uncertainty finally cracking her stoic dragon mask. The vibe flipped instantly. A wildly playful yet terrifying predator aura radiated from his very core. Closing the gap, his piercing eyes locked onto hers with suffocating heat. His sudden question brought her world to a halt. Scrambling through her memories, the terrifying truth hit like a lightning strike. Before she could blink, he was way too close. His massive shadow completely engulfed her, radiating an absolutely suffocating presence. Candlelight danced wildly in his dark eyes, and that villainous smirk sent freezing chills straight down her spine. A chaotic mix of dread and realization flooded her brain. Raising his hands, his face morphed into something purely demonic. It was crystal clear, payback time had officially arrived. Time to collect the debt for her ruthless stunt last month. Blazing with furious pride, Ross Weiss spat a lethal warning. She brutally reminded him not to get cocky just because her dragon powers were temporarily offline right now. Threatening him to back off, her deadly tone sliced through the tension. But instead of backing down like a coward, Leon just flashed a devilish grin. His eyes practically glowed with absolute arrogance and chaotic male lead energy. A dangerously confident smile tugged his lips. He casually asked if she seriously believed he was the weak one before. Leaning in closer, he ruthlessly brought up the exact moment he first woke up in this world, reminding her how before he could even drink water, she aggressively branded him with that binding dragon mark. Sarcasm dripped from his tongue as he exposed the brutal truth: she never gave him a single choice back then. Ross Weiss's majestic face turned terrifyingly dark. Her ultimate warning echoed, demanding he think carefully about his next fatal move. Once her strength returned, her icy glare promised absolute destruction if he didn't back off instantly. She left zero room for doubt, making sure he knew exactly what his rebellion would cost him. But Leon didn't even flinch. Instead, he doubled down on the disrespect, completely brushing off her deadly aura. Calling her his sweet wife, he scooped her right off her feet, his grip totally unbreakable. Smirking like he'd just won the lottery, he claimed this was his ultimate galaxy brain move. The tables had officially turned. The mighty captor was now playing the role of his personal prisoner. His cocky words hit a massive nerve, but Rosweiss literally didn't have the mana to fight back. Deep inside the hidden cherry blossom grove, she kept thrashing around, her rage boiling as she shoved at his chest. She snapped at him to let go, furious energy radiating off her. But Leon just stayed totally chill. He casually warned that her squirming might make her bite the dust, grinding her teeth in pure annoyance. She mentally cursed her locked stats. If her power level was maxed out, she'd have absolutely wrecked him. Dropped by the legendary cherry tree, Rosweiss shot him a death glare, aggressively demanding to know what this whole kidnapping was about. Leon smoothly dropped the bomb that while she was out cold, he'd been scouting out her absolute favorite hangout spots. He noted with total confidence that she always hit up this spot after dark. An annoyed groan slipped out her face, screaming 0 stars. Pushing back, she interrogated his weirdly specific stalker vibe, asking if this twisted tour had other stops. Dodging the question, Leon just gestured out into the horizon. His tone shifted into something dangerously serious, pointing straight at her sacred temple, making sure she saw the epic bird's-eye view from this exact cliff. The heavy vibe in his voice screamed that this wasn't just some random late-night scenic date. Red flags exploded in Rosweiss's mind as she connected the dots. Staring him down, she spat out the truth, asking if this was payback for his burned-down village. Igniting his dragon aura, Leon locked eyes and smiled. He fiercely declared that karma wasn't just a VIP perk for her dragon bloodline. Right on cue, Rosweiss felt a sickening chill violently rip through her core. Her own dragon crest flared up erratically, and a crippling debuff started paralyzing her limbs. She fought desperately to keep a poker face. While her HP hit the red zone, a terrifying feeling she had never experienced before. Leon didn't miss a beat, his voice dripping with ice as he pointed at the glorious palace, dominating the view. He told her to soak it all in, making sure she knew her insane ego. Her massive pride, literally, her whole personality was built right there. But despite her boss status, she was currently completely nerfed and entirely at his mercy. Before she could react, he shoved her back, throwing her totally off balance. His dark smirk shattered the silence, brutally asking how it felt getting completely owned by the very dragon slayer she had once clapped. Closing the gap, he deliberately traced his tongue down her spine in the most disrespectful way possible. A massive shudder rocked her, her breath catching in pure shame and blinding rage. Instinctively, she tried to fight back, but her treacherous body just instantly melted under his touch. A crazy idea suddenly sparked in her brain, a desperate clutch play to turn the tables on him. Moving like lightning, she whipped her tail around his arm, locking it down hard to completely catch him slipping. Leon's cocky smirk glitched for half a second, realizing this absolute queen still had enough mana to throw hands. But instead of getting stressed, he just looked incredibly entertained by her fiery rebellion. Rosweiss, grinding her teeth in raw fury, dropped a deadly final warning. He might be the boss in this phase, but she promised his little power trip had an expiration date. Rosweiss swore that once her cooldown ended, she was going to completely ruin him. He just laughed out loud, brushing off her savage threat like it was nothing. He told her to forget tomorrow, claiming he only lived for the right now. With ultimate swagger, he whispered that the night was still young, and this epic festival of revenge was just warming up. Fast forward to the morning light, the camera panned to the Silver Dragon Queen's bedroom. Leon gently tossed Rosweiss onto the bed, crashing beside her, letting out a massive sigh of relief. Staring at the ceiling, he mentally replayed the absolute marathon of a night. Completely drained from their wild night, he watched her sleep, captivated by her absolute peace. That realization hit him hard. He came for payback, but her angelic face completely scrambled his mind. Brushing off those messy feelings, he fiercely reminded himself she finally tasted absolute defeat, crushed by the ultimate dragon hunter she despised. He smirked, convincing himself his dark revenge was complete. Catching the time, he knew he had to ghost before the royal maids woke up. They definitely were not that couple who casually cuddled until the morning light. But right as he tried to slip away, a sleeping Rosweiss blindly grabbed his arm. Her sudden touch froze him in place. He blamed it on simple survival instincts, seeking body heat, just a primal reflex, nothing deeper. But as he stayed pinned to the mattress, her burning touch melted his resolve. Suddenly sneaking back to his freezing empty bedroom sounded like pure torture. A soft smirk tugged his lips as he chose to stay put. Golden morning rays hit the glass as Miwon bounced inside, loudly calling out to her mom. Confused by her heavy snoring, the kid literally pounced on the bed, desperately shaking her. She whined that it was basically noon. A super groggy Ross Weiss just waved her away, mumbling for her to go bother her dad. Without missing a beat, Mi-won aggressively shook Leon next, yelling that the sun was roasting him. Completely knocked out, he just mumbled about the cozy heat, begging for 5 more minutes. Staring at them, Mi-won crossed her arms, annoyed by their insane cuddling. They were glued together like magnets. She realized she had literally never seen her parents act this cute. But hold up, something looked super weird. Her sharp eyes scanned their exposed skin, spotting wild red marks absolutely everywhere. The horrible truth hit her. Vicious bug bites. Going into full hero mode, she blitzed the desk aggressively, digging through every single drawer. Remembering her mom's strict medical lessons, she hyped herself up. A nasty bite just needed. A heavy dose of healing cream. Feeling totally confident, she grabbed the meds, ready to play doctor. She stepped up like a boss. Giggling happily, she slathered the thick cream all over, both her sleeping parents carefully targeting every suspicious red blotch. A few hours later, Ross Weiss finally woke up, gently nudging Leon. As his eyes fluttered open, his face felt weirdly sticky. Once his brain booted up, he realized his skin was covered in a weird gooey substance. Blinking wildly, he checked Ross Weiss, and cracked up instantly seeing the same sticky mess on her face. Totally lost Ross Weiss angrily demanded answers, but Mi-won crashed the scene loudly, bragging about her epic medical rescue. She proudly explained how she spotted those nasty bug bites on their necks and took action, layering them in healing cream. Leon and Ross Weiss locked eyes, violently blushing as sheer panic hit them. Leon exhaled hard, deciding this secret needed to die forever. Meanwhile, Mi-won just beamed, totally flexing her nurse skills. Chuckling, Leon played along, hyping up her amazing first aid. Soaking up the praise, Mi-won boldly swore she would always treat their nighttime bug bites. Right then, the traumatized couple shared one deeply silent, desperate look. The bedroom door was getting triple locked next time. Later that day, Leon tried spoon-feeding his resting wife. Totally spooked by this cute gesture, she jerked back, glaring suspiciously at him. But he completely ignored her tsundere act, pushing the spoon closer. She had basically starved for days, so she desperately needed her mana back. He casually reminded her that while sleeping, dragons skip meals. An awake dragon was basically a bottomless pit, even though she stubbornly resisted at first. Ross Weiss snapped that her arms worked just fine, yet the second that flavor hit her tongue, her fierce glare completely melted. It tasted insanely delicious. Catching her shocked little face, Leon smirked and stole a massive bite, bragging about his top-tier cooking skills. Furious Ross Weiss yelled that it was her special meal, demanding to know why he was eating it. Snagging the bowl back, he grinned mischievously, teasing that her tiny stomach could never finish it anyway. That arrogant smirk instantly lit a fire of pure rage in Ross Weiss, and she fiercely snapped right back. She swore she would devour every single crumb just to spite him. Watching her finish, Leon smirked at their dynamic. Lately, he played the perfect caretaker, drawing baths, cooking meals, and literally hand-feeding the proud Dragon Queen. Sure, Ross Weiss couldn't deny his gentle touch, but a massive storm of complicated feelings still raged inside her chest. Dripping with venom, she demanded if this sweet act was genuine, or just some twisted new method to torture her. Leon just chuckled, flashing that signature infuriating grin, while swearing he had zero hidden agendas. He shamelessly claimed it was just the loving duty of a perfectly devoted husband. Obviously, that bold line only made her blood boil. Stepping out the door, his teasing laughter echoed down the empty corridor, dropping one last casual goodbye. As he told her he would see her bright and early, pushed past her limit, Ross Weiss gripped her bedsheets, hissing colorful curses under her breath. Seriously, the guy was a walking nightmare, totally living up to his title. As an annoying dragon slayer, he always knew exactly how to trigger her. Blinded by sudden explosive fury, she smashed her fist right into the wall, but the exact second her knuckles hit stone, a massive shockwave violently erupted through her veins. Her eyes snapped wide open. The heavy air in the room instantly shifted, and a thrilling realization hit her. There was no mistaking this overwhelming aura, her lost magic was back. Meanwhile, down in the kitchen, a clueless Leon happily hummed. A dangerously smug smile stretched across his face as he happily basked in the glorious thought that the almighty Mother Dragon was still completely helpless. He actually planned to drag this fun game out for a few days, but entirely blinded by his own playful arrogance and pride. He had zero clue about the catastrophic storm heading his way. As heavy darkness swallowed the sky, the Silver Dragon Castle, bathed in a cold crescent moonlight. Breaking the quiet night, Anna politely tapped on the heavy oak door before stepping inside. She carried a silver tray holding a steaming medicinal brew, specially prescribed to heal the weakened queen's fragile body. Lounging gracefully against the pillows with a thick novel, Ross Weiss lazily shifted her piercing gaze toward Anna. With absolute icy calmness, she announced that her royal body was completely healed, waving away the useless potion. Never questioning her master, Anna quietly set the hot bowl aside. But turning to leave, her eyes locked onto massive cracks, completely shattering the solid stone wall near the bed. Visibly shocked, she asked what on earth happened. Following her gaze, Rosweiss remembered that fiery split second of rage where her devastating aura had accidentally leaked out just before. That arrogant punk, Leon pushed her exact buttons, causing her to blindly strike the stone. Blushing furiously, she awkwardly coughed, and quickly ordered the staff to patch up the embarrassing mess by tomorrow. Anna simply bowed, accepting the strict command. But right before the heavy door clicked shut, Rosweiss suddenly called out, dropping her voice to a dramatic whisper. The queen strictly commanded her to hide this miraculous recovery from Leon. She smoothly lied, claiming she just wanted his dedicated service for a bit. A suspicious rosy tint dusted her cheeks as she quickly broke eye contact, hiding her flustered face behind the leather-bound cover. Utterly stunned by this rare tsundere moment, Anna secretly smiled, totally convinced her master was melting for the handsome slayer's sweet devotion. Seeing the terrifying Dragon Queen act like a completely love-struck teenager was absolute gold. Anna barely swallowed a giggle before swearing airtight secrecy. But the exact second those footsteps faded down the hall, the queen's fake innocent mask violently shattered. All traces of that cute blushing girl evaporated into thin air, instantly replaced by a dangerously wicked smirk. Oh, she didn't want his sweet hugs. Crushing the thick book, she began weaving a merciless trap for her payback. And poor clueless Leon, he was happily walking straight into the jaws. Fast forward 2 entire days, and our dense hero still suspected absolutely nothing. Beneath the blazing afternoon sun, the grand courtyard practically sparkled with vibrant life. Taking a lazy break, Leon burned some energy, playfully wrestling with Miyun. The energetic kid practically bounced off the walls, totally desperate for his undivided attention. She wildly copied his epic combat stances, begging him to teach her that super flashy glowing aura technique right now. Chuckling at her fierce little punches, Leon crouched down to her eye level, gently questioning her sudden magic obsession. Her clumsy little strikes were a perfect, hilarious copy of his intense sparring sessions with Rosweiss. Pouting, she demanded to wield that exact same breathtaking power they constantly flashed around. Caught totally off guard, he tilted his head, asking what sparked this fiery drive. Suddenly super shy, Miyun nervously twiddled her tiny thumbs. She quietly confessed that big sister Noah was leveling up way too fast at school, and she fiercely hated being left behind. Noah actually flexed her academy smarts to decode their parents' epic clashes during her last trip home. Idolizing her sister's genius brain, Miyun desperately wanted to level up. Reading his daughter's fierce ambition, Leon dropped to eye level, totally validating her thirst for knowledge, and vowed to unlock her magic so she'd never fall behind. Exuding absolute confidence, he hyped Muen up, slamming a fist to his heart in a legendary dad promise. Muen hyped up Leon, officially kicked off her mana training. He broke down the core magical fundamentals, coaching her to channel that dormant internal aura. Muen locked in, squeezing her eyes shut in pure focus. Her tiny frame vibrated under the intense pressure. Then, a subtle blue aura swirled around her feet, making her hair float in the mystic current. Leon's jaw literally dropped at her insane growth. In just hours, Muen had already sparked her internal mana core. At this terrifying speed, he figured she'd hit pure magical enlightenment and awaken her unique class abilities soon. It hit him like a truck. Was Muen, a literal prodigy. But mid-focus, a massive growl echoed from her stomach, shattering the epic vibe. She popped her eyes open, staring up at Leon with maximum puppy dog hunger. Whining about hitting 0 HP. Channeling that much raw aura had completely drained her tiny stamina bar. Completely thrown off by the hilarious mood swing from mystical awakening to snack time, Leon's sweat dropped in total defeat. After all, Muen was still a kid and didn't have Noah's overpowered cheat skill learning capacity, meaning her mana mastery would just need some grinding. Flashing a soft dad smile, he awkwardly scratched his head mentally, reminding himself not to force the tutorial stage. Totally chill, he grabbed her tiny hand and headed straight for the fortress, officially logging out of training mode for today, to go refuel her totally depleted energy stats. With a melted expression, he promised her they were done grinding, and it was finally feast time. Clinging to her dad, Wen literally skipped, radiating absolute sunshine. Golden hour sunlight completely wrapped around them, casting an insanely wholesome father-daughter shadow as they left the intense training zone far behind. Once darkness hit, Anna pulled up to Rosweezy's quarters, knocking lightly before slipping inside holding a crimson-draped tray. It completely hid the secret cargo. Stepping up, she bowed and offered it straight to Rosweiss, confirming it was exactly the requested drop item. Rosweiss, chilling like an absolute queen on her bed with tightly folded arms, gave a cool nod, ordering her to leave the loot on the nightstand. But before Anna could bounce, another knock slammed through the silence, and Leon barged in with supreme main character energy, flashing a cocky smirk. His absolute swagger dominated the room. Yet despite his hype, Rosweiss stayed ice cold and totally unbothered by the ambush. She smoothly thanked Anna and dismissed her, Hiding a massive fangirl smile, Anna bowed and quickly dipped out, internally screaming over the spicy tension between those two. Leon, still holding that smug grin, kicked back his hands, casually strolling deeper into the territory. Anna had previously leaked that Roswys needed 5 full days to actually regenerate her HP. Armed with that intel, he was absolutely ready to troll and torment her, totally clueless that she had already maxed out her recovery stats. Standing right over her, Leon faked a worried face, offering a healing massage while thinking she was still glass cannon fragile. But Rosweezy, bursting with hidden power locked onto his soul, her absolute zero chill completely threw him off. Then she fired shots, roasting his title as the Empire's ultimate invincible dragon slayer, mocking how just 2 days had him running out of breath. That lethal taunt hit a critical strike. Leon's cocky smirk aggressively twitched, pure irritation flashing in his eyes. His playful vibe evaporated into dark frustration. Ready to retaliate, he lunged forward, aggressively ripping her blankets away. He had definitely planned to keep it family-friendly tonight, but her elite trash talk fully awakened a beast. Rosswise's icy mask finally cracked her eyebrows, dropping as genuine panic flashed in her eyes. She instantly threw up her guard, shifting into a defensive stance. Leon's playful smirk morphed into straight villain mode, leaning in close while his fingers traced her jawline with terrifying gentleness. He absolutely craved making her permanently swallow that arrogant pride. His eyes glowing with dark intent, flexing total dominance, he whispered that since her tongue was so lethal, her physical endurance better match up. Rosswise physically shivered, her widened eyes trapped in Leon's absolutely predatory stare. Yet beneath that terrified exterior, a dangerous spark ignited within her. Still completely blind to her secret power play, Leon started dropping his gear, fully locked in to deliver this so-called punishment. But right in that absolute split second, Rossweiss let her mask slip. All fake terror vanished, morphing into an absolutely chilling, predator-like grin. Her gaze burned with absolute conviction, coldly stating she felt zero remorse for a single past action. The entire vibe flipped instantly. The air grew suffocatingly heavy, shattering the completely one-sided dominance Leon thought he actually possessed. In a flash, Rossweiss coiled her massive tail around Leon, completely locking him down. Before his brain could even process the sudden attack, he was totally trapped in her iron grip. He stared down in pure confusion, totally baffled by the Uno reverse card. Suddenly, he was yanked into the air, absolute panic hitting his face. With terrifying raw strength, she launched him straight across the room. He slammed violently into her plush mattress, his spine bouncing right off the pillows. Leon desperately scrambled to get back up, but she instantly pounced onto the mattress. Slamming her palm against his chest, she completely pinned his body forcefully, straddling him with absolute dominance. Staring down like a ruthless empress, her overwhelming aura paralyzed him. Suddenly, the terrifying truth finally clicked in his brain. This was not her weakened state anymore. The monster had officially awakened, her max-level stats completely restored. Pure terror flooded his veins. How on earth did she heal so fast? Her pathetic, helpless act from before complete Oscar-worthy acting. The endgame was finally crystal clear. She demanded brutal payback for every ounce of suffering. She instantly shut down his panic, pressing a single finger against his lips with pure boss energy. Moving with deadly grace, she dramatically ripped the cover off the mysterious tray Anna brought previously. The crimson fabric dropped, exposing dual iron cuffs, a menacing whip, and a magical glowing orb. Leon stared, completely dumbfounded at the absolutely unhinged interrogation setup. A million questions raced through his head. When did she even craft this twisted inventory? Before he could even blink, metal snapped shut. She ruthlessly shackled all 4 of his limbs, totally eliminating any escape route. A dark blindfold slipped over his vision instantly, skyrocketing his absolute dread to maximum levels. Now totally exposed, Leon thrashed wildly against the chains, but his brute force failed miserably. Rossweiss simply watched his helpless squirming with pure villainous delight. A wicked smirk danced across her face. She totally clowned on his struggling drinking in the sight of the legendary hero reduced to prey. Plunged into darkness and chained down, his anxiety hit maximum capacity. Her next move was entirely unreadable, but absolute destruction was definitely coming. The Empress chose the ultimate psychological damage, forcing him to witness his most pathetic, uncool moment ever. She queued up the ultimate blackmail footage, making him swallow the exact cringe lines he previously dropped. Locked in heavy metal restraints across every single limb, he lay totally paralyzed against the mattress. His vision was then instantly blacked out by silken stockings, completely hijacking his senses. Fighting the massive sweat drops, he desperately faked confidence loudly, flexing his elite military-grade mental conditioning. He stubbornly barked that he would never yield, but the villainess just chuckled at his cute resistance. Flashing a completely devilish grin, she gracefully scooped up the magical orb from the silver platter. On contact, the artifact pulsed with neon blue energy, projecting a massive holographic display. The broadcast immediately loaded up an incredibly spicy memory from their past. The screen showcased him totally brainwashed by her upgraded dark magic. His voice echoed pathetically, begging and spilling down bad confessions he absolutely regretted. The exact second, his own desperate tone played out pure, absolute horror, struck his very soul. Even blindfolded, that crystal-clear audio of his ultimate cringe moment turned his entire face violently crimson. He stuttered completely, desperately trying to gaslight reality. But she absolutely feasted on his massive humiliation, roasting him flawlessly. Her dark giggles dripped with sheer victory as she relentlessly highlighted the crystal-clear receipts blasting on speaker. Shoving the glowing artifact right into his personal space, she aggressively ripped the silken stockings away. When his sight returned, brutal reality crashed down. The holographic projection broadcasted his previous self, crying like a desperate puppy for her attention. His desperate voice looped on maximum volume, turning his previous obsessed confessions into absolute psychological torture. The crushing cringe factor made him violently shudder, sending literal shockwaves of pure agony through his entire nervous system. Utterly destroyed by the massive ego blow, he officially threw in the towel. His mental shields shattered completely, collapsing onto the sheets as a totally broken man. Smashing his shackled wrists together, he practically cried for her to pause the broadcast, praying to end this absolute waking nightmare. Ignoring his tears, the queen stood incredibly tall, absolutely buzzing from the flawless execution of her master plan. Gripping the neon blue artifact, she stared down at her captive toy, incredibly hyped at how fast his massive ego totally shattered. A legendary smirk completely dominated her features as she drank in his gloriously pathetic, thoroughly defeated posture. Zero hesitation shown, she instantly snatched the leather weapon from the silver platter, coldly ordering him to endlessly loop those exact embarrassing words out loud. Gripping the punishing leather tightly, she seductively traced its dangerous tip, absolutely living for the grand finale of her ultimate payback. This brutal payback was pure karma for the absolute hell Leon put her through days ago. Flexing absolute dominance, Rossweiss tipped his chin up with her whip's handle, locking his panicked eyes onto her icy glare. Caught completely red-handed, Leon's face screamed pure panic. He didn't even dare to fight back or breathe a single excuse. Choking on his own words under her terrifying stare, he completely surrendered to his inevitable fate. A dim desk lamp projected their massive shadows across the room. That flickering glow cranked the suffocating tension to the absolute max. Rossweiss swung that whip with deadly precision, carving vicious burning welts right across Leon's trembling skin. Trapped on his knees, Leon clamped his jaw shut, desperately tanking the agonizing strikes. But every brutal crack sent violent shivers down his spine. The torture escalated as she slowly closed the distance. Totally drinking in his misery, their merging shadows on the wall perfectly captured this intensely dark power play. Bathed in that haunting golden glow, this twisted struggle dragged endlessly into the dead of night, letting a suffocating dread swallow the bedroom whole. Finally, icy moonlight sliced straight through the dark glass, exposing the brutal aftermath of her pure rage. Vicious red stripes branded Leon's battered skin, acting as stinging receipts of his ultimate defeat. He collapsed onto the mattress, completely destroyed in body and soul. Hot tears streamed down his face as he choked on his shattered pride. Suddenly, frantic wings absolutely shattered the dead silence. A crimson messenger dragon dive-bombed through the window, clutching a hyper-urgent letter. Spooked by the noise, Rossweiss instantly hopped up and rushed over. The tiny beast flexed its elite courier skills, chilling on the ledge while she snatched the scroll. Scanning the text, her stone-cold mask instantly cracked, letting a rare flash of genuine panic bleed through. Even while half-dead Leon caught the winged intruder and immediately spotted her drastic vibe change. Getting pinged at this ungodly hour practically screamed top-tier disaster. His tired eyes tracked her like a hawk, his heartbeat spiking as dread set in. Hardening her gaze, Rossweiss finally shattered the suffocating quiet. The Academy dropped a massive bomb. Noah got caught throwing hands. That bombshell hit Leon like a freight train. Shooting straight up, his bruised muscles screamed, but pure shock totally nuked the pain. He stared dead at her, completely short-circuiting over this wild plot twist. This bedroom, previously drowning in heavy domination vibes, now vibrated with ultimate mystery threat levels. As night melted away, explosive crimson painted the dawn sky. But that aesthetic sunrise gave zero comfort, while the Academy's chaos still haunted them. The winged courier had already dipped, leaving nothing but pure stress behind. Cut straight to Vice Principal Wilson's base of operations, where massive, epic glass panels let blinding morning rays flood in, dripping the entire space in a cinematic golden hour aesthetic. The sunlight amplified the massive office's intimidating aura. Noah stood flawlessly statuesque in her pristine uniform, radiating ultimate unbothered queen energy. Despite catching major heat, she didn't have a single scratch on her. Her chill posture heavily clashed with the three dudes next to her, who looked like they just survived a blender. The red-haired dude center stage rocked a busted face and a trashed arm in a sling. His ruined uniform screamed total defeat. His two brunette wingmen looked equally cooked, sporting matching black eyes and completely wrecked outfits from the savage beatdown. Leon and Rossweiss camped on the couch, locking lasers on the vice principal. They tried playing it cool and respectful, waiting for the lore drop. But Rossweiss's chill vanished instantly. Her lethal glare snapped onto the bruised trio, crossing her arms defensively. Her mama bear rage boiled over instantly, assuming these punks jumped her girl. Rocking a deadly scowl, she stepped up to the boss, spitting venom and throwing heavy accusations. Her soul-crushing glare completely terrified those young dragons, amplifying their guilt. They violently shook under her monstrous aura, absolutely petrified. Meanwhile, Leon immediately zeroed in on Noah, doing a frantic scan with pure dad panic. He inspected her from head to toe, hunting for a single scratch. His frantic eyes finally cooled down when Noah casually confirmed she was at max health. Her icy chill somehow made the room even tenser. Having zero patience for this dramatic guessing game, Wilson straight up dropped the ultimate plot twist. Noah actually soloed all three guys. This insane reality check totally stun-locked Rossweiss. Her fierce mask temporarily shattered, as pure embarrassment painted her cheeks. Her explosive rage completely evaporated into thin air. Those three defeated dragons, totally traumatized and completely humiliated, huddled together, bawling their absolute eyes out. Getting wrecked by a girl shattered their egos. Despite the waterworks, Noah stayed absolutely unfazed, radiating main character energy. Leon, too. Shock flashed across his face, instantly melting into pure, undeniable pride. A wicked little smirk tugged at his lips, as he subtly flashed Noah a thumbs up silently, hyping up his daughter's absolute dominance. Old memories flooded Leon's mind like a movie. He remembered hyping Noah up, telling her to never back down. Seeing her unleash that grit brought him pure satisfaction. Catching his vibe, Noah closed her eyes in quiet victory. That unspoken father-daughter flex hung heavily in the room. Meanwhile, Vice Principal Wilson just pushed up his glasses, his face unreadable. He admitted this little playground scrap actually exposed a massive, deep-rooted crack in their society. A generational beef between the egg-hatched cocoon dragons and the live-born viviparous ones. He broke down the core stats of both factions. Those hatched straight from eggs usually unlocked insane physical specs, right out of the gate. On the flip side, live-born dragons leached their raw power straight from their mother's bloodlines. While they needed serious grinding to hit their max level, this harsh biological gap usually made early-game matchups completely unfair. Yet Noah's savage win completely shattered that power scaling, flexing a monstrous strength nobody ever expected from a live-born hatchling. The vice principal locked eyes with Noah, his face radiating pure intrigue as he geared up to drop the verdict. Wilson actually studied Noah with hidden respect. Even as a supposedly disadvantaged live-born kid, she had just completely bodied three older egg-hatched dragons. Her terrifying raw power and sheer willpower at this level made him seriously hyped for her potential. Bam! The office door suddenly blasted open with bone-rattling force. A towering, sharply dressed redhead dragon stormed in, bringing two equally massive goons flanking his sides. Their deadly glares instantly gave away their status, the angry dads of the bruised trio. The redhead, definitely. The alpha dad swaggered right toward his kid, with his hands casually stuffed in his pockets, acting like this whole drama was beneath him. But spotting his kid's battered state, his arrogant chill evaporated into pure horror. That brutally swollen face and completely busted arm left him totally paralyzed. The other two dads copied his jaw-dropping panic. Absolute disbelief shattered their tough guy acts as they stared at their wrecked kids. Breaking down completely, the battered hatchlings sprinted over, bawling their eyes out and clutching their legs, choking on furious, humiliated sobs. Meanwhile, Rossweiss, chilling gracefully on the couch, instantly scanned the redhead's aura and clocked his bloodline. She leaned into Leon, whispering about the legendary Crimson Flame Dragon King Constantine's clan, a squad notoriously famous for their massive egos and explosive tempers. Dealing with these fiery psychos was an absolute nightmare. But even with Rossweiss's warning, Leon didn't even flinch. A cocky smirk crossed his face, remembering how many Crimson Flame elites he had already crushed. Their so-called menacing aura meant absolutely nothing to him. After babying his crying son, the raging redhead locked his death glare onto Rossweiss, his face contorted with pure disgust. Oozing with entitlement, he barked at her for failing to leash her wild kid, accusing Noah of brutally bullying his precious boy. The little red-haired brat peeked from behind his dad's legs, absolute terror shaking his pupils. While the kid nervously eyed Rossweiss, the arrogant father kept spitting venom, totally trashing the legendary Silver Dragon clan's power. Compared to his almighty Crimson Flames, his toxic trash talk heavily implied the Silver Dragons were basically useless, who used their kids to fake their dominance. Triggered by the massive disrespect, Rossweiss sat up sharp, her icy glare slicing straight through him. Catching that killer intent, Leon instantly stepped up, shielding Rossweiss like a fortress. Yet the redhead's punchable smirk didn't even twitch. As he threw down the gauntlet aggressively, demanding a groveling apology for his son, he flat out threatened that without it, Noah and her family were never walking out of that room. Leon shot back without skipping a single beat, his tone dripping with lethal sarcasm. The sheer thrill of a brutal brawl totally hyped him up, his tightly coiled fists practically begging to smash. This arrogant fool. Refusing to let this office turn into a war zone, Vice Principal Wilson smashed his hand onto the desk with a deafening bang. That shockwave instantly killed the noise. Every single eye snapped to the principal as he furiously locked down the room, clearing his throat. Wilson stared down the furious parents, ordering everyone to chill out while he finally exposed the actual truth. He started rolling back the tape to last night's chaos. Right in the middle of cafeteria dinner, Larry, the spicy red-haired kid, picked a petty fight with Noah. Amidst the shoving, Noah's food tray completely wiped out, totally trashing Larry's expensive outfit. Furious, Larry lost his absolute mind. And while they didn't throw down right then and there, the beef was far from settled. Deep into the night, creeping back to the dorms, Larry and his two loyal sidekicks fully jumped Noah in the dark courtyard. A savage clash exploded, ending in the absolute beatdown that currently decorated these three bruised bullies. Vice Principal Wilson demanded the whole truth, making those three tough guy dragons absolutely shrink in terror. They aggressively shook their heads, pure panic flashing across their faces while dodging his intense gaze. They completely zipped their lips. But right as a suffocating silence swallowed the room, Noah coolly shot her hand up. Her absolute chill energy screamed she was about to drop a bombshell. Radiating pure boss energy, she locked eyes with Wilson, proving her epic side of the story was just getting started.